A sweltering heat consumes her, an unbearable discomfort that clouds her mind as she wakes in an unfamiliar room. Suddenly, a man bursts in, tearing at his clothes like a rabid animal. She recoils in disgust, demanding to know where this sick beast came from. And when he lunges at her, she kicks him away with all her might, screaming at him for daring to force himself on her. A moment later, the man lies bound on the floor, and she coldly warns him that she'll kill him if he's tired of living. Dazed, she hides behind a pillar, trying to piece together where she is. Her mind flashes back to a different life, a life as a top-class special agent on a critical SS mission. She remembers the moment of her demise not as a heroic sacrifice, but as an utterly embarrassing death caused by an ill-timed sneeze. A searing pain explodes in her head, and fragmented memories that are not her own shatter her consciousness, showing her the life of another woman. She sees a cloaked figure forcing poison down this woman's throat, and the truth crashes down on her like a tidal wave. She has transmigrated. She is now Su Qingying, the mentally deranged and notoriously ugly fifth princess, engaged to the infamous Prince Rui of Dongyue Kingdom. A grim smile touches her lips. It's a strange coincidence that this princess shares her name. Accepting her new reality, Su Qingying vows to live on for the original owner of this body, to carry her sorrow and hatred and to get justice for her suffering. With a steely glint in her eyes, she declares her return. The groveling fool on the floor, Xuan Yuanqi, calls her wifey, but she dismisses him instantly, realizing the potent poison is still coursing through her veins. He continues to beg for a kiss, and knowing she can't be forced into a confrontation with a fool, she decides that escape is her only option. She breaks into a desperate sprint, needing to get away before the poison overwhelms her completely. In her haste, her foot slips on a loose stone, sending her tumbling over an edge and splashing into a cold pool of water. She gasps, grateful to be alive, and a wave of relief washes over her as the cool water soothes her burning skin. But she's not alone. Her eyes snap open and she demands to know who's there. Across the water, a devastatingly handsome man rises from the pool, his bare chest glistening in the moonlight. The poison makes her head swim, and she can only think of him as a seductive devil. He warns her to get lost or he won't play nice. But a wicked idea forms in Su Qingying's mind. She'd rather deal with this handsome stranger than the disgusting fool back in the room. Ignoring his threat to crush her bones, she lunges, wrapping her arms around him. His skin is like ice, a perfect remedy for her fever, and she murmurs for him not to be afraid, promising to take good care of him. The man is stunned, utterly bewildered that this ugly woman is harassing him, and even more shocked when his own body begins to react against his will. Seeing his predicament, Su Qingying cheekily blocks his rising problem with a rock. The man roars in fury, but at that moment the dizziness in her head vanishes. She realizes the cold pool detoxified the poison, and with a smirk, she congratulates the handsome man on his fortune, explaining that he managed to protect his virtue while she was cured. Bidding him a casual farewell, she turns to leave, but the man is consumed by a fiery rage. Unable to believe she would tease him to this point only to abandon him, he leaps from the water in a furious blur. And as he moves, elegant robes materialize around him, making him look even more regal and impossibly handsome. In a flash, he's in front of her, his hand gripping her throat as he seethes about her audacity. Su Qingying is taken aback. Never in her years as an agent has anyone gotten the drop on her so completely. She fights back, kicking out with deadly precision, but he dodges effortlessly and twists her into an arm lock. Impressed by her skill, he demands to know who she is. With pure defiance, she tells him she's his Nana, and flips him off. He snarls, asking if she has a death wish, but she uses his momentary shock to break free and make her escape, leaving him shrouded in a tempest of power and indignation. A sudden shock courses through the man's body as he stumbles through the bamboo forest, clutching his chest before he coughs up a mouthful of blood and collapses to the ground. As he lies there unconscious, a woman with a strange paste on her face discovers him, wondering what could have happened. Her curiosity quickly turns to shrewd observation. She realizes he was poisoned while trying to forcefully gather his energy. She sighs, thinking it's a shame for someone so handsome to die. But then a wicked idea lights up her eyes. With a face like that, he would be worth a fortune as a gigolo, and if she sells him to a brothel, she'll be rich. And convinced that this is a gift from the heavens, she celebrates her good luck. She quickly checks his breath, confirming he's still alive. Her golden opportunity hasn't vanished. With a cunning grin, she performs a swift, peculiar technique on his body, a killing skill she's now repurposing for profit. Her plan in motion, she struggles to lift his dead weight onto her back, immediately cursing how heavy he is and how her current body is about to sprain a back. As she stumbles through the woods, she complains about her delicate physique. Meanwhile, the man awakens to a waking nightmare. He's completely paralyzed, but his mind is sharp with cold fury. He recognizes the woman's faint scent and is utterly baffled by the strange method she used to disable him with a single touch. Powerless, he can only wonder where this deranged woman is taking him, as she drags him through the nighttime streets of a city, grumbling about how rough Ziming is and making bizarre comments about ancient women in stables. The man is utterly lost, unable to comprehend her strange words, wondering if he is simply too ignorant to understand or if she is insane. His confusion turns to dread as she stops before a lavishly decorated building. She declares triumphantly that where there's a will, there's a way, and that she's finally going to get a good price for him. She barges into the bustling establishment, shoving patrons aside and shouting for the boss. The commotion draws the attention of everyone, and a beautiful, commanding woman in a purple dress appears on the upper floor. This is Sister Feng, the boss, and she is not pleased, demanding to know who is causing trouble. The woman is momentarily awestruck by her beauty before Sister Feng orders her men to throw the troublemaker out. Acting fast, the woman drops the paralyzed man on the floor and clarifies that she's not here for trouble, but for business. Sister Feng eyes her with suspicion, but dismisses her men, asking what kind of business a disheveled girl could possibly have in a place like this. As the man lies on the floor, the horrifying reality of his location sinks in, and his rage intensifies. The woman proudly gestures to him, asking Sister Feng to look at this guy and tell her how much he's worth. He seethes internally, unable to believe this audacious wench is selling him to a brothel while he's powerless to stop her. Sister Feng's professional gaze sweeps over him, and she is immediately impressed by his handsome features. Sensing a sale, the woman pushes harder, urging Sister Feng to name her price, insisting it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The man can only scream in his mind at how shamelessly she's rushing to sell him off. Just as Sister Feng seems convinced, she points out the blood on his robes. A light bulb goes off in the woman's head, and she leans in to whisper a scandalous secret to the madam. She claims he suffered severe internal injuries due to sexual frustration, an explanation so absurd it stuns the entire room into silence. The paralyzed man's fist clenches, his fury reaching its peak as he vows to make her wish for death should they ever cross paths again. The woman doubles down on her ridiculous story, claiming to be a former professional who recognized his great potential. She weaves a wild tale about his insatiable desires, how he broke countless beds and was still unsatisfied, and that he vomited blood only because she had to forcefully subdue him. She finishes with a pitiful look, appealing to Sister Feng as a fellow businesswoman and begging her to do a good deed. Sister Feng, completely convinced, agrees to buy her man, promising not to treat him badly. The man fumes, trapped in his own body as this shameless woman finalizes her treachery. The deal almost done, the woman asks when she'll get her money, only for her face to fall when Sister Feng replies, a week later. She immediately calls the offer stingy, launching into an aggressive sales pitch, praising his exquisite muscles and toned arms, questioning how anyone could wait a week for such a quality product. The madam, annoyed, asks when she wants the payment. The woman points a finger and declares today, shocking everyone once again. Sister Feng protests that their small business can't produce 5,000 taels so quickly, but the woman is adamant that she can't wait. When the madam calls her ruthless, the woman coolly replies that she will send anyone who stands between her and her money to hell. Even the paralyzed man is impressed, thinking to himself that it would be a waste for such a ruthless wench not to run her own business. After a tense stare-down, Sister Feng finally cracks, agreeing to settle the deal today. The woman's stern demeanor shatters into tears of joy as she thanks the madam for being so straightforward, sealing the man's fate with a handshake while he watches in silent, boiling rage. Heartless, he holds Ying by the chin, sardonically suggesting that since she's about to die, she might as well help him make some money with her alluring appearance. After admiring her new bonus clothes, she thanks him and departs, leaving the brothel madam fuming at the ungrateful brat's audacity. Humming to herself, Ying strolls happily through the streets, but her good mood is interrupted when she bumps into a man and quickly apologizes. He remains silent and she grows irritated, asking if he wants to blame her for the accident. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out her name, Ying, and she looks up to see a handsome man scolding her for being so mischievous. She finds him familiar, and the pieces click into place when he chastises her for worrying their parents. He's her older brother, Suzy. A wave of relief washes over her as he gently pats her head, telling her she can't be so reckless here. He suggests they go back to the inn to rest before visiting the palace tomorrow. Then they head off together. Upon their return, her maid Zir bursts into tears, collapsing at her feet in overwhelming relief. Ying reassures the frantic girl, telling her to stop crying because she's starving. Zir quickly gets up to prepare a meal. After satisfying her hunger, Ying sits down at her vanity, feeling full and content. But a glance in the mirror reveals the strange blue rashes on her face. She realizes it's a poison, but a confident smirk crosses her lips as she concludes it's a simple one that will clear up in 2 days. Elsewhere, Shangyun Jinghung is roaring with laughter, mocking heartless Yi for being sold by a woman. He teases Yi, the mighty prince regent of Beiliang, asking if he would have been violated if he had arrived any later. Yi seethes in silent fury. His subordinate checks on his injury, but he brushes it off and gives a chilling order: search far and wide for that woman, no matter what it takes. When Shangyun asks for description, Yi snarls that she has blue rashes on her face, looks ugly as a ghost, and her actions are wretched and shameless, leaving Shangyun to wonder who could possibly make the Prince Regent tremble with such anger. The next morning, Ying is abruptly woken by Zira. The maid explains that she has been summoned to the palace by the prince to discuss the friendship between the two kingdoms. Groggily agreeing to get up, Ying allows Zir to help her change into a beautiful blue dress. When Zir asks about makeup, Ying dismisses the idea, pointing out the rashes on her face. She decides not to cause more trouble and just wants to tie up her hair, worried her brother will be anxious. Zir tries to console her, saying the rashes aren't that bad, but Ying knows they are horrible and disgusting. A moment of inspiration strikes, and she decides to use a veil to cover the lower half of her face, creating an elegant and mysterious look. Zir is amazed, exclaiming that she looks beautiful, not ugly at all. Outside, Su Zie waits impatiently, and his eyes widen in surprise when Ying appears before him, veiled and graceful. She playfully asks if he's shocked by how good she looks, and together they mount their horses to leave. Meanwhile, in a quiet courtyard, two men are playing Go. One mentions that her birthday is tomorrow and the Four Kingdoms ceremony is in 1 month. He reports that the delegates from Dongyue are arriving today, while those from Beiliang and Nanjiang have already crossed their borders. In a sunlit pavilion, two brothers engage in a silent battle of wits over Go board, each move a calculated strike. With a final, decisive click, the elder brother places a white stone, sealing his victory and shattering the board's balance. The younger brother Mo sighs and gracefully admits defeat. But this was no mere game. The victor immediately cashes in his prize, reminding Mo of their deal and demanding his presence at his upcoming birthday banquet. Mo's composure breaks as he pleads to renegotiate, complaining about how much he despises such boring events. The elder brother's answer is a cold, sharp no. Mo resorts to increasingly desperate tactics, feigning childish pouts, and even calling him Big Sis, but his brother remains unmoved. He reminds his brother of a promise to let him be a carefree prince, free from courtly matters, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. Suddenly, the older brother's expression softens, and he declares that if Mo truly doesn't want to go, he doesn't have to. Mo's face lights up with pure joy, but the relief is short-lived. His brother continues, stating that Mo is no longer young and should consider marriage, revealing that 4 princesses are arriving soon, and he will graciously help him choose a wife. The trap snaps shut, Mo's face frozen in a mask of horror. The older brother warns him not to even dream of running away, vowing to drag him back from the ends of the earth and tie him up if necessary. Utterly defeated, Mo's demeanor shifts instantly. He declares that for the sake of the Ximing Kingdom, he would gladly walk into hell itself, let alone attend a simple birthday party. He then performs a deep, formal bow, humbly requesting permission to attend the banquet. A satisfied smirk plays on the elder brother's lips as he tells him to rise and prepare. Later, as they walk, Mo casually mentions rumors that the princess from Dongyue Su Zie is ugly and mentally deranged. His brother confirms she's known as a fool, then adds a chilling ultimatum. Mo is to watch over another royal named Seven, and if Seven escapes his own arranged marriage, Mo will be forced to marry the foolish princess in his place. The threat hits its mark, and Mo turns pale. He fervently promises to remain vigilant at all times, swearing he'll even follow Seven to the toilet to prevent his escape. At the city gates, a formal procession awaits the arrival of a foreign delegation. Prime Minister Rong Yu stands ready to greet the Prince of Dongyue. The prince emerges, exchanging pleasantries and complimenting Rong Yu's handsome reputation. Just as Rong Yu introduces himself, a veiled woman named Ying stumbles out of the carriage, prompting a cry of concern from the prince. She promptly vomits on the ground, shocking the stoic guards. Ying clutches her head, wondering why a simple carriage ride is making her sick when she can skydive without issue. As she sways unsteadily, a horse rears up in fright, its hooves poised to crush her. In a flash, Rong Yu leaps forward, grabbing her and spinning them both out of harm's way. He holds her safely, but the dramatic rescue only makes her dizzier, and she vomits again, this time all over the Prime Minister's pristine robes. The guards gasp, knowing their minister is a notorious germaphobe. The prince rushes to Ying's side as she clings to him, complaining of dizziness. Rong Yu, with strained politeness, suggests the princess is unwell from her journey and should rest at the summer palace. The prince profusely thanks him for saving Ying, but when an attendant offers to call the royal physician, panic flashes in Ying's eyes. Her identity would surely be exposed. The prince quickly refuses the offer, and Rong Yu lets the matter drop, ushering them towards their lodgings. The prince carries Ying to the summer palace and gently lays her on the bed. She peeks through her lashes, worried he might have discovered her secret. He instructs a maid Zir to care for the princess and finally departs. The moment he's gone, Ying sits up, her mind racing. She knows if her brother discovers she's not the real Su Qingying, she'll never escape. She immediately begins packing her belongings to run away. Zir tries to stop her, explaining that the prince ordered her to watch Ying and she will be punished if the princess flees. Ying dismisses her fears, telling her to just lie. But the maid bursts into tears, terrified. She whispers a horrifying truth. While the prince is usually kind, he once became so enraged at an inn that he killed a maid with his own sword. The chilling story freezes Ying in place, the true danger of her situation crashing down on her. With her escape plan in motion, Ying faces a tearful maid begging her not to leave. The desperate pleas are getting on her nerves, and she briefly considers just knocking the girl out to silence her. But when her other maid bravely asks to come along, a new plan forms in her mind. Peeking outside, however, she sees that security is far too tight for a daytime escape, with guards posted every few steps. Realizing the risk is too great, she resolves to wait for the cover of darkness, just hoping Suzy won't return before then. As night falls over the palace, the guards remain vigilant. It's now or never, motioning for her maid to be quiet. Ying plucks a leaf from a nearby plant, and with a flick of her wrist unleashes a sudden, powerful gust of wind that stuns the guards. Seizing the opportunity, she grabs her maid and they bolt into the shadows. She quickly explains that her martial arts created a flash of light, temporarily blinding the men, a trick essential for her survival. But her companion soon tires, unable to keep up. Ying tells the maid to hide and wait, promising to return for her after scouting the way forward. Venturing alone, she finds the palace is a bewildering maze, and she quickly grows exhausted and lost. Just as she's about to collapse, she spots her brother in the distance and her heart sinks. She has to run. Desperate for a place to hide, she stumbles upon Ling Xiao Hall and slips inside, only to find the room filled with thick, warm steam. Suddenly, a white cloth whips through the air towards her face. She dodges, annoyed, only for it to attack again. Fed up, she deflects it with a powerful kick, internally snarling that she is no harmless kitten. The cloth continues its arrogant assault, and she realizes someone is trying to ambush her from behind a screen. A shockingly cold and murderous aura emanates from the bath, and she knows this is no ordinary person. Thinking fast, she grabs a robe to use as a distraction, flinging it at her unseen foe. But the man catches it effortlessly, dismissing her move as child's play. Out of options, she tries to flee but slips on the wet floor, crashing directly into the bath. A hand like steel clamps down on her wrist as the man furiously demands to know who she is. He notes her strange moves, correctly guessing she isn't from Zyming, and repeats his question. With a smirk, she audaciously tells him she's his boss. Taking advantage of his momentary shock, she declares that one should always reciprocate a gift, and since he ambushed her with underwear, she shoves the cloth in her hand into his mouth. Enraged, he spits it out and unleashes a deadly energy blast, roaring for her to die. The attack misses, completely destroying the door behind her and creating a perfect escape route. She mocks him for being an idiot, thanks him for the extra underwear, and vanishes into the night, leaving him dripping and seething in the ruined bathhouse. He bellows for the royal guards, who come rushing in and kneel before their master. Trembling, they apologize for their failure. But he is beyond placating. He issues a chilling order: find the female assassin, kill her on the spot, and make sure the Prince of Dongyue is not alerted, describing her as an ugly woman with blue rashes on her face. Elsewhere, Ying's brother finds her anxious maid waiting alone. He greets her formally and sternly asks where the princess is. Before the stammering maid can answer, Ying appears from the shadows, cheerfully greeting her brother. He's stunned, having not sensed her approach in the slightest. He addresses her as Ying, his voice tight with frustration as he scolds her for leaving the summer palace and acting so recklessly in a foreign kingdom. Confronted by her brother Suzy, Su Qingying puts on a remorseful act, explaining she got bored in the summer palace and wandered off, getting lost while admiring the imperial grounds. She pleads for his forgiveness, admitting she was wrong. Suzy, his expression unreadable, simply tells her to come to the banquet tomorrow, warning that he'll punish her if she causes trouble again before turning to leave. As they walk, the palace guards respectfully greet His Highness, catching a glimpse of the princess with him. The guards are stunned to see the princess, whose presence is a mystery to them. Suzy's cold gaze doesn't waver as he orders the guards to stand down. He then instructs Ying to follow him inside, his tone leaving no room for argument. Once they are alone, he stops and demands she speak. He turns to her, his eyes sharp and analytical, and asks who she truly is. He reveals his suspicion, noting her performance was too abnormal and her eyes were glowing with an intelligence his real sister never possessed. He states that his sister, Su Qingying, was born with a mental illness and could barely speak a coherent sentence, yet she speaks smoothly and with sense. He simply cannot believe she is the same person. Cornered, Ying makes a bold gambit, asking if he would believe her if she told him she had died once. Suzy's stoic facade cracks with shock. She explains that the truth is strange, but she indeed died 2 days ago and was somehow reborn, a chance she didn't expect. Knowing how insane it sounds, she closes her eyes, telling him she's ready to accept any punishment if he doesn't believe her, even death. But his response is not what she expects. He calmly states that he believes her. He looks at her with newfound resolve, assuring her that regardless of her past, she is now Su Qingying, his sister, and he will guarantee her safety as long as he lives. He then pats her head gently, warning her to never reveal this truth to anyone lest the consequences be dire. She assures him she isn't a fool anymore, watching him leave with a complex mix of relief and gratitude. That night, the palace is in an uproar as guards search for an assassin. The commander berates a subordinate who suggests searching the summer palace, reminding the fool that His Majesty of Dongyue is staying there and they can't afford to alert him. He kicks the soldier, ordering them all to keep searching without causing a scene. The next morning, a maid fawns over Ying, telling her she's becoming more beautiful. As her brother arrives, Ying feels a spark of confidence, believing the rashes on her face should be gone by tonight. They proceed to the main hall for the banquet, and Ying is dazzled by the grandeur. But her wonder turns to ice as she recognizes the man on the throne as the emperor of the Ximing Kingdom. Overcome with panic, she clutches her brother's arm, begging to leave. Suzy refuses, reminding her they were specifically invited and it would be a huge embarrassment to leave now. Resigned, Ying covers her face with a veil, feigning concern that her ugliness might ruin the atmosphere. He takes her hand and leads her inside just as an attendant announces the arrival of the prince and fifth princess of Dongyue. Suzy offers their blessings to the emperor, who graciously invites them to sit. Soon after, another announcement echoes through the hall. The prince and prince regent of Bailing have arrived. The news causes a stir among the guests, and Ying wonders who could command such attention. Two men enter, one exuding a calm, powerful aura and the other a more flamboyant, playful energy. The courtiers whisper that the stoic one is the legendary Prince Regent who conquered the small kingdoms. The flamboyant prince jokes that everyone must be mesmerized by his handsomeness. But the crowd mutters that he's just a useless prince known for causing trouble in brothels. As Ying gets a clear look at him, her blood runs cold. A jolt of pure terror seizes her. It's the man from the brothel, the one waiting for a woman named Rose. Her mind reels, realizing this troublemaker is royalty and she is utterly doomed. As the Bailing royals are seated, an awkward silence falls over their table. Seeking to break the tension, Suzy turns to Ying and addresses her formally as the fifth princess of Dongyue. His words instantly draw the steely gaze of the Prince Regent, and Ying internally screams at her brother for being a big mouth and making her the center of attention. The veiled princess sits in silent contempt as Prince Mo of Ximing labels her a big-mouthed punk. Her brother tries to defend her, but she cuts him off with a calm hand gesture, turning her sharp gaze on Prince Mo. She thanks him for his concern over her marriage, sarcastically questioning if he has too much free time that he must mind her business. The seventh prince tries to smooth things over, claiming it's natural to show concern since their kingdoms will be united by marriage. But the princess merely tilts her head, playfully asking if his concern stems from a personal interest in her. He flushes and stammers a denial, insisting he was just lightening the mood, allowing her to feign being hurt that he finds her so repulsive, a performance that leaves the surrounding nobles utterly baffled. Just then, a new voice joins the fray, the Prince Regent of Bailing, Dongyue. He remarks that he's heard the fifth princess has a stunning appearance and wonders if he'll be honored enough to see it. A jolt of panic flashes through the princess. She instantly recognizes this man as the demon from her past. Composing herself, she politely deflects, stating that true beauty is internal and judging by appearances is fickle. Dongyue presses, questioning if she's hiding her face for a reason, causing her brother to tense up, wondering how his sister got involved with such a dangerous man. Two noble ladies begin to whisper loudly, mocking her and claiming she won't remove her veil because her legendary ugliness would fright everyone. They scoff at the Prince Regent for calling a known fool stunning. The princess's patience finally snaps. She turns on them, her voice dripping with ice, asking what business it is of theirs if she's ugly. Her brother slams his fist on the table in fury, and the girl's father, Right Minister Lanbo, scrambles to apologize for his undisciplined daughter. The emperor's voice cuts through the tension, coldly remarking that the Right Minister must be getting old if he can't even teach his daughter properly. The minister immediately falls to his knees, begging for mercy, and his daughter follows suit. As the emperor contemplates their punishment, Dongyue intervenes, suggesting he'll have a drink as an apology on their behalf. The princess leans over to her brother, whispering that it's not worth lowering themselves to bite back at a dog that bites them. Her words are just loud enough to be heard, causing the Prince of Nanjing to spit out his drink in a comical spray. He explodes in rage, accusing her of offending both the Ximing and Nanjing kingdoms. Unfazed, the princess points out that she never mentioned any names, and if they chose to make assumptions, that's their own problem. Silencing them with her flawless logic, another official then brings up the rumors of terrifying blue rashes on her face. The princess internally curses another big mouth, but Jun Liu seizes the moment, making a formal request to see her face. Before she can refuse, he moves like a phantom, his hand shooting out and snatching the veil. The thin fabric drifts to the floor, revealing her disfigured face to the entire gasping court. A chilling silence falls as Jun Liu stares at her, his eyes burning with anger, and greets her with a low, menacing "long time no see." Her brother is stunned, asking how she could possibly know the Prince Regent, a question Jun Liu echoes with a predatory smile. The princess is trapped, her mind flashing back to the time she tried to sell this very man to a brothel. She feigns a failing memory, insisting she has never met him, but he merely notes how familiar she seems. Suddenly, the doors fly open and her fiancé, Prince Ri Xuanyuanqi, storms into the hall. He points a finger at her and bellows that he will never marry an impure person, sending a shockwave of scandalous gossip through the room. Her brother reaches out to comfort her, but she gently pushes his hand away, her expression hardening into cold steel. She feigns confusion, telling Prince Ri her ears must be failing and asking him to repeat his outrageous claim. She calls him a mentally deranged prince for bullying a fool, then locks eyes with him and demands evidence for his slander. He scoffs, but she cuts him off, revealing the truth of what happened 2 days prior. He was the one who lured her to a temple, poisoned her, and left her to be assaulted by a fool, a cruel and unscrupulous plot to destroy her so he could escape their marriage. She slams her hand on the table, her voice ringing with righteous fury, leaving her brother utterly horrified by the truth. Xuanyuanqi confronts the fifth princess, vehemently denying he sent her any letter, claiming he's been in the royal study for days and hasn't left the palace. He insists he only ever wanted to marry her because she saved his life 5 years ago, a debt he intended to repay with his life. Su Qingying merely scoffs, knowing he would deny it, and contemptuously throws a folded piece of paper at him. He catches it and unfolds the letter, his eyes widening as he reads the invitation to a tavern, signed with his name. He recognizes his own personal stamp, a detail that sends a chill down his spine, but the handwriting is completely foreign. In fact, it looks suspiciously like Xinyao's. As he stands there in stunned silence, Qingying presses him, her voice dripping with scorn, asking if he has anything left to say. Before he can even process the setup, she delivers the final blow, declaring that his desires are irrelevant because she no longer wants to marry him. She officially breaks off their engagement on behalf of Dongyue, proclaiming that from this day forward, they will walk their own separate paths. Her brother watches in shock, completely baffled by the sudden change in the sister who had been so obsessed with Xuanyuanqi. Seeing her unyielding determination, her brother sighs and informs the emperor that if his sister doesn't want the marriage, then they will break it off. Xuanyuanqi warns that canceling the engagement will ruin her reputation, but his words are met with a theatrical, bored eye roll from Qingying. The emperor asks for confirmation, and Qingying steps forward herself, stating that her reputation means nothing to her as long as she is happy. She then points a finger at Xuanyuanqi, making it crystal clear to the entire court that she is the one rejecting him, not the other way around. He sputters her name in disbelief, and she mocks him, asking if he suddenly can't bear to part with her. Bristling with indignation, he retorts that he's glad she broke it off and warns her not to regret this decision later. As she assures him with cold certainty that she won't. Her brother, still wary, asks her one last time if she is absolutely sure, and she affirms it without a hint of hesitation. In her mind, the memories of her past life's foolishness fuel her resolve. The humiliation she endured, the way she risked her own life and ruined her appearance to save him 5 years ago, all for a promise he never intended to keep. She would rather have nothing than be trapped in such an unfair relationship again. Xuanyuanqi, however, is completely shattered by one detail, her claim that she saved him 5 years ago. His entire understanding of the past is thrown into chaos, wondering how she could possibly know about that incident and what it means if Xinyao lied. While he spirals, Qingying's brother formally requests an official decree to cancel the marriage. The emperor sighs and agrees, hoping this won't affect the alliance between their kingdoms, a sentiment Qingying happily echoes. As the matter is settled, Xuanyuanqi feels a strange, hollow ache in his chest. He tries to ask her about the previous night, but she cuts him off with a theatrical gasp, asking why his tone is so scary and mockingly suggesting he's trying to make her wet her underpants. He seethes, realizing she is openly threatening him with blackmail in front of the entire court. Qingying breathes a sigh of relief, proud of how her quick thinking saved her from a potentially deadly situation. The Prince Regent, Jun Liai, who has been watching silently, finds the entire spectacle deeply amusing. Much to Qingying's annoyance, Jun Liai smoothly claims he is just showing some neighborly concern. prompting King Ying to sarcastically suggest that if he's such a saint, he should become a monk. Unfazed, Jun Liai pivots, casually reminding her of the 3,000 taels she owes him. At the mention of money, King Ying explodes, declaring that the money is hers and she'd fight for it with her life, reminding him how she carried him all the way from the wilderness to a brothel. Her brother, mortified, quickly steps in and promises to pay the debt on her behalf. King Ying reluctantly agrees, secretly plotting to steal the money back from him later. Jun Liai smiles, telling her not to be upset, claiming it was all just a joke. Seeing an opening, King Ying cheekily suggests that if money is no object, he should just give his to her for safekeeping. Her brother yells at her to stop causing trouble, while Jun Liai smirks, noting to himself how much this woman loves money. Later, during the gift ceremony, King Ying watches the lavish tributes being presented, and daydreams about stealing the emperor's money and running away. She grows bored and notices both Xuan Yuanqi and Jun Liai staring at her like statues, probably plotting her demise. That night, she soaks in a hot bath, delighted to find the ugly rashes on her body have completely vanished. Admiring her now beautiful reflection, she feels a surge of confidence, and eventually dozes off in the warm water, as she awakens with a jolt, sensing a presence in the room and demanding to know who's there. Jun Liai steps out of the shadows, commending her alertness. Blushing and covering herself, she asks what he is doing in her room. He callously remarks on her ugly face, forcing her to explain that the rashes are now cured. She assumes he's there for revenge, and tries to appeal to his better nature, but he merely notes her sharp tongue. He calmly approaches, assuring her that if he had wanted her dead, she already would be. Before she coolly asks him to state his real reason for visiting her so late at night, Jun Liai cuts straight to the point, asking if she knows medicine, and she meets his gaze with unshakable confidence, stating that while she may not be good at other things, when it comes to the poison in his body, no one can cure it except for her. He scoffs at her arrogance, but she coolly replies that arrogance is one of her strengths, otherwise he wouldn't have come looking for her in the first place. She warns him that being too stupid could get her killed without her even knowing why, prompting him to command her to cure his poison immediately if she truly knows how. But she just smiles, asking what benefit it brings her. She lays out the cold logic of the situation. She's already offended his poisoner, he doesn't have many days left, and if she saves him, she gains a powerful enemy while he only loses one. She declares that she never invests in a loss, a statement that makes him realize that beneath her careless exterior, she's incredibly intelligent. He threatens that he could kill her with a single finger, but she remains defiant, daring him to try and see who has the last laugh. He admits she's the first person to ever provoke him like this, to which she simply sniffs that she has nothing but integrity. After a tense standoff, Jun Liai relents, promising to forgive her actions and reward her with 10,000 taels of gold if she cures him. Her eyes immediately sparkle with greed at the mention of so much money, but she quickly composes herself, demanding to know how she can trust his words alone. Amused by her avarice, he wonders if she died from poverty in her last life before tossing her his personal jade pendant as a guarantee. She eagerly accepts the deal, only for him to immediately warn her that if she sells it, she won't get a single cent, making her wonder how he read her mind. He tells the ugly woman not to die before curing him and turns to leave, only to reappear moments later, reminding her that she offended the Jinling Kingdom and they won't let her go. Just then, assassins strike, and she panics internally, realizing she's trapped in her bath and can't fight. She screams for Jun Liai, reminding him that she's the only one who can cure him and asking if he'll just watch her die. He sarcastically asks about her supposed integrity, but she fires back, asking if integrity can be eaten. He throws her a robe, and once dressed, she calls him shameless for being in her chambers. She points out that he, the almighty Prince Regent, broke in first, so they're equally shameless. She gives him an ultimatum: he must protect her for the sake of his own life. He agrees, but with a chilling promise that if she fails to cure him, he will make her life a living hell. He then sweeps her into his arms and leaps onto the roof, overlooking the swarm of assassins in the courtyard below. She calmly pulls the pins from her hair, confidently explaining that her knowledge of death acupoints makes them lethal weapons in his skilled hands. Though skeptical, he takes the pins and follows her instructions, pointing out targets below. The hairpins fly through the air, striking down multiple assassins with deadly precision. The remaining invaders are stunned, wondering what expert they're facing, as Jun Liai watches in shock, realizing this woman has been hiding her true nature for years. With a smirk, she calls for the guards to capture the remaining assassins, then tells Jun Liai to take her back to her room before her brother arrives and discovers them. He carries her back just as her brother, Suzy, arrives to find the captured assassins swallowing poison to commit suicide. Enraged, Suzy declares they all deserve to die and orders his men to investigate the royal family crest found on their bodies. He enters his sister's room to find her feigning sleepiness, and he reassures her that the assassins are dealt with, showing genuine concern for her safety. After he leaves, ordering his guards to protect her well, Jun Liai leaps back through her window, commenting on her impressive acting skills that fooled even her own breath. She simply replies that life itself is an act and tells him to leave. But he scoffs, demanding a time frame for when she will cure his poison now that her immediate danger has passed. The princess sits with quiet defiance, asking Jun Liu how long she has to prepare. His eyes narrow as he warns her that if she plays tricks, she won't be able to handle the consequences. She looks him straight in the eye, assuring him that she cherishes her life and will not go back on her word. With a cold finality, he grants her 1 month, but threatens to make her life a living hell if she fails to cure his poison. The sheer menace radiating from him is palpable, a dark aura that makes her flinch. But she holds her ground, adding a condition of her own. For that month, he must guarantee her safety. He scoffs at her audacity, but then rises to his full height. He commands her to stand, declaring that from this day forward, her life belongs to him. With a chilling possessiveness, he challenges anyone to dare lay a finger on her. She acknowledges his promise, calling him by name, Jun Liu, and reminding him that a gentleman keeps his word. He coolly states he never breaks his promises, before leaping out the window and disappearing across the rooftops under the moonlight. Left alone in the quiet room, her resolve hardens as she stares into a candle's flame. She vows to hunt down every single person who tried to kill her that night. With a flick of her finger, she sends a small object flying, extinguishing the flame in a display of cold precision. Her eyes glinting with a thirst for vengeance. Elsewhere under the same moonlit sky, an old master observes the stars from his ride. He notes with surprise that a one-stemmed star in the east is now glowing with unprecedented brightness, wondering if the legendary phoenix star has finally appeared after 100 years. His skills fail him, he can't locate it or predict its future, sensing only that the world is stirring with trouble. Suddenly, a figure lands on the roof above him. It's Jun Liu. The master immediately scolds his former pupil, asking if he still remembers him after kicking him aside and running like a rabbit from his tutelage. Jun Liu retorts that as the prince regent, he has no use for such skills, dismissing them as the tricks of a common swindler. The master erupts in fury, outraged that his unique knowledge is being compared to cheap trickery. Jun Liu tries to leave, calling his master's belief superstition, but the old man stops him with a grave warning. He tells him that after the meeting of the 7 kingdoms, he must leave Ximing as soon as possible. When Jun Liu asks why, the master explains that he read the night sky and saw the phoenix star has appeared, an omen that the world is about to be turned upside down. Jun Liu demands to know who it is, but the master claims it's a heavenly secret that cannot be revealed, much to his student's annoyance. He warns that if Jun Liu stays, he will face 2 great calamities and be eternally doomed. If he leaves, however, a clear path to becoming emperor awaits. Jun Liu's expression remains unmoved. He scoffs at the prophecy, declaring that he paves his own path and believes only in himself, not in heavens or destiny. As the master rides away, he offers one last piece of advice. Stay away from women, for he sees the star of love shining in his birth chart. Jun Liu watches him depart, whispering the words phoenix star to the night sky and admitting he looks forward to meeting this mysterious person. The next morning, the princess is being forcefully woken by her maid, Zir. Drowsy and annoyed, she complains about being dragged out of bed so early, threatening to bite Zir if she keeps disturbing her sleep. Zir gasps, pointing at her lady's face, but the princess calmly explains that she cured the blue rashes last night, and this is her true appearance. The maid is overjoyed and amazed by her skill, but the princess just wants to be left alone to sleep. Zir reminds her of the important flower viewing event at the royal garden, insisting she must go and show everyone her beautiful face. After being swarmed by her persistent maids, the princess finally relents and gets ready. Dressed in elegant robes, she is breathtakingly beautiful. Zir showers her with praise, and the princess accepts it with a smile, stating that of course she was born this way. After asking about her brother, she heads out to the garden. Upon her arrival, she immediately turns heads, with guests whispering about the stunning miss from an unknown family, only to realize it is the 5th princess. She approaches Minister Rong and gives him a cheerful good morning. He stares, shocked by the complete recovery of her face. She confirms it's healed and prepares to take her leave, but he quickly steps in front of her. Leaning close, he whispers a dire warning to beware the tea today, leaving her with a sense of foreboding. In the royal garden, Xuanyuan Qi shares a laugh with a woman, but their pleasant stroll is interrupted by the sight of Su Qingying. He is struck by her beauty, even in her simple attire, a fact that immediately irks his companion, Lan Ziniao, who sees at how dazzling Su Qingying is without even trying. Su Qingying notices them and politely greets the Dongyue 5th princess, though inwardly she remembers that this was the man who tried to ruin her. Lan Ziniao, however, has no time for pleasantries, rudely telling Su Qingying to get out of her way. With a cold smile, Su Qingying retorts that a good dog doesn't stand in the way, a remark that stuns the onlookers who realize she just called a princess a dog. Lan Ziniao immediately feigns innocence, asking why Su Qingying is so angry when she was only showing concern. The display disgusts Su Qingying, who internally scorns her as a fake, weak on the outside but completely evil within. Xuan Yuanqi steps in to comfort Lan Ziniao, assuring her she shouldn't feel guilty over their broken engagement, while another woman chimes in that Su Qingying is a useless woman not worthy of Prince Rui at all. This stream of insults finally pushes Su Qingying over the edge. She wonders why cannon fodder is so eager for attention, thinking that a tiger restraining its claws is not an invitation to be provoked. Her eyes blaze with fury as she reminds the woman that her engagement was decided by two emperors, questioning if she was calling their judgment flawed. An official tries to reprimand her for being reckless, but Su Qingying shuts him down, declaring she is a princess and he has no right to lecture her. She then turns her verbal assault on Lan Ziniao, stating she already broke off the engagement and is no longer a threat. Yet Lan Ziniao is so nasty she continues to defame her out of insecurity, calling her a pitiful worm. When Lan Ziniao tries to defend herself by mentioning she was the official fiance, Su Qingying cuts her down, saying she has lowered herself to the level of a common mistress, causing the princess to collapse in shock. Not finished, Su Qingying glares at Xuan Yuanqi, declaring she must have been blind to ever like him and that in her eyes, he has zero presence. She then coldly questions Lan Ziniao if she has a problem with the Dongyue Kingdom, an accusation that terrifies the princess into silence. Just as the tension peaks, a guard announces the arrival of the emperor, the prince regent, and the prince of Bailing. A handsome man with dark hair approaches Su Qingying, gently telling her she was amazing and is no longer a fool, a compliment that makes her smile. As they take their seats at the banquet, a flamboyant blonde man asks if he missed the show, to which Su Qingying smugly replies that he'll just have to witness the next spectacle himself. Taking her opportunity, she turns to the Emperor of Ximing, innocently asking if he slept well after the incident at the Summer Palace last night. The pointed question makes him cough nervously, while another prince notes her sheer audacity. Su Qingying continues, musing that a scourge is said to live for 1,000 years, implying the emperor wouldn't die so easily either. A thinly veiled threat that causes his face to contort in rage. Internally, the emperor admits he knew about the assassination attempt and did nothing, his only regret being that he didn't send more assassins himself. Wishing he could kill her with his own hands, he forces a calm reply, thanking her for her concern, which she accepts with a deceptively sweet smile. The emperor then announces the start of the flower banquet, offering a legendary prize to the winner, the ancient moon lute. The crowd buzzes with excitement as servants unveil the beautiful instrument. Su Qingying asks her brother about its fame, and he explains the rumor that it's a powerful weapon capable of killing from 1,000 miles away. Though no one has ever been able to activate it, her mind immediately calculates its monetary value. Even as another prince watches on, knowing the lute is useless without its ancient incantation, he knows the emperor is dangling the lute as bait because he only possesses the second half of the incantation himself and desperately wants the complete version. The blonde prince taunts him, asking if he's sure he doesn't want it before questioning if he could even activate it if he won. The blonde-haired man muses that if the ancient lute can't be activated, it's just a normal instrument, but one that will still attract those greedy for power, making it a ticking time bomb. His companion realizes Xuanyuan Liuachen's true genius. Offering the lute was a simple move to stir up chaos among the 7 kingdoms, leaving the other man silently contemplating the depth of this political chess game. On the main stage, the host declares that whoever wins today will take home the legendary ancient moon lute, and he will not go back on his word. With a grand gesture, he announces the start of the flower viewing banquet. The competition is divided into 2 parts, literary skill and talent, with the first test being a literary challenge to provide a matching verse for a poem. An official unrolls a scroll revealing the first verse, "The empty jade palace faces the moon." As the audience murmurs, one man stands to offer his line about a solo flute, which the host deems passable. Another lady suggests a verse about a sleepless household, earning praise as the most talented lady in Ximing, just as another verse about a lonely zither is spoken. The host turns impressed, only to find the words came from Su Qingying. The crowd erupts in disbelief, wondering how the foolish princess could possess such talent, immediately accusing her of cheating. Her rival seethes, demanding to know how it's possible. Ying, however, remains perfectly calm, asking for proof of this cheating and boldly challenging the host to give her another verse, boasting she could recite poems from the next 5,000 years. She turns to her brother, assuring him that she is no longer the girl who was bullied in the past, and begging him to believe in her. He smiles softly, promising his unwavering support. The host obliges, providing a significantly more difficult verse, which causes Ying's rival to mock her for her silence, calling her embarrassing. But Ying steps forward with a confident smirk, cheekily announcing that she is merely deciding between 2 excellent answers and asking His Majesty to help her choose. She recites 2 flawless, elegant verses, leaving the court speechless. The officials can only stare, questioning if this is the same stupid princess they all knew. While one admits that if she is considered stupid, then they must be far worse. Her rival is absolutely stunned, refusing to believe what she's seeing and convincing herself it must be a coincidence. Seeing the stalemate, the host proposes a new challenge. Everyone will view the chrysanthemums and compose a poem inspired by them. As the group moves to the gardens, Ying decides to end all debate, declaring she will compose 5 poems in the time it takes 1 incense stick to burn. Her rival calls her arrogant, but Ying coolly ignores her, telling the host to light the incense and promising to admit defeat if she fails. The blonde prince asks Ying's brother if he thinks she can do it, and her brother replies with absolute certainty that she can, driven by pure instinct. The host agrees to the terms, declaring that 5 poems will make her the undisputed winner. And the incense is lit. Without a moment of hesitation, Ying begins reciting her first poem, then her second. The words flowing like water, the blonde prince praises the depth of her second poem, just as she moves on to her third, leaving the entire court captivated. One of the noble ladies remarks that every sentence is of classic quality, while her rival looks on in utter shock, unable to reconcile this brilliant poet with the foolish girl who once trailed after her. Ying's brother watches with pride, seeing that his sister has truly changed and become a dazzling presence. She recites a fourth poem as officials scramble to write her words down. Pausing only for a second to wipe her brow, the incense is nearly gone. But with a look of fierce determination to clear her name, she begins her final verse, a profound piece about opening one's mind to boundless possibilities. The crowd roars its approval, and the blonde prince declares her poems are so impressive they will surely become classics. Internally, Ying notes his honesty, a pleasant surprise. She turns to the host and asks if she has won, and he confirms that the 5th princess deserves the victory. But her rival isn't done, sneering that a literary win means nothing without talent. Ying coolly asks if she is so certain of her own victory, which sends the woman into a rage, accusing Ying of having a death wish. The rival screams that Ying is a shameless fool, but her insult is cut short when the blonde prince interjects, asking how she can call Ying a fool after she composed 5 classics, sarcastically suggesting the rival's skills must be even greater. Before she can respond, Ying's brother steps in front of her, his gaze lethally cold as he warns the princess that if she insults Ying again, he will forget all about the relationship between their 2 kingdoms. The Prince of Dongyue confronts Su Qingying's brother, seething with rage over the embarrassment his sister has suffered. Su Qingying's sister tries to placate him, calmly explaining that Su Qingying is just young and ignorant, pleading for his forgiveness. But the prince is having none of it, questioning if she has embarrassed them enough, while Su Qingying herself mutters that the fat girl is just too thick-skinned. The tense standoff is broken by the arrival of the emperor Xuanyuan Liuchen, who announces the final test of the competition: singing, playing an instrument, or dancing, with a grand reward for the winner. The 3rd princess, sister of the Prince of Dongyue, immediately volunteers to go first. She confidently tells the emperor that her peacock dance is the best in the world and that she's proud of it. She begins her performance, a vision of grace and beauty that captivates the audience, who murmur in appreciation of her elegant movements. But just as she basks in their admiration, a sharp pain suddenly lances through her stomach. A wave of panic washes over her as she feels the horrified gazes of the crowd, realizing she's losing control. In a moment of ultimate humiliation, she lets out a loud fart right in the middle of her dance. The crowd is stunned into silence before erupting into uncontrolled laughter. Su Qingying points and cackles, mocking that she was wondering why the princess was lifting her butt in such a strange pose. The princess stands frozen, overwhelmed by shame and fury, her hands clenching as she glares daggers at Su Qingying, the source of her disgrace. Su Qingying continues her taunts, sarcastically praising the princess's talent for farting so shockingly. This is the final straw. The princess snaps, screaming for Su Qingying to shut up as she lunges forward to attack. Before she can land a blow, a teacup flies through the air and smacks into her, sending her tumbling to the ground. The man known as Jun Lai steps forward, kneeling beside Su Qingying's sister. He coldly informs the fallen princess that she has dirtied his heir and asks if she has a death wish for daring to try and hurt his woman. The princess looks up at him with tears streaming down her face, her heart shattering as she cries that she has admired him for so many years. Watching the scene unfold, Su Qingying reflects on Jun Lai's terrifying skill, wondering what he'd do to her given all the trouble she's caused him. The emperor clears his throat, announcing that the 3rd princess has withdrawn and asks for the next contestant. Miss Lan, Su Qingying's own sister, steps up to perform, and the crowd buzzes with anticipation, acknowledging her as one of the best dancers. She begins her dance, a mesmerizing performance where she seems to summon shimmering butterflies with every graceful gesture. The onlookers are stunned by her talent, certain the coveted ancient moon lute will be hers. Miss Lan smirks, filled with confidence, wondering who could possibly compete with her. But Su Qingying is already bored, letting out a massive yawn before flicking her finger with a mischievous glint in her eye. A small, unseen projectile shoots from her hand and strikes Miss Lan's skirt, causing it to fly up and completely expose her underwear to the entire audience. Su Qingying erupts in laughter, cheerfully pointing out Miss Lan's predicament for all to see. Miss Lan freezes in absolute horror and rage, feeling dizzy from the sheer humiliation. Su Qingying then puts on a show of mock concern, telling Miss Lan to calm down and that there's no need to kneel and bow in thanks for her praises. The public shame is too much to bear and Miss Lan faints from pure anger. Unfazed, Su Qingying turns to the emperor, leaning in to ask him if he managed to see the color of Miss Lan's underwear from his vantage point. The emperor is sent into a violent coughing fit, his face flushing red, while Zhenlai looks on in disgust, wondering how her thoughts could be so dirty. Su Qingying presses on, asking the emperor why he isn't answering and questioning his taste for not appreciating such a rare sight. Xuanyuan Liuchen trembles with barely suppressed rage, grabbing his own robe and telling himself to endure for the sake of their kingdom's relationship, even as his mind screams to chop her head off. After forcing himself to take a deep breath, he attempts to get the competition back on track. Though Su Qingying is privately amazed that he could withstand her taunts, the emperor declares that if no one else performs, the fainted Miss Lan will be declared the winner by default. Su Qingying cuts through the tension, raising her hand and declaring that she will be the one to perform. Her sister is immediately incensed, shouting that Qingying could never hope to dance better than her. But Qingying is unfazed, finding a simple performance boring and instead proposing a game. With a sly smile, she announces she will win and invites the guests to place their bets, with her brother Lan Ziniao acting as the banker. A stern-faced prince immediately chastises her, questioning how a princess could gamble so openly and embarrass herself. Qingying dismisses his concern, cheekily suggesting that perhaps the prince is only complaining because he has no money to place a bet himself. She openly calls him pitiful for being poor, and tells him to simply sit out if he can't afford it. Utterly provoked, the prince seethes with rage, and furiously declares he will bet 5,000 taels on her sister, Miss Lan. As he stands there fuming, the prince regent, Zhun Liai, makes his move, calmly announcing a staggering bet of 100,000 taels on Qingying. He then turns to the other prince, mockingly offering to go easy on him if he's too poor. Qingying internally smirks at Zhun Liai's sharp tongue, though she briefly wonders if he even possesses such wealth. Another prince, clad in red, finds it immensely satisfying to see someone else suffer Qingying's barbs, and throws in 30,000 taels for her, twisting the knife by offering to lend the humiliated prince some money. The insult is too much, and the poor prince collapses to his knees, crushed by the repeated accusations of poverty. He staggers to his feet, refusing the condescending offer and defiantly increasing his bet to 10,000 taels. Soon, the bets pile up, creating a literal mountain of gold that makes Qingying's eyes sparkle with delight. With the wagers placed, her brother calls for the performance to begin. But Qingying has one more surprise. She turns to the prince regent of Bailing and brazenly asks him to be her dance partner. Before he can refuse, she takes his hand, privately anticipating the look on his face during their sexy dance. The crowd, including her brother, is stunned by her audacity. Zhun Liai's face darkens with rage, a vein throbbing on his temple as he glares at her. Qingying only smiles, mouthing words at him which he interprets as a direct threat. As Zhun Liai silently fumes, he reluctantly allows her to lead him toward the center of the crowd. The onlookers are in disbelief, wondering why the famously cruel Zhun Liai would agree to such a ridiculous request. Her sister's face twists with jealousy, unable to comprehend how Qingying has changed so drastically since the temple incident. Internally, Zhun Liai thinks he should just slap this daring woman, but she leans in close, whispering that she finds his murderous intent cute. She calmly instructs him to place his hand on her waist, guiding it herself until they are in a perfect dance pose. The guards watch on, scandalized by the display. Qingying leads him effortlessly, whispering instructions into his ear. He is flustered and blushing, thinking she must be a demon, yet he can't deny her incredible talent for dancing. They move with a mesmerizing grace, ending in a dramatic dip that leaves the audience breathless. The crowd erupts in praise, marveling that the once foolish princess has so completely transformed. Recognizing her undeniable victory, her brother calls for the ancient moon lute to be brought to her. An attendant presents the instrument, and Qingying accepts it with a radiant, triumphant smile. A strange resonance flows through Su Qingying's fingertips as she holds the ancient lute, a feeling that the instrument itself recognizes her. Her brother appears, offering her the lute with a gentle smile, explaining it's useless to him without internal force. He saw her interest in it, and since they are family, it makes no difference whose hands it's in. Touched by his sincerity, she recalls her past life as a soldier, surrounded by the worst of humanity, making this moment of genuine care feel overwhelmingly precious. Later that night, her sentiment turns to pure frustration as she discovers the so-called treasure is completely useless, unable to even snap a single strand of hair. In a fit of annoyance, she tosses the lute aside, only for Jun Liai to materialize out of thin air, startling her. He mockingly asks if she was scared, then reveals the instrument is the coveted ancient moon lute, a treasure he can't have her dying over before she cures him. He's baffled, questioning how she managed to activate it when no one else ever could. Su Qingying scoffs that it's just a waste of space and offers to sell it to him at a discount, but he flatly refuses. His refusal confuses her until he reveals everyone is after the lute, and he's not foolish enough to invite that kind of trouble. The weight of his words hits her as she realizes possessing it could cost her her life. Just then, a sharp pain pierces her chest and she dismisses him, needing to rest. But the pain intensifies and she suddenly coughs up a mouthful of blood. Jun Liai rushes to her side, his expression hardening as he checks her pulse. He snarls in fury, realizing she's been poisoned and will die tonight if he doesn't act. He knows using his own internal force to suppress her poison will trigger his own, a potentially fatal risk. Yet, remembering his promise to protect her, he makes his choice. He scoops her into his arms, pouring his energy into her, but a strange power repels his efforts, launching her into a void as he screams for her to come back. She collapses back into his arms just as suddenly, waking to see him weakened, blood trickling from his lips. Overwhelmed by past trauma of her parents dying because of her, she screams that she won't let another person die for her sake. Clutching his unconscious body, a fierce resolve hardens her eyes. She declares that if she wants to save someone, not even Satan can take them from her. Knowing his own poison is now ravaging his body, she carries him to a bath to begin treatment. As she tends to him, she's struck by the network of scars covering his powerful physique, wondering what kind of life he's led. A tear escapes her eye as she recognizes a kindred spirit, two lonely wolves bleeding where no one can see. With renewed determination, she grabs a scroll of acupuncture needles, vowing he will not die. Channeling all her focus, she unleashes the needles in a swift, precise motion, the effort leaving her gasping for breath. Gazing down at Jun Liai, the fifth princess announces a change of heart. She no longer hates him and has decided to cure him if he manages to survive. As she begins the treatment, placing needles all over his body, she can't help but think he looks like a hedgehog. She nervously touches his chest, channeling her energy into him, and a moment later his eyes flutter open in confusion. Jun Liai notices her pained expression as she concentrates on the healing. Coming to his senses, he clutches his head, groaning in pain. Seeing he's awake, she smiles, relieved that her risky method actually worked. His first question is a sharp one: why did she risk her own life to save his? He reminds her of her own words, that his life belonged to her and no one else could touch him. She smirks, turning his possessive claim back on him by declaring that while his life is hers, her life is also her own. With newfound arrogance, she warns him not to die without her permission, or she'll make him regret it. And when he calls her an arrogant woman, she proudly agrees. A small smile plays on his lips as he promises to obey. She sternly reminds him not to use his internal force again, as his body is too weak to handle it. But Jun Liai has a more pressing concern: his clothes, arguing that his body isn't meant for just anyone's eyes. He dramatically steps out of the tub, claiming she has sullied his purity by looking at him and must now take responsibility. The princess is struck dumb with disbelief, furiously retorting that she did nothing but save him and isn't remotely interested in his body, especially since she's already seen everything. He slyly notes the regret in her tone, teasing that she seems annoyed she didn't get a full view while he was wearing underwear. When he offers to show her more, she erupts, threatening to kill him on the spot if he doesn't stop his nonsense. He simply laughs, unfazed by her threat, and flips the entire situation on its head by offering to take responsibility for her asterisk instead. He steps closer, lifting her chin and coolly asking what she'd do if he really did like her. Stunned into a blushing silence, she eventually dismisses it as a pathetic joke, claiming he's more likely to kill her than love her. She rejects him outright, stating he isn't her type and could never give her the life she truly desires. Intrigued, he challenges her to explain what kind of life that is. She wants a simple life, just the two of them, but he questions why his ambition to conquer the world would prevent that. He scoffs at the notion, clenching his fist as he asks whoever said a conqueror couldn't be devoted to a single woman. His true desire is revealed. He wants the world and he wants her with it, already picturing a future where he holds her in his arms as his queen. A few days later, the princess is languishing in the palace, utterly bored with her life. She complains to her maid Zir that she'll lose all hope if this continues, rejecting all suggestions for games as dull. Finally, she announces her true wish to leave the palace. Ignoring Zir's reminder that she needs permission, the princess hatches a plan to sneak out, arguing that what the prince doesn't know won't hurt him. With her loyal maid in tow, she sets off immediately. The bustling capital is a revelation to her, a vibrant world far from the gilded cage of the palace. Zir remarks that she's never seen her miss so genuinely happy. The princess's eyes land on a familiar sign, the Fingliu tea house. She leads Zer inside, promising to show her something interesting. There, she spots the beautiful proprietor, Sister Feng, who immediately recognizes the princess as the woman from that fateful night. The princess greets her warmly, but notices the tea house is strangely quiet for its prime location. Sister Feng explains her plight. She had angered the powerful right minister by refusing to sell her land for his new casino. And ever since, he's been secretly suppressing her business and stealing her clientele. Zir gasps, declaring the minister's actions are no different from a common thief's. Su Qingying calmly decides that since Lanbo wants the tea house, she will snatch it right from under him. It would be an injustice to herself not to. This place is the perfect opportunity to expand her power in Ziming, a base to earn money and gather intelligence all at once. She approaches the owner, Sister Feng, with an offer to acquire her store. But Feng is hesitant, warning that the powerful right minister is involved and she should stay away. Unfazed, Su Qingying dismisses Lanbo as a nobody in her eyes and makes a bold promise. She will transform the Fingliu tea house into one of the best establishments in the city within a mere half-month. Having reached a dead end, Sister Feng decides to trust this impossibly confident young woman and agrees to the sale, hoping Su Qingying will make good on her word. The moment the deal is struck, Su Qingying gets to work, pointing out the tea house's shabby state, the plain decorations, the old stairs, and the simple entrance. She declares her intention to give the entire place a facelift, leaving Sister Feng to hesitantly agree. Then comes her most shocking idea. They will hire a stable of handsome men to attract customers, and she will pay any price to get them. Sister Feng is utterly stunned by this audacious business model, but Su Qingying is already lost in thought, planning to draft new designs immediately. As Su Qingying's plans take shape, two rivals learn that she didn't die as they'd hoped. One seethes, calling her a persistent fool, but her companion urges caution. The first woman scoffs, feeling secure in her own territory, but the other grows suspicious, noting how much Su Qingying has changed and questioning if she's even the same person, insisting they must investigate her. Their thoughts also turn to an ancient moon lute they are determined to possess, acknowledging that their target will be on high alert after the recent poisoning attempt. 2 months later, the streets are packed with people. The old tea house is gone, reborn as heaven on earth, a grand establishment filled with beautiful women and handsome men. The patrons are in awe, calling it paradise on earth, and Sister Feng can hardly believe how successful Su Qingying's wild idea has become. The massive crowd outside draws the attention of two noblemen, one in red and one in blue, who decide to see what the fuss is about. They spot a bizarre recruitment notice promising a harem and a path to becoming a millionaire, causing the man in red to muse that the boss of this place feels strangely familiar. Inside, Sister Feng announces the grand opening celebration, half-price drinks and a raffle for 3 days of free food, whipping the crowd into a frenzy. The main show begins as women appear in stunningly modern outfits with high-heeled shoes, all designed by Su Qingying. The sight is unlike anything the audience has ever seen, and they are completely captivated. Sister Feng is amazed, but Su Qingying calmly states that this is only the beginning of their rise to become the #1 brothel in the capital. Just as the crowd wonders what's next, a mysterious woman descends from the ceiling on a ring, a veil covering her face. She begins playing an ethereal melody on a flute, a sound even more beautiful than the previous performance. In a private room, a man in royal garb is shocked, recognizing the performer instantly. He identifies her as Yunling from the Lunar Palace, who has been missing for months. Despite his companion's disbelief, he is certain it's her, recognizing her gaze and temperament. He vows that after hunting her for so long, he won't let her escape this time. On another balcony, the two noblemen also watch intently. The man in red, Heartless Yi, tells his friend that he thinks the performer is the missing Yunling. His companion simply smiles, suggesting they sit back and enjoy the show to see if he's right. On a brightly lit stage, a veiled woman known as Miss Su finishes a heart-wrenching song about love and reincarnation, captivating the entire audience. As she turns to leave, the announcer declares that her extraordinary talent will grace them only once every 15th of the month, sending the crowd into a frenzy of excitement. The men are ecstatic, vowing to return to see the beautiful and talented Miss Su again. A roguish blonde man, Heartless Yi, immediately tries to find her, cornering another courtesan and demanding to know Miss Su's whereabouts. The woman claims ignorance, but he grabs her chin, not believing a word. Before he can press further, Jun Liu appears, and Heartless Yi is shocked to see him. Seeing the beautiful women around, Heartless Yi decides the night is still young and quickly wraps his arms around two courtesans, eager for some fun. Meanwhile, Su Qingying walks with her maid, who praises the song she just sang. Su Qingying coyly deflects, claiming she was just practicing. Her maid gushes about how much she likes this side of her, causing Su Qingying to blush with mock embarrassment. Their light-hearted moment is shattered by the sudden appearance of Jun Liu, who stands before them like an apparition. Su Qingying's playful demeanor vanishes, replaced by pure shock and indignation as she accuses the Prince Regent of frequenting such a place. Flustered, Jun Liu demands to know what she's talking about, but she just smirks, slyly suggesting he might be incapable of certain activities, which is why he's there. Her taunt hits its mark, and a fire ignites in his eyes as he warns her not to test him. Realizing she's gone too far, Su Qingying quickly changes her tune, grabbing his arm and hugging it tightly to diffuse the tension. She points out a crowd releasing lanterns and suggests they go have a look together. They watch the river fill with glowing lotus lanterns, a beautiful sight that mesmerizes her. Her maid explains the legend that writing a blessing on a lantern will ensure the recipient receives it, no matter where they are. Inspired, Su Qingying decides to write one herself. She clarifies it's not for her brother but for someone far away who holds a special place in her heart, wishing them a happy life. Jun Liu listens, his expression unreadable as he watches her. He then spots the name she's written on the lantern, Zhao Tianyu. His voice drops as he demands to know who it is, and his eyes darken when he asks if it's a man. He forbids her from releasing it, his hand shooting out to grab hers, a raw jealousy evident on his face. Su Qingying is taken aback, wondering if she's imagining his possessiveness. She explains that the man is her savior and partner, but someone she can never see again. With a heavy heart, she releases the lantern, whispering a wish for Tianyu to live happily in the 21st century. Spotting another crowd, they learn of a challenge. Answer 3 questions from an old woman to win a coral pearl that can double one's internal force. Jun Liu immediately tells Su Qingying to forget it, warning her that the pearl has dangerous side effects. He reveals that only the purple jade pearl can negate the negative effects, and to her surprise, he has it. She instantly asks him to give it to her, an eager smile on her face. Jun Liu raises an eyebrow, asking why he should. She playfully argues that they are cooperating friends and that the pearl is useless to him anyway given his immense power. But he refuses flatly. Annoyed, Su Qingying crosses her arms and mutters about him holding onto something he won't use, leaving Jun Liu and her maid bewildered by her strange words as they are led into a nearby restaurant. Su Qingying's eyes narrow as she spots her ex-fiancé, Prince Rui, cozying up to Miss Lan. Her maid states the obvious, and Su Qingying coldly retorts that she isn't blind. In a twist of fate, they immediately run into each other. Prince Rui demands to know why Su Qingying is there, his voice dripping with disdain, as the surrounding crowd begins to whisper, calling her the shameless, foolish princess from Dongyue Kingdom who must be there to bother him. Their mockery dies in their throats when the imposing figure of the Prince Regent, Jun Liai, steps forward, his glare alone enough to silence them. With her powerful ally at her side, Su Qingying smirks, dismissing the so-called talents of Ziming as a bunch of complete nobodies. Jun Liai wraps an arm around her, his voice a low threat as he asks if any of them think they're better than the Prince Regent himself. Leaning into his embrace, Su Qingying declares she'd rather gaze at Jun Liai than waste a single glance on them, a barb that makes Miss Lan's face twist in fury. Enraged, Prince Rui reminds Su Qingying that he was the one who canceled their engagement, but she simply shrugs, claiming she was only here to win the coral pearl anyway. Then a dangerous glint enters her eyes as she adds that seeing them has changed her mind. Now she's determined to take it. The onlookers erupt in laughter, convinced she's about to make a fool of herself. Su Qingying merely scoffs, calling them ignoramuses and promising to show them what true humiliation feels like. She approaches the elderly host, who had dozed off waiting for a worthy competitor, and learns the rules. Simply answer the last 2 questions correctly, since Miss Lan had only managed to solve one of 3. With a confident nod, Su Qingying agrees, and steps up to inspect the riddles on the banners. The crowd murmurs that these questions are far more difficult, but a knowing smile spreads across Su Qingying's face. She recognizes these riddles from her modern world, a sheer stroke of luck. Jun Liai leans in, quietly warning her not to embarrass him, and she coolly assures him she won't disappoint. Miss Lan taunts her, asking if she's already stumped, but Su Qingying's eyes turn to ice. She fires back a savage retort, asking if they are so impatient because they're in a rush to eat filth while it's still warm. Her vulgar words shock the entire room into silence. She then declares she was just disappointed they took so long on such a simple question, and promises to show them why she called them ignoramuses, giving them a dismissive thumbs down. With all eyes on her, Su Qingying elegantly reveals the answers. The second riddle's answer is the reflection of the moon in a well, and the third is a complex word puzzle that resolves to bold donkey. The host's stunned expression confirms she is right. The crowd is speechless, and Miss Lan is consumed by disbelief, wondering how she could possibly be so inferior to Su Qingying. Jun Liai whispers that he finds her even more attractive now, but she playfully waves him off, saying she wants to live a few more years. While they flirt, Prince Rui clenches his fist, vowing he won't give up on Su Qingying. The impressed host presents her with the prize, a small box containing the legendary coral pearl. Su Qingying accepts it, her mind already hatching a new plan. Instead of using it for herself, she can sell it for a massive profit. Without hesitation, she announces the pearl is now up for auction to the highest bidder. An act so audacious it causes the old man to faint from shock. Just as a bystander begins to shout at her for selling such a treasure, Jun Liai's urgent warning cuts through the chaos. Suddenly, a volley of arrows whistles through the air, aimed directly at her. Jun Liai acts in a flash, pulling her into a protective embrace as the deadly projectiles rain down around them. As Su Qingying wonders who hates her enough to want her dead, black-clad assassins descend from the rafters surrounding them. Jun Liai sneers that they have a death wish. Su Qingying reminds him his internal force is sealed, but he dismisses her concern, saying a few assassins are nothing. The assassins charge, shouting orders to kill her. But before Jun Liai can move, Su Qingying becomes a blur of motion, effortlessly neutralizing every attacker with a series of swift, disabling strikes, leaving them all collapsed on the floor in an instant. The ambush is swift and brutal, but as the assassins curse their luck, a golden light explodes, sending them reeling back. In the chaos, a masked swordsman descends from above, his movements a blur of deadly grace as he lands between them. Before the assassins can even register the threat, his blade flashes out, and a spray of blood marks their defeat as they fall lifelessly to the ground. From a safe distance, Su Qingying's companion asks if the mysterious savior is one of her people, but she confirms he is a stranger, urging her friend to escape while their enemies are distracted. The next morning finds Su Qingying on a solitary jog, her mind buzzing with determination to grow stronger, pondering the identity of the man who saved her. Her training is abruptly interrupted by concubine Shu, who sneers at her simple workout clothes, calling them an embarrassment. Su Qingying merely asks who she is, prompting the concubine's attendant to screech about her ignorance. Unfazed, Su Qingying calmly replies that a good dog shouldn't block her path to exercise. When the enraged concubine accuses her of calling her a dog, Su Qingying feigns innocence, mocking her for jumping to such a brainless conclusion. Furious, concubine Shu orders her men to arrest this lowly servant. But Su Qingying's entire demeanor shifts as she dares them to touch a princess. She then proudly announces her identity as Su Qingying, the 5th princess of Dongyue. Concubine Shu scoffs, calling her the fool who tried to seduce the emperor Xuanyuan Liuchen. The accusation hits Su Qingying like a physical blow, her mind reeling in utter disbelief as she silently screams that it's a lie. Recovering her composure, she demands to know when this supposed seduction took place, sarcastically adding that with 3,000 women in his harem, the emperor must be completely exhausted. Changing her strategy in a heartbeat, she leans in and offers concubine Shu a deal. She will help make the emperor sleep with her. To demonstrate her point, she cheekily compliments the concubine's body, even giving it a pinch. Concubine Shu remains skeptical, stating the emperor is dedicated to his citizens and immune to seduction. In response, Su Qingying reveals a small pouch, explaining it's a special aphrodisiac she created that is completely undetectable. Seeing the concubine's interest, she promises to help her rise to the top, sealing their new, fragile alliance. As the concubine leaves, Su Qingying smirks with devious delight, wondering how the emperor will handle what she has in store for him. As she gets lost in a giddy fantasy of her plan succeeding, only to be snapped back to reality by a young man she recognizes as Xuanyuan Mo, who calls her a brat. She immediately turns to Lives, ignoring him completely. But he blocks her path, demanding to know why she's leaving so soon. She coldly states that she can't stand the sight of any Xuanyuans. He tries to charm her, claiming he's different from the rest, but she retorts that she can't see it. He then correctly guesses she was smiling because she was scheming something wicked. Deciding to probe for information, she asks him a startlingly blunt question. With so many concubines, she wonders if the emperor's little member can handle the workload. Xuanyuan Mo nearly chokes, utterly scandalized by her words. And to prove she's a real woman, she puffs out her chest and asks if he wants to touch it, leaving him speechless. He nervously declines and, in his flustered state, lets slip a monumental secret. His brother isn't interested in women, and the harem is just for decoration. The implication dawns on Su Qingying in a brilliant flash of insight. The emperor is a virgin. A slow, triumphant smile spreads across her face as she realizes she's just stumbled upon a huge royal secret. Xuanyuan Mo flinches, realizing he's unintentionally ruined his brother's image with his clumsy words. But the princess isn't letting him off the hook, calling him by his full name before bluntly asking if he's also an old virgin. The question hangs in the air, leaving him utterly mortified. He weakly asks if he looks like one, but she mercilessly agrees, judging from his exhausted appearance. He must frequent brothels, which only makes him feel like he said the wrong thing yet again. Just then, a flamboyant new arrival makes his presence known. The Princess Yinger sarcastically notes what a coincidence it is to see Shangyu and Jinghong, since he's supposed to be in the south while she's in the north. He smoothly replies that she's not leaving him with any pride, a sentiment Xuan Yuanmo quickly agrees with. Shangyuan Jinghong promptly tells Xuan Yuanmo to get lost and stop disturbing his precious time with the princess. Xuan Yuanmo gracefully departs, promising to play with Suzu next time. With him gone, Yinger turns her attention to Shangyuan Jinghong, telling him to get lost as well. Undeterred, he propositions her, suggesting they are a match made in heaven and she should become his concubine. She shuts him down with a flat "not interested." He tries to tempt her with his immense wealth, knowing her greed, which gives her a wicked idea. A sly grin spreads across her face as she asks if he'd like to play a game. Her unsettling smile makes his heart uneasy, but his curiosity about her plan wins out and he agrees. Elsewhere in a quiet study, a minister is jolted by a guard bursting in with urgent news. The guard reports an assassination attempt on the fifth princess of Dongyue, claiming assassins from the lunar palace were involved. Though their faces were covered, he is certain of their identity by their movements. The minister's expression darkens as he orders an investigation into the fifth prince's reasons for visiting Ximing, all while staring at a portrait of a mysterious veiled woman, wondering if she was the one behind it all. A woman named Sidu enters, bringing him food and urging the senior to eat after a long day. But he waves her off, his mind clearly preoccupied with the beautiful woman from the scroll. Back at the Cloud Palace, Yinger is dominating a game of cards. Shangyuan Jinghong lays down what he thinks is a winning hand, only for Yinger to reveal a bomb of 4 twos and win the round yet again. She cackles, demanding her money. Shangyuan Jinghong is aghast, complaining he's already lost 5,000 taels without a single victory, but she coldly tells him not to be a sore loser and to hand over the cash. When he checks his coin purse, he finds it completely empty. He awkwardly tries to back out, but Yinger's gaze turns sharp and menacing. Her fury explodes as she refuses to let him off. His attendant confirms he has nothing left, so Yinger makes an outrageous demand. If he can't pay, he can leave his pants, confident someone would buy them. The outrageous suggestion leaves everyone utterly petrified. His attendant begs her to reconsider, while Shangyuan Jinghong mutters that she would do anything for money. Yinger just smirks, retorting that it's better than doing anything for other things. She coolly writes out a debt slip and asks if he wants another round. Utterly defeated, he declares he'll become the poorest crown prince in history if he continues, vowing to go home and study this game called Du Diju. A flashback reveals that in her previous life, she was a gambling prodigy for whom this game was child's play. She scoffs, telling him he could study for years and still not be a match for her. He surrenders completely, admitting she wins. Later, after a relaxing bath, Yinger celebrates by diving onto her bed covered in her winnings, ready to sleep buried in the glorious smell of money. But her joy is cut short as the door is kicked in, and an unseen intruder grabs her by the throat, plunging her into darkness. Su Qingying awakens with a curse on her lips, fury boiling in her veins as she finds Xuanyuan Luochen looming over her. Her eyes flash with anger as she demands to know what he thinks he's doing. In response, his hand clamps around her throat, his voice a low growl as he accuses her of being audacious and masterminding concubine Shu's schemes. Su Qingying chokes out a denial, refusing his slander and reminding him of her status as the fifth princess, warning that Dongyue would not spare him for this transgression. But Xuanyuan Luochen merely sneers, telling her she should have expected this consequence when she decided to interfere, before pouncing on her with a predatory glint in his eyes. Pinned beneath him, she struggles fiercely, roaring that she will castrate him if he dares to lay a hand on her. He mocks her fear, whispering that it's far too late for regrets, reminding her this is the price for scheming against him as he brandishes a familiar small bottle. Her blood runs cold as he reveals it's the very potion she gave to Hellion Kinger, gloating that the woman was foolish enough to save some, and now he plans to use it on its creator. With a sinister smile, he declares he can't be the only one to enjoy this, pulling the stopper out with his teeth while she fights desperately beneath him. As he tries to force the liquid into her mouth, she twists her head away and delivers a sharp slap across his face. She makes a break for it, scrambling off the bed, but he's too fast, grabbing the vial from her hand and pulling her back down with a brutal tug. With no escape, he forces the vile potion down her throat. The drug burns through her system as she pants, calling him a monster and pleading for him to let her go. She warns him that if he crosses this line, her ghost will hunt him for eternity. And with a final surge of adrenaline-fueled rage, she screams for him to die. Her leg shoots up, connecting with a sickening impact right between his legs. Xuanyuan Luochen's face turns white with agony as a cold sweat breaks out, his body seizing before he collapses unconscious beside her. Su Qingying gasps for air, realizing she put every last ounce of her strength into that kick, knowing he might not die, but he'll certainly be paralyzed. But a new terror grips her as the potion takes hold, her body burning with an unnatural heat. With her mind clouding over, she knows there's only one place she can go for help. stumbling out into the night toward the Golden Sun Palace. Inside, Zhang Liai is startled from his rest, sensing an intruder. He appears in the courtyard in an instant, stopping the disheveled Su Qingying in her tracks. He demands to know why she is there, but seeing her dazed expression, he falls silent. Overcome by the potion's effects, she throws her arms around him and kisses him deeply, leaving him stunned. He calls her a crazy woman, warning her she's playing with fire, but she only clings to him, murmuring about how hot and uncomfortable she feels. Realization dawns on Zhang Liai's face, his eyes hardening with rage as he understands someone dared to drug his woman. As she begs him for help, he pushes her back slightly, asking if she even knows who he is. Her hazy eyes focus on him, and she whispers his name, Zhang Liai, telling him she came specifically for him. Hearing this, he warns her that she better not regret this decision, before leaning in to capture her lips in a passionate kiss. But he pulls back, struggling for control and trying to fight the temptation she presents. He slaps her cheek gently to get her attention and barks an order for his servants to prepare a tub of cold water. Later, Su Qingying awakens with a confused mind and a violent sneeze, shivering uncontrollably from the freezing temperature. She finds herself submerged in a wooden tub, with Zhang Liai telling her that clean clothes are on the table. Disoriented, she asks him why she's in cold water. A brief memory of him lowering her into the bath flashes in her mind, and with dawning relief, she checks herself, realizing her purity is still intact. Looking at the man who saved her, she can't help but ask why he didn't take advantage of her the previous night. Zhang Lui smirks, asking if Su Qingying was looking forward to their night together, but she scoffs, denying it immediately. Instead, she fires back a challenge, feigning curiosity about how he could let someone so beautiful go, subtly questioning if he's even capable. His face darkens instantly at the jab, and he asks menacingly if she wants him to prove it to her right now. Qingying quickly backpedals, saying there's no need as she realizes her clothes are still soaking wet. He explains that since she wasn't willing, he had no intention of taking advantage of her, a statement that surprises her. She feels a flicker of genuine gratitude and softly thanks Zhang Lui for his consideration. He seems taken aback by her thanks for a moment before presenting her with a stunning new set of clothes. He remarks that they suit her well and invites her to eat after her ordeal in the cold water. At the table, he offers her a warm bowl, telling her to drink it. She eyes it suspiciously, but he clarifies it's just ginger soup. The simple gesture touches her. He was worried she'd get sick and prepared it for her. After drinking, she gets down to business, asking him to give her the purple jade pearl. She explains her recent ordeal made her realize that her speed alone isn't enough for self-protection. Without internal force, she's still too naive and vulnerable. To her complete surprise, he simply agrees. Qingying is stunned by his easy compliance, questioning if he has any requests and reminding him how against it he was before. He calmly states he simply changed his mind, prompting her to laugh and tell him she suddenly finds him quite lovable. But her cheerful mood is shattered by a sudden sharp pain in her abdomen. Zhang Lui's expression shifts to pure anxiety as he asks what's wrong. She tries to play it off as a minor stomach ache, but he points out how pale she's become. Without another word, he sweeps her into his arms and roars for a doctor to be brought immediately. She insists it's not necessary, but he ignores her pleas. The doctor arrives, stammering under Zhang Lui's intense glare as he demands to know her condition. The old man nervously explains the princess is fine, she was just too cold. Unsatisfied, Zhang Lui presses him about the pain, forcing the doctor to embarrassingly clarify that the princess is simply menstruating. A mortified Qingying insists she told him she was fine, while a flustered Zhang Lui says he'll get her fresh clothes. Needing to leave, she explains that their special identities make it dangerous to be seen together. As she walks through the gardens, she stumbles upon a scene. Concubine Shu is being dragged away by guards, screaming that she wants to see the emperor. The moment the concubine spots Qingying, her face twists into a mask of pure hatred. She shrieks that Qingying is a bitch who orchestrated this and vows to kill her. Breaking free, she lunges forward, but Qingying calmly sidesteps and delivers a brutal punch, sending the concubine splashing into the pond. The woman thrashes, screaming that she can't swim. Qingying stares down at her with icy contempt, asking if she understands her mistake now. She coldly tells the woman not to blame others for her own failures, stating that her disrespect for the Dongyue Kingdom was an offense she answered for lightly. With that, she turns to leave, hoping the woman learns her lesson. But as she departs, her eyes lock onto a furious figure in the distance, Xuanyuan Liuchen. Her own rage ignites as she pulls a hidden needle from her sleeve. In a flash, she flicks it through the air, slicing a thin line of blood across his cheek. She tells him with chilling calm that if not for the fragile peace between their kingdoms, she'd have killed him 100 times for what he did last night. and threatens to end his bloodline if he ever tries it again. He calls her brazen and she dares him to test her. After a tense standoff, she turns and walks away, only to run straight into her brother. He looks frantic with worry, asking where she's been. She forces a bright smile, assuring him she was just out for a walk and is perfectly fine. But the facade crumbles as a wave of dizziness hits her, and she collapses toward him, the world fading to black. Panic seizes Yinger's brother as he finds her weak and feverish, immediately shouting for the royal doctor. He carries her limp body through the moonlit courtyard, his face a mask of worry. Later by her bedside, he watches her with immense relief as her eyes flutter open. He gently asks how she is, explaining she simply caught a cold, though he can't hide the frustration in his voice. He scolds her for being so careless, walking around with a cold as if it were nothing, and frets over how he would have explained it to their father if something had happened to her. Looking guilty, Yinger apologizes, admitting she was wrong and begging him not to be mad. He softens instantly, reassuring her that he was just worried, and asks how she's feeling now. After telling him she's just a little dizzy, he instructs her to rest well and not run off again before taking his leave. As she settles into her bed, her senses suddenly flicker. A sharp clang echoes as a dart strikes the floor, and she looks up to see a cloaked figure has silently entered her room. It's Jun Liai, and she demands to know why he is there. He offers her a bowl of brown sugar water, explaining that Dr. Gui said it could relieve her pain. She's stunned that he came all this way just for that, and he bashfully admits he was worried after seeing how pale she looked. A warmth fills Yinger's heart as she thanks him and drinks the remedy. The next morning, her maid wakes her, and a sleepy Yinger complains about being tired. Her maid informs her that the crown prince ordered a special ginseng soup and an entire feast for her, teasingly calling her a lucky pig. At that moment, her brother appears. He greets her, and upon noticing the untouched food, she invites him to eat with her. He declines, his expression serious, stating he needs to ask her something. He gets straight to the point, questioning her relationship with Jun Liai, the prince regent of Bailing. She insists she barely knows him, which seems to satisfy her brother, who then warns her to keep her distance. He tells her that Jun Liai is deeper and more dangerous than he appears, and he doesn't want to see her hurt. Yinger reassures him that she would have kept away from the Ziming royal family regardless of his warning. Pondering his words, she sighs, confused by his intense caution, only to be startled by Shangyu and Jinghong dropping into the pavilion and chiding her for being so heartless. He brandishes a ginseng root he brought for her, but she dismisses him. Unfazed, he slaps down some papers, cheekily suggesting she pay him or he'll leave his pants behind. He boasts that as a crown prince, he wouldn't owe her anything and challenges her to a training match. When she flatly refuses, he's shocked she's not interested in money for once. She retorts that women just have their moody days, prompting him to invite her out for drinks on his tab. At a tea house, she sips her drink and teases him for being a show-off in his red clothes. Their conversation is cut short by hushed gossip from a nearby table. The patrons are discussing the arrival of the legendary Lunar Palace assassins, who are searching the city for their missing leader. As she listens intently, Yinger spots Lan Xiniao slipping away from the crowd. Suspicious, she follows her to a secluded corner and confronts her, stating calmly that Lan Xiniao has been following her for a while and it's time to reveal herself. A man appears behind Su Qingying, smugly complimenting her for noticing him and admitting he followed her because what man doesn't like a beautiful woman? His compliments quickly turn lewd as he comments on her alluring body and wonders aloud about her skills in bed. But his words are met with a gaze of pure ice as she asks him if he wants to die. Without waiting for a reply, she lunges forward in a flash, but her attacker easily dodges the strike. He chuckles, finding it interesting that she's trained in martial arts, and remarking that he loves taming wild flowers like her. This is the final straw for Su Qingying. Realizing her secret is out, she decides he can't be allowed to live. Believing that only a dead person can keep a secret, she prepares a lethal volley of needles and unleashes them toward him. Just as the attack is about to connect, a sharp warning rings out, and a new figure gracefully intervenes, deflecting the deadly projectiles with a flick of her sleeve. The mysterious woman Lan Xiniao lands calmly, dismissing the fleeing man as another fool with a death wish before telling her companion to leave. Suddenly, she releases a cloud of powder, catching Su Qingying completely off guard and sending her into a coughing fit. Stunned and enraged by the sneak attack, Su Qingying glares as Lan Xiniao apologizes for the offense, calmly addressing her as the fifth princess of Dongyue. The princess is shocked to be recognized, but Lan Xiniao simply explains she saw her at the flower banquet. As her maid rushes over in relief, Lan Xiniao bids the princess farewell. Su Qingying tries to stop her to offer thanks, but the woman just walks away, offering a cryptic warning to be careful around Lan Xiniao, who she says isn't as simple as she appears. Su Qingying silently agrees, knowing that Lan Xiniao is a calculating master of martial arts who has hidden her skills for years, making her truly frightening. She wonders if they'll ever meet again. And Lan Ziniao replies that if they are fated to, they will. The scene shifts to Xuanyuan Liuaqin, who is receiving a report from his subordinate Mo Haiyan. Mo Haiyan explains that a minister has been secretly colluding with others behind the scenes. Xuanyuan Liuaqin is unsurprised, smirking as he explains he's letting it happen to catch a bigger fish, amused that the fool Lanbo is too blinded by power to see the trap. He advises his man to simply watch and wait for the show to begin. As Mo Haiyan turns to leave, Xuanyuan Liuaqin stops him. A faint blush on his cheeks as he awkwardly orders him to take a bowl of brown sugar water to the fifth princess. Elsewhere, the princess is being warned by an associate that someone has been asking about her lately. Her conversation is interrupted by a man who confronts her with annoyance, demanding to know why she avoids him. He warns her to stay away from Jun Liai, reminding her that Su Zi already told her to. Su Qingying scoffs, firing back that she doesn't need his permission to make friends just because he has a crush on Jun Liai. Flustered, the man denies it, but she coolly states that in that case, he has no right to dictate her friendships. In another part of the palace, a ruler discusses a plot with his brother. The brother confirms their suspicions. Lanbo has been colluding with rebels and sneaking his own people into the palace. The ruler smiles with cold satisfaction, having waited for this opportunity to eliminate the ambitious old fool. He orders his brother to keep a close watch, wanting no more problems in the coming days. The focus shifts to the right minister's residence, where he has summoned his daughter Year. He asks about her engagement with Prince Rui now that Su Qingying is out of the picture. Year complains that ever since Su Qingying broke the engagement, her personality has completely changed. She claims the fool is now sharp-tongued and has even demonstrated knowledge of martial arts, using strange, simple, yet lethal moves. Her father grows suspicious, suggesting that she might be an imposter, a theory Year finds plausible given the drastic change. The minister tasks her with investigating. He then asks if Prince Rui has mentioned marriage, and Year admits with frustration that he now avoids the topic, suspecting Su Qingying has done something to capture his interest. The minister's face darkens as he delivers an ultimatum. Year will invite Prince Rui in 3 days, and if he refuses the marriage, he will finish things off. Horrified, Year begs him not to harm the prince, but her father coldly tells her not to let her feelings get involved. Defeated, she lowers her head and agrees to the plan. Under the quiet moon, Zir finds Su Qingying and gently chides her for sneaking out again, massaging her legs and promising to be better next time. Her tone shifts as she reports that a strange, cold man visited the Cloud Palace earlier, claiming to deliver brown sugar water for her highness. Qingying's interest is piqued. She immediately suspects it might be Jun Li. Zir continues, explaining the man was so stiff and expressionless that she sensed he was a bad person and sent him away, accidentally spilling the water on him in her haste. Changing the subject, Zir asks Qingying if she knows about the Lunar Palace, pausing when she realizes her milady has forgotten. She explains that the Lunar Palace is a terrifyingly powerful organization that has infiltrated entire kingdoms, led by the formidable martial artist Yun Ling. She adds with a flourish that Yun Ling is the owner of the ancient moon lute and is widely admired, especially after she once saved the prince regent of Bailing, Jun Liai, who has adored her ever since. The name Jun Liai, linked with another woman, strikes Qingying like a physical blow, and she angrily snaps for Zir to stop talking, declaring she's tired and going to sleep. The maid watches, concerned as Qingying feigns sleep, noting her princess is having convulsions again. But in the darkness, Qingying's mind is a storm, the words Jun Liai like Yun Ling echoing endlessly. She sits bolt upright, her heart aching with a feeling of abandonment she can't comprehend. She clutches the ancient moon lute, wondering how it ended up with Xuanyuan Liuaqin if it belonged to Yun Ling. Realizing she now possesses the inner force of the purple jade pearl, she decides to test the instrument's power. With a surge of energy, she gently strums the strings, and a blast of power erupts, completely obliterating a nearby tree stump. Qingying is utterly stunned by its force, marveling that the lute is more powerful than a cannon. She questions Xuanyuan Liuaqin's motives for giving her such a weapon, but is distracted by a bizarre feeling of familiarity, as if the lute was once hers. She dismisses it as fantasy, reminding herself it belonged to Yun Ling. The next day, she's utterly bored with her meal, complaining she's eaten the same dishes for a month, and wailing dramatically for some grilled fish. A brilliant idea strikes her, the fish in the pond near Lingxiao Hall. Zir is horrified, warning her that the emperor loves those fish, which were kept by his late mother. But Qingying is undeterred, remarking that they must be extra fat and tasty by now. At the pond, she gleefully observes her future meal, brushing off Zir's frantic warnings by joking that by the time the emperor finds out, the fish will be nothing but poop. Just as she's preparing her catch, Prince Rui and Prince Mo appear, shocked to see her. She brazenly tells them to mind their own business and catch their own fish. The princes are captivated by her unique grilling method and the fragrant aroma. When she wishes for condiments, Prince Mo eagerly offers to fetch them. She lists cumin, pepper, green onions, and 5-spice powder, surprising the prince who has never heard of some of them. Zir is sent back to Cloud Palace for the spices, while Prince Mo offers to get the rest from the kitchen, clearly angling for a taste. King Ying isn't fooled and slaps his hand away, telling him she's not stupid enough to share what little she has. Realizing she needs accomplices, she warns the two princes not to steal her food or she'll skin them alive. A now compliant Prince Mo agrees to catch his own fish. Prince Rui questions his brother's recklessness, but Prince Mo tempts him with the irresistible smell. And soon both princes are roped into her plan. As they cook, King Ying recalls the emperor's arrogance and hatches a mischievous plan for a big gift. Later at the emperor's dinner, a servant lifts a lid to reveal a burnt dead bird on his plate. The emperor erupts in pure fury, slamming the table and roaring for the entire royal kitchen staff to be thrown in the dungeon. As the terrified cooks are dragged away begging for mercy, a guard rushes in with an urgent report. With cold fury in his eyes, the emperor commands him to speak. A guard rushes to the emperor with urgent news. A fire has been spotted near Quming Pond with smoke billowing into the sky. The emperor is stunned, but the source of the smoke is far from a disaster. It's Su Qingying and two princes casually enjoying grilled fish. She boasts about her cooking skills, explaining with a wry smile that she was forced to learn after her siblings bullied and starved her, leaving her no choice but to fend for herself. One of the men, Xuan Yuanqi, feels a pang of guilt and apologizes for his past treatment, wondering if things would be different now if he'd cherished her back then. Su Qingying brushes it off, stating that while she doesn't forgive him, she no longer hates him, a small concession that he quietly accepts. Their peaceful moment is shattered when the enraged emperor, Xuan Liuchen, arrives on the scene, demanding to know what they are doing. He snarls at Su Qingying, accusing her of being tired of living. She attempts to play innocent, calling it a misunderstanding, but he cuts her off, ordering his guards to take her away. With breathtaking speed, Su Qingying throws her companions to the wolves, claiming they insisted on eating the fish and promised they wouldn't get caught. The two princes are flabbergasted as she argues that if they hadn't dragged her here, she would never have come. They protest that she was the one grilling the fish, but she expertly counters that they were the ones who caught it, leaving them speechless. Smirking, she turns to the emperor, declaring that he heard their admission and that the matter has nothing to do with her. Chuanyuan Liuchen has had enough of her games, roaring that he saw her eating the fish with his own eyes and she will be arrested regardless. Unfazed, Su Qingying calls him biased, accusing him of trying to protect his brothers by making her, a foreign princess, the scapegoat. Her plan is derailed when her maid arrives with 5-spice powder, handing the emperor all the evidence he needs. With a smug look, he asks if she has anything else to say. Cornered, Su Qingying pivots brilliantly, asking him who owns the fish in the pond. She declares they belong to his mother, and then proceeds to scold him for being an unfilial son, who should be thanking her for checking on his mother's property instead of arresting her. The emperor is speechless with rage, calling her a crazy woman. But she continues her assault, pointing out the stark contrast between his heavily guarded residence and the neglected, empty area where his mother's precious fish are kept. Her companions look on in horror as she insults the emperor, who sees that he has been far too easy on her. Su Qingying mockingly asks if he won the throne in a raffle, arguing that keeping such plump fish in a forbidden area is just tempting people to commit crimes. She then reveals her endgame, suggesting that since she cares so much about his mother's fish, he can thank her with tens of thousands of taels, her eyes gleaming with greed. The emperor looks ready to kill her, but his brothers finally intervene, taking the blame and begging him to let her go. Su Qingying feigns being moved to tears by their loyalty, but the emperor sees through the act and sentences both princes to 100 beatings. He gives Su Qingying a final, chilling warning not to test his patience again before leaving. Back in her room, her maid frets, telling Su Qingying that the emperor looked angry enough to eat her alive. Su Qingying, however, is completely unbothered, blaming the old virgin for the whole mess while munching on an apple. Her mood sours when her maid mentions that the prince regent, Zhen Liu, sent her a drink. Su Qingying erupts, calling him a promiscuous jerk and a cheater for pursuing another woman when he already has a wife. As if summoned, Zhen Liu appears in her room, causing her to drop her apple in shock. She furiously tells him to leave, warning that their agreement doesn't give him the right to enter her chambers and ruin her reputation. Annoyed, Zhen Liu asks who she thinks she is talking to, inwardly fuming at how differently she treats him compared to the others. Realizing she's pushing her luck, Su Qingying remembers just how formidable he can be. But her anger wins out as she calls him a promiscuous jerk to his face and hurls an apple at him, demanding he disappear from her sight. Still reeling from his latest disastrous encounter with the fiery princess, Zhen Liai dodges a peach she hurls at him, icily informing her that her brain needs to be treated. She screams back that he's the one with the problem and threatens to call the guards, labeling him completely unreasonable as he stalks away in defeat. Later in the Golden Sun Palace, his frustration boils over. He slams his hand on the table and summons his guard, Mo Haiyun, demanding to know if he looks like a promiscuous man. The guard is immediately flustered as Jun Liai barrages him with questions about his looks, wealth, and character. Jun Liai can't understand it. If he's so handsome, impressive, and wealthy, why does she hate him so much? Mo Haiyun, who internally panics about why he's being asked such things, suggests he consult Master Shangyuan, an expert on women. The flamboyant master appears, amused that the heartless Jun Liai needs love advice. Jun Liai cuts straight to the chase, demanding to know how to make a woman fall for him. Shangyuan is shocked to hear there's a woman immune to Jun Liai's charms and advises him to target her interests. Jun Liai immediately knows the answer. The only thing Su Qingying is interested in is money. Following this advice, he sends her a lavish gift, a dagger of thousand-year-old iron. Su Qingying is pleased, testing the blade by effortlessly slicing a corner off her table, remarking that she was indeed looking for a good weapon. But when his guard reports back, the news is infuriating. Her only reaction was to ask if Jun Liai had suffered a brain trauma. Shangyuan tells him a single gift is not enough. He must get closer and advises him to invite her out that very night. A wicked smirk crosses Jun Liai's face. The idea is certainly interesting. That night, Su Qingying's eyes snap open to find him standing over her bed. Before she can react, he scoops her into his arms, carrying her out into the night as she furiously demands to know why he's abducting her. He leaps onto a rooftop where she accuses him of being crazy and planning to kill her. He pulls her close, calmly explaining his plan was to invite her, not kidnap her, a distinction she finds ridiculous as she shivers in the cold. Seeing his plan failing, he resorts to his trump card, offering her 100,000 taels. Her disdain for money instantly vanishes when he clarifies it's 100,000 taels of gold. With a beatific smile, she declares that since he's being so sincere, she will agree. He smirks internally, knowing her greed was her greatest weakness. Just then, lewd sounds echo from a nearby building, and Su Qingying is mortified, wondering how he picked such a spot. She decides to have some fun, teasingly asking if the noises make him feel lonely, causing him to blush furiously. She then bellows out, asking who is shamelessly eavesdropping, forcing a mortified Jun Liai to clamp a hand over her mouth. She finds his innocent, flustered state adorable, thinking to herself how cute he is. He calls her a pervert, but she just laughs, saying this is child's play where she's from. He's stunned, wondering just how open-minded her kingdom is. She then offers to enlighten him, boasting she can draw him a book of the 72 hardcore moves of the Spring Palace. Intrigued despite himself, he agrees, saying he looks forward to it. After their rooftop adventure, he leads her to Lin's Pastries, where she happily orders several cakes, as Jun Liai pays, telling the owner to keep the change. The old woman smiles warmly, commenting on what a beautiful wife he has and how much he must love her. Jun Liai is completely thrown, asking her why on earth she would say that. An old woman wisely observes that Xuanyuanqi's gaze has been locked on a certain woman since he arrived, a gentle focus he cannot deny, and he silently admits that he has subconsciously started to care for her. Elsewhere, another couple discusses their own schemes, with the man noting that Lan Bo will likely take action soon. His companion, Wanner, asks if they should be cautious, but he dismisses her fears, confident that Xuanyuan Liuachen has already laid a trap for their enemy. As they walk, they spot the Prince Regent of Bailing with the 5th Princess of Dongyue, a sight which piques their curiosity. Wanner asks her senior if the princess seems familiar, triggering a shocking realization in his mind. A vision of Yun Ling flashes before his eyes, and he understands that the princess isn't just similar. She is practically the same person. Stunned, he abruptly excuses himself from Wanner, claiming he has something urgent to attend to. Wanner watches him go with a sorrowful expression, and her maid Zia King rushes to her side, feeling bad that her mistress was abandoned. But Wanner forces a smile, claiming she is fortunate just to accompany him, and that it doesn't matter if he loves someone else. Meanwhile, Xuanyuanqi carries a dizzy Xiniao, offering to take her to her room. He lays her down, telling her to rest and that he will visit her tomorrow. But as he turns to leave, she stumbles and collapses into his arms. An intoxicating smoke wafts from a nearby incense burner, and under its influence, Xuanyuanqi's eyes glaze over. He pulls her close for a passionate kiss, but his mind is lost in a haze as he whispers another woman's name, Su Qingying. Xiniao is devastated, realizing he's treating her as a mere substitute. In her mind, she sees her rival Su Qingying vowing to have Xuanyuanqi, even if it means resorting to dirty tricks. Still lost in the drugged fantasy, Xuanyuanqi confesses his love and regret for how he treated the woman he believes is Su Qingying. And Xiniao plays along, tearfully professing her love in return as they fall into bed together. The next morning, they awaken in shock, finding themselves undressed and in the same bed. Xuanyuanqi is utterly bewildered, remembering only that he carried her back and nothing more. Xiniao feigns shame and horror, tearfully stating that although she admires him, she is no longer pure, and her only option is to end her life to protect her family's reputation. She grabs a hairpin and aims it at her own throat, but Xuan Yuanqi acts instantly, grabbing her wrist to stop the fatal blow. Overwhelmed with guilt, he tells her that he has wronged her and must take responsibility, solemnly promising to marry her and never let her down. As she accepts, a chilling thought crosses his mind. Marrying Xiniao means it's truly over between him and Su Qingying. In another part of the estate, a maid is startled by Mo Haiyan's sudden appearance. After she scolds him, he explains he has a delivery for the princess. Just as she is about to take it, he stops her, presenting a separate small package of plum blossom pastries just for her. Flustered, she thanks him and carries the tray into the princess's chambers. She finds Princess Zir lounging gracefully, her cheeks flushed a deep red, prompting the maid to ask if her mistress has fallen in love. A servant named Zir playfully teases her mistress, who lounges languidly, inquiring about her progress with Mo Haiyan. The mistress, smiling, notes that her maid is finally all grown up. Elsewhere in the solemn halls of the palace, Prince Rui interrupts the emperor at his desk, stating he has an important matter to report. The emperor is intrigued, remarking that Rui has never shown an interest in court affairs. With unwavering resolve, Prince Rui asks for his brother's approval of his marriage. The emperor's face hardens as he correctly guesses the bride-to-be is Lan Xiniao, the daughter of the right minister. In a fit of rage, he slams his hand on the table, declaring the idea nonsense and forbidding the union entirely. As Rui stands alone, wondering at his brother's intense dislike for the woman he loves, another figure enters the study, revealing that he's too late. Mo Haiyan calmly informs the emperor that Prince Rui and Lan Xiniao have already consummated their relationship. The emperor seethes, calling his brother a fool, while Rui is struck dumb by the revelation, accusing his brother of having him spied on. Rui listens in disbelief as Mo Haiyan explains it was for his own protection, revealing the entire affair was an elaborate scheme. He recounts how the drink felt strange and suspicious items were found in Lan Xiniao's room, but Rui cannot accept that she would betray him. Despite the evidence of manipulation, Rui's heart remains unchanged. He kneels before the throne, once again pleading for the marriage to be approved. The emperor, furious at his brother's stubbornness, banishes him from his sight. Rui declares he will kneel outside the study until his request is granted, a vow the emperor dismisses with contempt, swearing he will never give in. As Prince Rui exits the study, the sky darkens ominously, and a violent storm erupts, drenching him as he keeps his promise and kneels in the torrential rain. Meanwhile, at the left minister's residence, Lan Xiniao inquires about her senior's whereabouts, a subtle, knowing smile on her face as she's told he left in a hurry. Back at the palace, a man named Yunling is stopped in the rain by Mo Haiyan, his path blocked. When his warnings are ignored, Yunling draws his sword and the two men clash violently in the damp. News of the fight reaches the princess, who rushes to see the duel herself, bewildered as to why they would be fighting. The fight ends with Yunling's defeat. He warns Mo Haiyan to remember his place and his duty to the princess his highness cares for. Just as the princess arrives, Yunling decides it's not the right time for a confrontation and abruptly leaves, leaving her confused. In the aftermath, Mo Haiyan's arm is bleeding from a cut, and Zir immediately rushes to his side to treat the wound. The princess is left standing alone in the rain, forgotten, and she fumes silently, calling her maid a disloyal brat for fawning over a man while her mistress gets soaked. Su Qingying walks through the rain with her maid, casually dismissing the girl's apology and musing that she understands the desperation of girls wanting to get married. She then asks why her maid was fighting with the left minister, before smugly answering her own question, assuming he must have been attracted to her unique charms. Lost in her own ego, she laughs aloud about how beautiful and unique she is, to the silent embarrassment of her servants. But her moment of arrogance is cut short by a loud clap of thunder and the snap of breaking branch, which comes crashing down right in front of them, a swift rebuke from the heavens for her vanity. Elsewhere, a worried young woman named Yar asks her father about Xuan Yuanqi's condition. Her father coldly informs her that she is still kneeling outside the royal study, stubbornly trying to force the marriage, a plan he vows will fail. Hearing he's kneeling in the pouring rain, Yar is horrified and immediately turns to go to him. But her father stops her, warning that Xuan Yuanqi is trying to force his brother Xuan Yuan Liuachen's hand, and her interference would ruin everything. Helpless, she asks what she should do, and he tells her all she can do is wait patiently and not act recklessly, explaining this is merely a gambit to make his brother give up. In another room, a blonde man with a fan discusses the situation, wondering why Rongyu was so hasty to see Su Qingying that he even fought with the regent. He dismisses Rongyu as too smart to cause trouble, then laughs at someone else's misfortune. Noting that Xuan Yuanqi is still kneeling outside while his opponent, Xuan Yuan Liuachen, isn't an easy man to scheme against. Back in her quarters, Su Qingying stares out at the storm. When her maid delivers the news, Prince Rui is kneeling to demand the emperor approve his marriage, Su Qingying is aghast, calling him crazy to risk his recently injured body in such a torrential downpour. The memory of him being punished because of her flashes through her mind, and she knows she cannot just stand by and do nothing. She demands an umbrella, brushing off her maid's concerns as she strides out into the rain alone. A determined look on her face. She finds Xuan Yuanqi kneeling in the courtyard, completely drenched. He looks up in shock as her umbrella shields him from the rain. She wastes no time, calling him a brainless idiot and asking if he wants to die by letting his wounds get infected. A small, pained smile touches his lips as he says he didn't expect her to care about him. She snaps that of course she cares, it's not nonsense. His expression sobers and he asks her a question that has haunted him. Was she the one who saved him 5 years ago? She reluctantly admits it was her. He presses on, asking why she vanished. She coldly recounts how she saved him by sucking poison from his body, a deed that nearly cost her own life and left her unconscious for 7 days. Her brother, fearing for her safety, took her away, but when she returned, she treated her with nothing but ridicule and did everything in his power to cancel their marriage agreement. The truth shatters Xuan Yuanqi's world. He clutches his head, a broken laugh escaping his lips as he calls himself the ultimate fool for being so blind he couldn't even recognize his own savior. Desperate, he asks if she would have loved him had he not wronged her. She dismisses the question as a pointless hypothetical. He insists it's important, but she scoffs at the irony, reminding him that he only ever showed her disgust. She admits that maybe she loved him a little once, but now there is nothing left. He whispers a broken apology, but she tells him there's no need for sorrow in matters of love. He asks one last time if she's getting up, but she tells him she can't, advising him to leave before he gets sick. Her patience finally breaks. She tells him to kneel all he wants, she doesn't care, and with a final, cutting remark that she looks down on him. She turns her back and walks away. Her departure is halted by Zhen Liai, who suddenly appears before her. Exasperated, she asks why he is everywhere. He admits he overheard her conversation, and asks if she truly feels nothing for Xuan Yuanqi. She declares that she refuses to cheapen herself for someone she dislikes, especially when it's obvious Xuan Yuanqi and Lan Xiniao are in love. Zhen Liai seems relieved, admitting he thought she might do something foolish. Annoyed, she asks if he, a prince regent, is so bored he came just to spy on her. He merely states the emperor has things under control, a lie she immediately calls out, as she fumes, calling him stupid. He casually tosses a golden object at her, revealing it's the key to his entire treasury. A man in the rain explains to a woman that the token she holds is just one of 3 pieces, utterly useless without the other 2. When she asks for them, he smirks, telling her it depends entirely on his mood. She seethes internally, clutching the single piece as he turns away. Later at Lingxiao Hall, he stands alone in the downpour. Another man approaches, questioning if he's truly making 7 kneel all night despite his injuries. After a heavy sigh, his companion surprisingly suggests it might not be a bad thing after all. And the first man agrees. He then reveals his true intentions. The whole spectacle was an act for Lanbo, a carefully cast net that is now ready to be reeled in. He adds coldly that 7 needed to be taught a lesson, lest he think he's a pushover. Just then, a guard bursts in with urgent news. Prince Rui has fainted. The ensuing chaos forces Xuan Yuan Liuachen's hand. The news spreads like wildfire. He has finally agreed to the marriage with Lan Xiniao, with the wedding set in just 5 days. Meanwhile, Su Qingying and her maid Zir are out for a stroll, with Qingying generously telling her maid to buy anything she desires. As they approach her establishment, heaven on earth, they find it surrounded by a noisy crowd. An employee rushes over, explaining that the right minister's second daughter is back to cause more trouble. She had already vandalized the place before and now threatens to burn it to the ground if they don't hand over the deed. A spark of rage ignites in Su Qingying's eyes. She will not be trifled with. Inside, the arrogant young woman gives her final ultimatum, backed by her thuggish guards. But Su Qingying steps forward with an icy calm, challenging the woman to try her worst. The troublemaker Lan Feiyu scoffs at Su Qingying's authority and orders her men to destroy everything. With a furious glare, Qingying declares they have a death wish. In a blur of motion, she uses her long sleeves as weapons, effortlessly disarming the goons and sending them flying through the air as the crowd cheers. Lan Feiyu is stunned, demanding to know what this is all about. Su Qingying fires back, questioning how dare she cause a mess on her territory and calling her father, Lan Bo, an old fool who can't keep his dogs on a leash. Enraged, Lan Feiyu screams, asking who's a dog, only for Qingying to coolly reply that it's whoever is responding. A sharp slap cracks across Lan Feiyu's face, leaving her stunned and clutching her swollen cheek as the crowd gasps in admiration for their tough boss. Su Qingying informs the minister's daughter that for insulting a princess, a few slaps are a light punishment. Humiliated, Lan Feiyu turns to leave, vowing revenge. But Su Qingying stops her, stating that there's no such thing as a free lunch. Taking a seat, she calmly calculates the damages on an abacus, arriving at a total of 50,000 taels of gold. Lan Feiyu shrieks that it's robbery, but King Ying simply threatens to take the matter to the emperor if her father can't pay. Defeated, Lan Feiyu agrees to pay the next day, secretly planning to renege on the deal. But King Ying sees right through her, stating she can't trust her character and demands collateral, her family's 15 stores. When Lan Feiyu refuses, King Ying simply smiles and calls for her wolfhounds. Two massive, snarling dogs are brought forward, their eyes locked on the terrified minister's daughter. King Ying coos to the dogs, pointing out the tender meat standing before them. Frozen with fear, Lan Feiyu can only sputter about her status as the dogs lunge and bark ferociously. King Ying gives her a final choice: pay up or the dogs will bite. The terrified woman instantly caves, agreeing to everything. With a smirk, King Ying calls for a brush and paper. Swiftly drafting a contract, she blows the ink dry and presents the legally binding document, sealing Lan Feiyu's fate. After the humiliated girl signs and leaves with a final, empty threat, King Ying reflects on Lan Bo's misfortune of having both a cunning daughter like Lan Xiniao and a fool like Lan Feiyu. Her staff erupts in cheers, celebrating their incredible boss. Inside the opulent walls of heaven on earth, King Ying's followers celebrate their victory, declaring that their boss is amazing for putting the right minister's people in their place. Sipping tea, they revel in the refreshing taste of revenge after days of arrogant provocations. King Ying, with a chilling calm, instructs her subordinate sister Feng that should anyone from the right minister's residence cause trouble in her absence, she is to beat them mercilessly. She cares not if they live or die, she will handle any and all consequences. Just then, a guard arrives announcing a visitor from the Lunar Palace. King Ying's pleasant mood evaporates instantly, annoyance flashing across her face as she questions why they would want to see her. She erupts in frustration, telling the guard to tell them to go away in no uncertain terms. Meanwhile, a furious Lan Feiyu warns her own subordinates that no one is to speak of what happened, lest she pull out their tongues. Her rage intensifies as she spots King Ying's maid, Zir, stepping out of a dessert shop, and she vows to make King Ying pay. The innocent Zir hums to herself, holding a bag of treats when she is suddenly ambushed from behind. The bag drops, scattering the desserts across the dusty road, and she is swiftly carried away to an abandoned house. The masked Lan Feiyu orders her men to release the terrified maid from the sack. Zir, bound and gagged, trembles as she's pulled out. Elsewhere, Mo Haiyan grows worried, discovering the dropped pastries and realizing something is terribly wrong with Zir. He dashes off in search of her. Back in the desolate building, Lan Feiyu has Zir's gag removed, taunting that no one will come to her aid. She confirms Zir is King Ying's maid and sneers that since her master offended her, she will exact her compensation from the servant. Zir bravely declares she won't let her harm her highness. Amused by this loyalty, Lan Feiyu draws a dagger, remarking how Zir's pretty face resembles her master's and coldly wonders how King Ying would react if it were ruined. Zir pleads in terror, but Lan Feiyu orders her mouth bound again, deciding it's more fun to torture her slowly than to let her die. Without another word, she plunges the blade into the maid's cheek. Zir faints from the sheer agony. Bored with the result, Lan Feiyu tosses her blade aside and tells her leering henchmen to torture the girl well before departing. The men grin sadistically, ready to have their fun. But just as they grab her, the door is kicked off its hinges with a deafening bang. Mo Haiyan stands in the doorway, his eyes burning with fury as he declares they all deserve to die. In a blur of motion, he draws his sword and cuts through them, their pleas for mercy swallowed by the sound of slicing steel. He stands over the blood-soaked floor, his sword dripping, before rushing to Zir's side. His heart aches as he sees her ruined face, and whispering an apology for being late, he gently carries her from the gruesome scene. Back at her own residence, King Ying grows anxious, wondering why Zir hasn't returned. Her unease turns to dread when a subordinate bursts in, reporting that Mo Haiyan has arrived carrying a bloodied and unconscious Zir. King Ying slams her hand on the table and storms out, finding Mo Haiyan cradling her horribly injured mate. A murderous rage consumes her as she demands to know who dared to hurt one of her people. Mo Haiyan explains it was the right minister's people and that he arrived just in time to stop something far worse. The name ignites a firestorm in King Ying's soul. She had shown Lan Feiyu mercy, and this was her reward. Vowing to make her pay, her face contorts with a terrifying resolve. She orders Mo Haiyan to take Zir to her brother for treatment while she heads to the right minister's residence to claim justice. She arrives like a tempest, drawing a blade, and with a single powerful slash shatters the residence's official sign. As guards rush out demanding to know who dares trespass, she coldly tells them to get lost. She kicks the doors wide open, her voice echoing through the courtyard as she screams for Lan Feiyu to show herself. A man turns in surprise, only for King Ying's blade to plunge deep into his chest without a shred of hesitation. With a storm of righteous fury in her eyes, King Ying strides through the enemy residence, her voice a cold promise of death to anyone who stands in her way. Her target is a trembling maid, whom she grabs by the collar, demanding to know Lan Feiyu's location and warning the girl that her life depends on her honesty. The terrified servant quickly reveals that the second miss is in Feiyu Pavilion, and Su Qingying continues her warpath, leaving fear in her wake. Inside the pavilion, the arrogant Lan Feiyu is being tended to, dismissing any worry about the fifth princess's wrath. She slaps her own maid for applying too much force with the ointment, scoffing that this is the right minister's residence and the princess wouldn't dare do anything. Her words hang in the air just as the door is violently kicked open. Su Qingying stands there, a chilling aura around her, repeating Lan Feiyu's own words, asking if she truly believes she wouldn't dare. Lan Feiyu is stunned, her arrogance instantly replaced by fear at the sight of the vengeful princess. She tries to bluster, calling Su Qingying crazy, but the princess is done talking. In a flash, she closes the distance and seizes Lan Feiyu by the throat, declaring that not even Lan Bo can save her now. With a powerful heave, she throws the woman to the floor. As Lan Feiyu coughs and tries to feign innocence, Su Qingying's eyes blaze with pure rage. She presses a pressure point on her neck to immobilize her, then reveals a gleaming dagger, promising to help her remember her sins. She asks if this is how she cut Zir's face before dragging the blade across Lan Feiyu's cheek. As blood splatters, she coldly asks if her memory has returned. Lan Feiyu's screams fill the room as she begs for mercy, her face now a mutilated canvas of pain. Su Qingying offers a cruel smile, telling her the fun is just beginning. She drags her victim across the floor, assuring her that while she won't kill her, she will make her pay. With a final kick, Su Qingying leaps away, leaving her brutalized foe behind. Just as she leaves, Lan Feiyu's father, the Right Minister Lan Bo, arrives to a scene of chaos, learning his daughter was found at a brothel, barely hanging onto life. Rushing inside, he finds Lan Feiyu's life is ruined and sees that Su Qingying went too far. He vows to go to the palace for justice. Meanwhile, at the Cloud Palace, Su Qingying watches over the unconscious Zir, her heart aching when her brother confirms the girl's face is destroyed. Just as he suggests calling for a doctor, the Prince Regent of Bailing, Jun Liai, arrives with Dr. Gui in tow, offering his help. Su Qingying is surprised but grateful, feeling a strange sense of calm in his presence. However, the doctor's prognosis is grim. The wounds are bone deep and will leave permanent scars. Desperate, Su Qingying grabs the doctor, begging him to do something, until Jun Liai gently pulls her away and commands the doctor to find a cure. But there is no solution. It's a miracle Zir is even alive. Overwhelmed with guilt, Su Qingying blames herself. But before she can spiral, a royal summons arrives, demanding her presence at Jinling Hall. Jun Liai warns her that Lan Bo is there, plotting against her, but Su Qingying's spirit reignites. She was planning to confront them anyway. She marches to the throne room, ready for the show. The moment she enters, Lan Bo begins his tirade, accusing her of mutilating his daughter, only to be silenced by a sharp slap across the face from the princess herself. The court is stunned. Lan Bo, clutching his cheek, demands the emperor punish her for this lawless act. Su Qingying icily informs him he is not worthy to even speak her name. She calls his daughter trash, a product of his own failed parenting, and when he sputters that Zir was just a servant, she retorts that in her eyes, Lan Feiyu is worse than an animal. She declares Zir is one of her people, and her only regret is not sending more men to kill his daughter. Lan Bo trembles with rage, but Su Qingying turns to the emperor, delivering a chilling ultimatum: give her justice, or Dongyue's cavalry will flatten the right minister's residence. As the emperor hesitates, Jun Liai unexpectedly steps forward, declaring that the minister's actions have insulted Dongyue and if their army moves, Bailings will follow. Su Qingying watches, stunned by his sudden powerful support. Faced with the threat of a two-front war, the emperor tries to de-escalate, suggesting they let the matter rest now that Lan Feiyu has been punished. But Su Qingying's eyes burn with an unquenchable fire as she roars that it's not over. She wants Lan Feiyu's life. The right minister, Lan Bo, frantically pleads with the emperor, insisting Yuer has already been punished enough and begging for mercy. But the emperor, trying to placate the furious fifth princess, Su Qingying, tells her to know when to stop and offers a priceless 1,000-year-old golden ginseng for her injured maid. He explains that while it can't fix her face, it's a treasure for nourishing the body, a generous offer indeed. Su Qingying remains stone-faced, bluntly stating she isn't interested. Jun Liai leans in close, whispering a far more enticing plan: combine the ginseng with a rare 7-leafed snow lotus and it will heal any scar. He adds a chilling thought: letting her enemy live in disgrace is a fate far worse than a quick death. A spark of cold understanding ignites in Su Qingying's eyes as she agrees with his cruel logic. She turns to the court and declares that for the sake of diplomacy between their kingdoms, she will let the matter go, but issues a stark warning that she won't be so merciful next time. The relieved emperor immediately orders Lan Bo to thank the princess, but inside he's seething, utterly humiliated that he couldn't punish Su Qingying and instead has to show her gratitude. He silently wonders what Jun Liai whispered to make her back down. As Lan Bo begrudgingly offers his thanks, Su Qingying cuts him off, revealing that this is far from over. She calmly produces a sign note, an agreement from Lan Feiyu to hand over the deeds to 15 of her family's stores. Lan Bo is aghast, sputtering that his daughter was a fool who didn't know what she was doing and the note shouldn't be taken seriously. He wails that those stores represent years of hard work, internally vowing to kill his idiotic daughter for her blunder. Su Qingying arches an eyebrow, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she asks if he truly intends to break a written contract in front of His Majesty. Her brother steps forward, his voice firm, reminding the emperor that an agreement with his sister must be honored, lest the Ximing kingdom be seen as untrustworthy. Trapped, the emperor has no choice but to command Lan Bo to hand over the deeds. He thinks to himself that Lan Bo has no one to blame but himself for raising such a stupid daughter. Defeated, Lan Bo bows his head, his entire body trembling as he fumbles for the deeds. Su Qingying watches his despair with a cold, triumphant smile. Announcing she has other matters to attend to, she gracefully exits the hall. The moment she is gone, chaos erupts as the right minister, overwhelmed by rage and loss, promptly faints on the spot. Later that night at the Cloud Palace, Su Qingying's maid Zir awakens with a soft groan. Seeing Mo Haiyan by her side, she weakly asks where she is. He gently explains her location and offers her a cup, but a wave of horrific memories crashes over her. She erupts in a panic, screaming about her ruined face and demanding a mirror. As Mo Haiyan tries to soothe her, she shoves him away, shrieking for him to leave her alone before dissolving into hysterical sobs. Su Qingying enters at that moment and takes control, calmly telling Mo Haiyan to step outside while she handles this. She pulls her distraught maid into a tight embrace. Zero weeps that she doesn't blame her mistress, crying out that she is no longer pure. Su Qingying quickly reassures her, explaining that Mo Haiyan saved her just in time and that those men never got their way. A sliver of relief crosses Zir's face, but it's immediately replaced by despair as she remembers her scarred face. Su Qingying holds her firmly, promising she will find a way to fix it and urging her to rest. As Zir settles down, Su Qingying's mind is already working, determined to find the seven-leafed snow lotus Jun Liai spoke of. Stepping out of the room, she confronts Mo Haiyan directly. She asks if he minds Zir's scar. His answer is swift and unwavering. He likes her regardless of her appearance. Su Qingying presses him, voicing her hope that he will make Zir his only wife, a rare devotion in an era of multiple wives. Mo Haiyan makes a divine oath, swearing he will only ever love Zir and that if he breaks his vow, lightning should strike him dead. Satisfied, Su Qingying tells him to go to Zir's side, as his company is what she needs most now. With that settled, a chilling new purpose hardens her expression. She finds Jun Liai and declares her intent. She wants to borrow his guards to completely destroy Lan Feiyi. Jun Liai appears from the shadows, asking if she would be this worried if she were the one who had been hurt. She says no because no one can hurt her. He smirks, calling her no fun. Su Qingying admits that love is a poison she refuses to touch, believing it's unreliable and only leads to pain. The very next morning, the entire kingdom is buzzing with scandalous news. Rumors of the right minister's daughter being kidnapped and abused in a brothel spread like wildfire, and the people are utterly disgusted by her. Men in the streets loudly proclaim that they would rather marry a prostitute than the minister's impure daughter. From his residence, a furious Lan Bo orders his men to suppress the rumors and kill anyone who spreads them. But it's utterly useless, the story is already everywhere. 2 days later, a grand banquet for the Duanwu festival is held at the palace. As Su Qingying arrives, she overhears whispers about her ruthless methods, which only seems to enhance her mystique. A prince toasts her and she accepts with detached grace. Across the room, a young noblewoman named Yinger is completely captivated by Su Qingying's beauty, earning a strange look from her brother. He reminds her they are both girls, but she insists it's merely admiration. As Su Qingying scans the room, she feels a strange unease, realizing Jun Liai has been absent for 2 days. Just then, a clumsy maid bumps into her, spilling water all over her robes. Yinger's brother shouts at the girl, but Su Qingying merely sighs, blaming her bad luck and coldly ordering the maid to be dragged away for beating. Noticing her wet dress, the emperor commands someone to escort her to get changed. As she follows her brother, she can't shake her suspicion about what plans are unfolding behind the scenes. Elsewhere, another courtier decides against following her, opting to wait and watch from the sidelines. Su Qingying soon returns, looking more stunning than before. Her brother asks if anything seemed suspicious, but she says no, admitting they might be overthinking things. Yet a question lingers in the air as they notice an empty seat. Where is the third princess? The prince is furious when a maid reports that the third princess refuses to attend his grand event, and he angrily orders her to be fetched immediately. Meanwhile, Su Qingying is languidly fanning herself, complaining about the sweltering heat and questioning the point of a banquet that just makes everyone suffer. Her calm is shattered when a maid bursts in, overcome with panic. The commotion draws the attention of the emperor, who demands to know what's happening. The maid, Xinlin, collapses before him, announcing the unthinkable. the third princess of Nanjiang is dead. A wave of shock ripples through the hall as the emperor threatens her with death if she's lying. The maid insists she's telling the truth, recounting how the prince had sent her to retrieve the princess, only for her to discover a gruesome scene. The princess murdered, her face bloody and unrecognizable. Listening from her seat, Su Qingying's eyes narrow. She instantly recognizes the familiar stench of a well-laid trap meant for her. As expected, the prince of Nanjiang, Zhao Tianqi, leaps to his feet, pointing an accusing finger at her and decrying her cruelty, claiming she must have killed his sister over some petty grudge. The court erupts in whispers, recalling Su Qingying's recent takedown of Lan Feiyu, solidifying their suspicion. Her brother tries to defend her, arguing that it's a baseless accusation and an obvious scheme, but Zhao Tianqi presses on, pointing out she was the only one who left the banquet hall, making her the prime suspect. Others quickly pile on, claiming the victim had provoked Su Qingying first, while the crowd murmurs about her vicious reputation. Though some guests find the accusation too convenient, noting Su Qingying's unnerving calm in the face of it all. The tide is turning against her. A blonde-haired man lounging nearby scoffs at the accusation, remarking with a smirk that if Qingying truly wanted someone dead, she would have been far more creative and wouldn't have left a body behind for them to find. Annoyed by his commentary, she nonchalantly flicks a piece of fruit in his direction as the court is called to silence. Finally losing her patience with the incessant gossiping, Su Qingying slams her hand on the table, calling the crowd gullible flies. When an old minister rebukes her for her inappropriate behavior, she unleashes a sliver of her power, shattering the corner of his table with a terrifying crack, warning him that she's only sparing him for the emperor's sake. The emperor, Ziming, chides her for overstepping her bounds, but she coolly replies that it's his fault for not controlling his own people. She turns her icy gaze on Zhao Tianqi, demanding he either present evidence or shut his mouth. Right on cue, the maid Xinlin produces a hairpin, claiming she found it by the princess's body. She hands it to another maid, who is immediately pressured by the emperor to identify it. Terrified, the maid Hong Yi finally breaks down and agrees to speak. Su Qingying waves off her concerned brother, her lips curling into a predatory smile as she says she's eager to hear what secret this maid is keeping for her. Zhao Tianqi accuses her of intimidation, but she retorts that she's smiling like a goddess. Hong Yi then testifies that she saw that very hairpin in Su Qingying's hair earlier, but it vanished after she briefly left to fetch tea. With the evidence seemingly stacked against her, Zhao Tianqi smugly asks what she has to say now. Instead of panicking, Su Qingying begins to clap slowly, sarcastically congratulating them on an amazing show and admitting they'd concocted a clever scheme to corner her. Ignoring the minister who tells her to stop making excuses, she turns to the emperor and requests permission to question the maid herself. She declares she will reveal the truth, silencing the entire court as she proposes a game of life and death. The emperor agrees. Su Qingying approaches the trembling Hong Yi, calmly telling her to relax before grabbing her chin and forcing her to make eye contact. She begins a series of seemingly irrelevant questions: her name, her family, the date she entered the palace. Her enemies watch, unimpressed, with Lan Xiniao smirking confidently, certain that Su Qingying's pathetic attempt at defense is failing. But then comes the climax. Su Qingying asks if she ever told Hong Yi to pour her tea. The maid answers no, stunning the onlookers. Su Qingying then presses the key question. If she never served her tea, how did she get close enough to see the hairpin, let alone steal it? Under Su Qingying's intense gaze, Hong Yi's will breaks and she confesses everything in a monotone voice. She stole the hairpin while the princess was changing and gave it to another maid named Xinger. Xinger, she reveals, is the servant of the right minister's daughter, Lan Xiniao, who promised her 1,000 taels to frame Su Qingying. As for proof, Hong Yi admits she hid the money under her pillow. The emperor immediately dispatches a guard to search her room. With a snap of her fingers, Su Qingying releases the maid from her trance. Just as Hong Yi begins to beg for mercy, the guard returns, confirming that 1,000 taels were found exactly where she said they were. The silver is presented, and Lan Xiniao's face turns pale with shock as her entire plot crumbles into dust. Su Qingying turns to the emperor with a saccharine smile, asking if he will now comfort her weak and frightened soul for being so wrongly accused. Her price for this emotional distress? A mere 10,000 taels of gold, she declares with a devious grin, musing that anyone who dares to scheme against her is only digging their own grave. Su Qingying stands calmly as the prince of Dongyue seethes, declaring he won't let the left minister get away with framing a princess. The emperor assures him a satisfactory resolution will be given, before turning his cold gaze upon the trembling servant girl on the floor. With a dismissive wave of his hand, he orders the brazen servant to be dragged out and executed immediately. As she begs for mercy, his attention falls upon Minister Lan, demanding an explanation for this farce. The minister immediately drops to his knees, proclaiming his daughter's innocence and insisting she could never kill a princess. In a desperate move, he points at Su Qingying, accusing her of using black magic to charm the servant and demanding an investigation. A voice from the crowd mocks him as an uneducated fool, explaining that it wasn't black magic but hypnosis, a skill used to reveal secrets. Su Qingying allows herself a small, smug smile as her enemies begin to unravel. Lan Ziniao's sister flies into a rage, screaming at her for being so cruel, but Lan Ziniao can only stammer that it wasn't her. Internally, Su Qingying relishes their satisfying expressions, knowing they aim to frame her but shot themselves in the foot instead. The Prince of Dongyue declares that killing a princess is a capital offense, demanding the emperor punish the culprit without leniency. Just as all hope seems lost for the Lan family, Lan Feiyu stands up, stunning the court by confessing that she was the one behind it all. She tells her older sister to stand down, reminding her that she is the family's hope and shouldn't be implicated. In a hushed voice, she urges her sister to live well and get revenge, admitting she orchestrated everything out of hatred for Zhao Ruaji and Su Qingying, wanting them to experience the same suffering she did when she was disfigured. The emperor coldly asks if she's admitting to everything, and she confirms it was all her doing. Su Qingying watches impassively, thinking how a once clever person had fallen so low. Lan Feiyu glares at her, vowing she won't let her get away with this. The emperor's verdict is swift and brutal. Lan Feiyu is sentenced to immediate death, as guards drag her away. A pitiful scream echoes from outside, and Lan Ziniao clenches her fists, her expression hardening. Su Qingying remains perfectly composed, a fact that even Lan Ziniao finds admirable. With the banquet abruptly ended, a young woman named Sidu Wanner approaches Qingying, amazed by her skill and asking how she made the servant act like a puppet. Qingying explains the simple concept of hypnosis, detailing how it accesses the subconscious mind. But her complex explanation leaves Wanner and the others completely baffled. After Wanner praises her knowledge, Qingying internally scoffs at being called lovable, thinking that if the gazes of her enemies were knives, she'd already be dead. Wanner, charmed by her frank personality, introduces herself, and the two begin to walk together. Qingying cheekily asks if Wanner likes Rongyu, but Wanner is despondent, feeling she can't compete with the infamous Yunling who has captured his heart. Qingying is visibly annoyed at the mention of Yunling, wondering why everyone is so obsessed with her. Wanner teases her about sounding jealous and asks who she likes, but Qingying dismisses the crown prince as a promiscuous playboy unfit to be a life partner. She is then utterly disgusted at the suggestion she might like her own brother, Prince Mo. Unbeknownst to them, the emperor and Prince Mo are eavesdropping nearby, listening intently as Wanner asks if she likes the emperor. Qingying scoffs, declaring that none of the Xuanyuan clan are worthy of her, especially not the tyrant emperor, whom she calls petty, bad-tempered, and destined for an early grave. The emperor's expression darkens, a furious aura building around him as Qingying continues her verbal assault. She whispers to Wanner that the emperor is an old virgin, possibly impotent, with 3,000 concubines just for show. As the emperor seethes with silent rage, clenching his fists at the insults, he turns to Prince Mo and demands an explanation. Wanner then switches topics, asking if Qingying fancies the Prince Regent of Bailing instead. Qingying firmly denies it, calling him a poison that shouldn't be touched, warning that getting close to a man like him is like playing with fire, you'll only turn to ash. The court ladies gossip about the tragic history of the Prince Regent's mother, Shangyun Yuyuan, once the most beautiful woman in Bailing, who married a lord and had a son. But the whispers turn dark with the rumor that the Prince Regent, Zhen Liai, ruthlessly killed his own parents for power at the tender age of 13. One woman is aghast at the thought, but her companion wisely cautions that rumors are just rumors, and only those involved know the real truth. Elsewhere, Su Qingying silently reflects on Zhen Liai's character, knowing his cold exterior hides a warm heart, and finding it impossible to believe such a horrific tale. She can only imagine the sheer tenacity he must have possessed to withstand such judgment as a mere child. Her thoughts are interrupted when a friend arrives, confirming a shocking truth. Su Qingying is indeed the boss of the famed Heaven on Earth establishment. Her friends are amazed, with one admitting she'd never imagine a woman could open such a business. Qingying passionately declares that she's proving to the world that women can do anything men can, and they don't have to follow a man's lead. Her bold words earn her the envy of her friends, who admire her for speaking her mind so freely. The conversation shifts as they ask about the mysterious and beautiful zither player at her establishment, known only as Miss Su. Qingying just smiles cryptically, refusing to reveal the musician's identity but dropping a clever hint that her surname is actually Yun. She inwardly smirks, knowing this will lead everyone to assume it's Yunling. Unseen, two figures overhear this and agree to leave before they are discovered eavesdropping. Meanwhile, the visiting senior Rongyu's curiosity is piqued, and Qingying playfully offers him a discount to see the mysterious musician for himself, an offer he gladly accepts. The group then disperses, heading back to their own chambers. Back at Cloud Palace, Mo Haiyan brings Qingying a bowl of ginseng soup. She teases him for being so good at domestic work, remarking that he'd make a fantastic husband and that Zira is lucky, which causes the man to blush deeply. Deciding to leave the two lovebirds alone, she announces she's going for a walk. But as she leaves, a sudden worry grips her and she turns back to ask Mo Hyeon where his master, Jun Liai, has been. Mo Hyeon is surprised by her sudden concern, especially since she had been refusing to see him, and informs her that the Prince Regent hasn't returned to the Golden Sun Palace. A chill runs down King Ying's spine as she fears the worst, that he may have finally succumbed to the poison. After dismissing Mo Hyeon with a playful warning not to misbehave, she finds herself alone, her mind plagued with thoughts of Jun Liai, wondering why she can't stop thinking about him as she gazes at the Golden Sun Palace. Her reverie is shattered by a foppish man, Shangyun Jihong, who accosts a young woman nearby, grabbing her and declaring her beauty has captured his heart. The woman, enraged, whips out a lash, ready to teach the fool a lesson. But he dodges her strike with ease. He smugly offers to make her his 108th concubine, which only fuels her fury. She leaps onto a roof to get away. But her escape is thwarted when he crudely comments that he can see her underpants, causing her to flush with embarrassment and slip. He catches her in a dramatic sweep, warning her to be careful. For a moment, she is dazed by his handsome face. But his threat to kiss her snaps her back to reality and she jumps free, threatening to castrate him. The man then turns his attention to King Ying, calling out the brat who was hiding and watching the whole time. King Ying steps out, coolly remarking that she must have arrived at a bad time. The other woman, Xuanyuan Rongfei, recognizes her immediately, accusing her of being the one who grilled her brother's fish. But instead of anger, Rongfei excitedly introduces herself as the emperor's sister and declares she wants to become King Ying's disciple. King Ying is utterly baffled, unable to understand why the emperor's sister would admire her instead of hate her. Rongfei explains that she finds it amusing how much King Ying flusters her brother, something no one else has ever managed to do. She even offers a gift of 10,000 taels, promising to cover her financially. At the sight of the money, King Ying's resolve melts, and she happily accepts Rongfei as her new disciple, promising to make her awesome. The two walk off arm in arm, leaving a stunned Shangyun Jihong behind. Shortly after, Rongfei bursts into the emperor's study, tackling her brother Xuanyuan Liuchen in a hug and asking if he missed her. He calls her a little demoness before she excitedly reveals her news. She is now Su King Ying's disciple. The emperor is shocked, wondering how these two troublemakers could have possibly met. Rongfei then launches into a tirade, insisting her master is incredibly beautiful and that her brother must marry her and make her queen. The emperor recoils in horror, stating that he would be angered to death if he married that woman. Rongfei retorts that he's the one not interested, not the other way around, and that her master wouldn't want him unless she was blind. Enraged, the emperor demands to know why his sister is siding with an outsider and in what way he is unworthy. Rongfei tells him to stop being so cold and grumpy if he ever wants a woman to like him. He threatens to throw her out of the palace, but she just laughs it off, telling him he'll never find a wife with his attitude before sauntering out. Left alone, the emperor massages his temples, utterly exasperated by his sister's return and the new chaos she has brought with her. A servant tries to placate the furious prince, insisting the 9th princess had good intentions. But he scoffs at the idea, questioning what kind of person would put down their own brother like that. In a fit of rage, he smashes the cup to the floor, bellowing about how he is not worthy of Su Qingying. Miles away in the Cloud Palace, Su Qingying is blissfully unaware, sleeping soundly under the moonlight. Suddenly, her door creaks open and a figure, Dr. Gui, stealthily approaches her bed. Her eyes snap open just as he leans over her, and she reacts instantly, delivering a sharp slap across his face. Dr. Gui cries out, begging for mercy as Su Qingying, now sitting up, realizes her mistake. Yawning, she demands to know why he is in her room in the middle of the night. His expression turns grave as he delivers the urgent news. The master's poison has spread. All sleepiness vanishes from Su Qingying's face as she grabs the doctor, demanding to know what happened. He pleads with her to hurry, explaining that the master won't be able to hold on for much longer. Without another word, they leap from the balcony, soaring over the palace rooftops in a desperate race against time. As they fly, Dr. Gui explains they are leaving the palace because it's full of spies. If word gets out that the Prince Regent, Jun Liang, has been poisoned, the consequences would be catastrophic. Bailing's strength comes from Jun Liang's undefeated strategies, which keep the other 3 kingdoms at bay, but those kingdoms are just waiting for any sign of weakness to strike. They land silently in a bamboo grove protected by a magic barrier. Dr. Gui informs her that the master is inside and he will wait for her call. Su Qingying pushes open the door to find Jun Liang lying deathly still on the bed. She rushes to his side, calling his name and even lightly slapping his cheek to no avail. A cold dread washes over her as she checks his pulse. The poison has already reached his meridian, and if she doesn't stop it now, he will surely die. She internally curses him for using his internal force when she explicitly told him not to. With grim determination, she sits him up, removes his upper robes, and carefully helps his limp body into a large wooden tub. Knowing she can't do this alone, she calls out for Dr. Gui, who immediately rushes in. She quickly explains that she needs to seal the poison but doesn't have enough internal force to redirect it, instructing him to help her and not stop until she gives the word. They both gather their energy and channel it into Jun Liying's back. The power flows, but the poison is incredibly strong. Dr. Gui begins to cough violently, warning her that he can't hold on for much longer. A moment later, he spits a mouthful of blood and collapses to the floor, unconscious. Panic flashes in Su Qingying's eyes. Without the doctor, her own force is not enough, but stopping now would mean the poison rebounds, killing Jun Liying for certain. A look of fierce resolve crosses her face as she realizes there's only one way. She gathers every last ounce of her strength, pouring it into him while furiously telling him not to die, threatening to chop him into 1,000 pieces if he dares waste her effort. Finally, she stops, panting with exhaustion, and whispers that it worked, though it nearly cost her half her life. To complete the treatment, she must let the poisoned blood out, pricking her finger and letting the dark blood drip to the floor. Stepping outside for a breath of fresh air, she thinks to herself that both men will need some time to recover, only to be startled by a voice calling her name. She turns to see Jun Liying, awake and standing in the doorway. He immediately scolds her for using her internal force, asking if she understands the danger she was in. Tears welling in her eyes, Su Qingying grabs him by the collar, crying out about how hard she fought to bring him back from the brink of death. But instead of arguing, he spins her around and pulls her into a tight embrace, whispering that he missed her. Flustered, she tries to push him away, but he holds her tight, refusing to let go after almost losing his life. He then pulls a small bottle from his robe, explaining it's a lotion made from a 1,000-year-old ginseng and a 7-leafed snow lotus. Su Qingying is stunned, realizing he was searching for the rare lotus for her brother. He admits he risked his life because he couldn't bear to see her unhappy. He confesses that he's crazy, but only because he's crazy in love with her. Su Qingying accuses him of liking Yunling, but he scoffs, asking if she's jealous. He looks her dead in the eye and swears she's the first woman he's ever truly loved, and that his supposed feelings for Yunling were just admiration. He begs her for a chance, asking her to trust him. Her heart pounding, Su Qingying gives a shy nod of acceptance. He leans in and captures her lips in a passionate kiss, but she suddenly interrupts, pushing him back. With a serious expression, she demands he give her the other 2 keys to his vault. The romantic atmosphere shatters as Jun Liying stares at her in disbelief, muttering that he wants to strangle her. She cheekily offers her neck, but instead of strangling her, he pulls her into another, even more forceful kiss, silencing her completely. Clinging to Jun Liying, Yinger playfully threatens that he must be in a rush to report to the afterlife, but her tone immediately softens as she apologizes for her arrogance, sweetly asking him to let her go. Instead, he sweeps her off her feet, pulling her into a passionate kiss before whispering that he wants to take her somewhere special. He leads her by the hand out into the moonlit night, revealing a breathtaking meadow filled with thousands of twinkling fireflies. Overwhelmed by the beauty, Yinger reaches out to one of the glowing insects and calls him Lai, a new level of intimacy that makes him pause. He asks her to repeat what she just called him, and when she playfully suggests reverting to the formal Jun Liying, he pulls her close, his eyes intense as he urges her to say his name again. But just as their lips are about to meet, their romantic interlude is abruptly shattered by the sudden appearance of a stern-looking old man. Startled, Yinger asks if this is his master, while Jun Liying scolds the man Xianfeng Daegu for being a peeping Tom. The master sputters indignantly, declaring that it's immoral to disturb a date, and then turns his wrath on Jun Liying, berating him for just watching while his woman was bullied. Yinger, ever defiant, smirks and tells the old man that Jun Liying wouldn't dare try to control her. Jun Liying confirms this with a smile, stating that he likes her just the way she is, and is happy as long as she stays by his side. To prove her point and provoke the master, Yinger boldly kisses Jun Liying right in front of him. Xianfeng Daegu groans that he can't stand how cheesy they are, but Jun Liying coldly tells him to leave if he can't handle it. Yinger piles on, cheekily telling the master that he should go before they continue with their stuff and give him a heart attack. Utterly flustered, the master orders them to cut the nonsense and lie down in a seductive pose. To his absolute shock, Jun Liying actually complies, removing his outer robe and arranging himself on the ground, asking if this is seductive enough. The master frantically yells for him to stop, completely losing his composure. Jun Liying casually asks if there's anything else, otherwise they'll be leaving. Defeated, the master finally reveals his real reason for being there. His favorite black chicken has gone missing, and he tracked its scent to this exact spot. Yinger instantly panics, waving her hands and vehemently denying ever seeing a black chicken. While Jun Liying watches with a knowing smirk, the master's attention then fixes on Yinger with a strange intensity, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. He murmurs that something is impossible. With all his abilities, he cannot foresee her future at all, and he demands to know who she really is. He asks for her hand. and the moment he touches it, a vision flashes through his mind. He declares that she is the phoenix star, a goddess, and that the one who has her by their side shall rule the world. Jun Liai immediately pulls her away, his expression hardening as he states that no matter who she is, he will never use her to gain power. The master presses the issue, demanding he choose between Yinger and the world. Without a moment's hesitation, Jun Liai scoffs, asking how the world could possibly compare to Yinger. His voice filled with conviction, he proclaims that if she wants the world, he will overturn it for her. And if she doesn't, he is willing to give up everything to live a peaceful life with her in the forest. The master is left speechless by this declaration. The scene shifts to the lunar palace, where a silver-haired figure listens to a report from two kneeling assassins. They admit failure, explaining they lost their targets in a forest where magic was disabled, and they beg for punishment. Back in the woods, Jun Liai explains that since the elder left to find his chicken, he can now give Yinger the chant for the ancient moon lute. A technique so powerful no one will be able to harm her. Yinger grows suspicious, asking how he obtained something Yunling treasures. Jun Liai smoothly claims he tricked her, prompting Yinger to accuse him of being protective of Yunling. He laughs it off, boasting that Yunling simply fell for his handsome looks, which leaves Yinger speechless. He then admits he only has the second half of the chant, but promises it's more than enough. He begins to recite the complex text, but as he speaks, a look of pure shock crosses Yinger's face. She recognizes the words, it's the Tai Chi chant of 13 postures, something from her modern world. A chilling thought crosses her mind. The only way an ancient person could know this is if Yunling, the chant's original owner, also traveled through time. As her mind races with this staggering possibility, Jun Liai wraps his arms around her, gently asking what she's thinking about. At the opulent Cloud Palace, a young woman greets Rongfei, immediately asking for Master King Ying and expressing her disappointment that she might not attend the important wedding. Rongfei explains that Yinger slept in and is currently changing, prompting his sister to ponder when she became so close to this princess. The admirer smiles, declaring her fondness for Master King Ying is so great she could never blame her for being late. Just then, a new voice announces that Master King Ying is arriving. Su Qingying makes her grand entrance, looking absolutely breathtaking in a flowing gown. Her admirer is left speechless, gasping that Qingying is so beautiful she could cause cities and empires to collapse, easily outshining the bride herself. As Qingying asks if she looks good, Jun Liai appears, calling her name. He takes her hand, his gaze locked on hers, causing Qingying to playfully wink and ask why he's staring so intensely. He deadpans, asking if she has a cramp in her eye, which earns him a comical punch. He then smiles, admitting she's so beautiful he can't look away, making her blush shyly. Rongfei watches this exchange from the side, heart shattered as he realizes the pure white cabbage he raised for 17 years has been stolen by this pig, who now completely ignores him. Their party arrives at Prince Rui's residence, a noisy and festive venue for the wedding ceremony. The ritual begins with the bride and groom bowing to heaven and earth, but all eyes are on the newly arrived guests. The presence of the 9th princess, the prince regent, and others is announced, and their entrance creates a stir among the attendees. Qingying and Jun Liai approach the groom, Prince Rui, and offer their congratulations. The bride, hidden behind a red veil, glances at them with an unreadable expression. Prince Rui thanks them, but then turns to Jun Liai with a thinly veiled warning, advising him not to be greedy and covet what's in the pot when he already has a bowl in his hands. His words hang in the air as Qingying looks on, sensing the tension. Inside the bride's veil, Lan Xiniao seethes, silently vowing to repay Qingying and Jun Liai for the humiliation they've caused her. During the banquet, Jun Liai causes another commotion by sitting with Qingying at the women's tables. One of the noble ladies protests, stating that his seat is in the wrong place and it's unbefitting of his identity. Completely unbothered, Jun Liai peels a piece of fruit and lovingly feeds it to Qingying. The woman insists this will ruin the princess's image, but Jun Liai coolly replies that he sees nothing wrong as they are devoted to each other. He then adds a final jab, asking what image she has left to ruin anyway, leaving Qingying flustered and embarrassed. The Emperor of Ximing interrupts, questioning whether the 5th princess's decision to marry the Prince Regent has been approved by the Emperor of Dongyue. Jun Liai snaps back, telling the Emperor his own affairs are a mess and he should deal with them first before worrying about others. Defeated, the Emperor concedes he was being rude and allows the ceremony to continue. As the host directs the couple to bow to each other, the bride, Lan Xiniao, fiercely declares in her mind that she is now the owner of the palace. She thinks that she will do anything to marry Qi Xuanyuan, but his mind remains fixated on Su Qingying, a fact that will never change. The ceremony is completed, and as the newlyweds are led to their chambers, the groom's heart sinks into despair, believing it's truly over and he has lost his chance with Qingying forever. At the table, Jun Liai pulls Qingying closer, possessively demanding she not look at another man. She insists she was looking at Lan Xiniao, but he forbids that too, smugly claiming no one else is as good-looking as him. King Ying is momentarily stunned by his audacity, thinking he's acting strangely cute before calling him a narcissist. A friend pulls King Ying aside, asking if her feelings for the Prince Regent are genuine. King Ying confirms her love, telling her friend not to worry and that she trusts both herself and Jun Liai. With a dangerous smile, she adds that if he ever dares to bully her, she will simply castrate him, a threat Jun Liai overhears with a knowing grin. Her friend can only sigh, acknowledging the unpredictability of love and hoping she made the right choice. Nearby, a dejected man laments being left all alone now that his friend is busy pursuing his wife, but he is quickly comforted by a woman who grabs his arm, reassuring him that he still has her. A flirty challenger approaches the Prince Regent in the men's seating area, boldly announcing she's there to drink with him. She pours him a cup, cheekily reminding him that she hasn't even gotten revenge for him teasing her last time. She proposes a simple wager, a drinking competition where if she wins, he has to obey her every command from now on. With a confident wink, she challenges him to accept. Amused, he scoffs at the notion of being afraid of her, grabs her cup, and downs the drink in one go, leaving her blushing and flustered at the indirect kiss. Meanwhile, in a quieter part of the palace, Emperor Xuanyuan Liuaqin receives a grave report from his brother. The minister Lan Bo has secretly amassed an army and is poised to strike today. The emperor remains utterly unfazed, calmly remarking that the old fox is finally making his move after such a long wait. As if on cue, soldiers loyal to Lan Bo storm the banquet hall, surrounding the stunned guests who erupt in panic. Su Qingying, however, watches with a knowing smirk, sensing the real show is about to begin. Lan Bo strides into the chamber with his men in tow, greeting the emperor with false pleasantries. When questioned, he drops all pretense, declaring that the Xuanyuan family's reign is over. He proclaims that the Ximing Kingdom is being overturned tonight. As chaos erupts, Su Qingying glances over at her disciple, who challenged the Prince Regent and is now fast asleep on the table beside him. Privately thankful that the girl is such a lightweight, otherwise she'd already be beating Lan Bo to a pulp. The emperor's brother stands to defy the traitor, but Lan Bo merely laughs, spitting that Xuanyuan Liuaqin was an ungrateful ruler who weakened his power after years of loyalty. His true motive boils to the surface as he roars that the emperor had his daughter killed, giving him every reason to rebel. His rage then turns to Su Qingying, vowing to make her life a living hell for destroying his businesses. As her companion bristles with anger, she gently grabs his arm, silently warning him not to act recklessly. She leans against him, utterly unintimidated, and challenges Lan Bo's arrogance, taunting him by asking if he thinks he's stronger than her man. The traitor is left speechless by her audacity. The emperor finally breaks his silence, his voice dripping with ice as he asks Lan Bo if he's not afraid of having his entire family executed for this open rebellion. Lan Bo boasts that he came prepared and has already seized control of the emperor's guards, claiming the throne is his for the taking. The emperor calmly asks if he's willing to abandon his own daughter, Lan Xiniao, who is married into the royal family. But this was all part of the plan. Lan Bo reveals he married her off precisely to orchestrate this coup from the inside. He draws his sword and demands the imperial seal. Xuanyuan Liuaqin simply smiles, a chilling sight, remarking that not just anyone can handle the throne. He asks Lan Bo what he means by that, his smirk unnerving the rebel. Before he utters two simple words, dragon guards. Instantly, two elite assassins appear from the shadows, shocking Lan Bo, who believed the legendary guard had vanished with the former emperor. With his true power revealed, Xuanyuan Liuaqin sentences Lan Bo and his entire clan to death for treason. The dragon guards move like lightning, subduing the rebels in seconds. Defeated and captured, Lan Bo screams that he was lured into a despicable trap, vowing that he'll never forgive the emperor, even in death. As he's dragged away, he shrieks that Xuanyuan Liuaqin will regret this. The guards report that while the minister's residence is secured, Lan Xiniao and Prince Rui are nowhere to be found. The emperor is furious, realizing he underestimated Xiniao's cunning, and orders a palace-wide search. Elsewhere, Su Qingying assures her friends that Xiniao wouldn't harm Prince Rui, as her love for him, however twisted, is real. Outside the palace walls, Lan Xiniao hides in the shadows, only to be found by Xuanyuan Qi, who overheard her father's contingency plan. She was to kill him if the coup failed. The prince is shattered, realizing their entire 5-year relationship was a lie. He holds his sword to her throat, his heart breaking as he calls her a liar. Just then, they are found by the guards. Trapped and desperate for revenge, Lan Xiniao knows she cannot be captured. She pleads with the prince, asking if he could truly bear to kill her. He turns his head away in anguish, unable to look at her. And in that moment of hesitation, she seizes his blade and drives it into her own heart, ending her life of love and betrayal in a final, tragic act. With a blade pressed against her chest, the man demands to know why she didn't dodge the attack. With a heartbreakingly serene expression, she replies that if he wants her life, he can have it. She is satisfied with dying by his hands. His face contorts with a flicker of emotion, but it's gone in an instant. He turns, yanking the sword from her flesh in a spray of blood. and coldly declares that from now on, there is nothing between them, warning her that he won't spare her if he sees her again. As he walks away, she can only whisper for him to take care before she departs. His companion immediately rushes forward, calling him Seven and demanding to know if he's gone mad for letting her go. The friend argues that she hid her martial arts for years and will only bring future trouble. But Seven dismisses his concerns, stating that with Lan Bo's entire family being executed, she is all alone and he doubts she can do anything, telling his friend to let her go for his sake. Elsewhere, Suzy finds his sister, Yinger, telling her to come back to the Cloud Palace because he has something to say. She tries to play it off, asking if he needs her help with his punishment, but he isn't joking. She cheerfully tells him to handle his own business and leaves him to it. Inside the Cloud Palace, Suzy orders the servants to stay outside and finally confronts Yinger, his patience worn thin. He demands she stop pretending and tells her to stay away from Jun Liai, questioning why she won't listen when everyone knows Jun Liai is a cold-blooded killer. Yinger just winks, playfully suggesting he close his eyes if he can't bear to watch. She serves him tea, trying to calm him down by insisting that Jun Liai isn't what he thinks and that she trusts him completely. This is the last straw. Suzy slams his cup down, enraged by the rumors of Jun Liai's calculated rise to power. Yinger leaps to his defense, furiously stating that her lie isn't cold-blooded or calculative and that the rumors are all lies. Her defiance only infuriates her brother more. He calls her stubborn and, as her punishment, confines her to the Cloud Palace until the gathering is over. She panics, crying that being imprisoned is a death sentence and she'll be bored out of her mind. He offers one condition: she can leave if she promises not to see Jun Liai. She scoffs, retorting that she might as well stay locked up then. Her insolence pushes him over the edge, and he storms out, ordering the guards to watch the fifth princess and hold them accountable if she leaves. He leaves her lounging in boredom, but her solitude is interrupted when Jun Liai himself appears, only to be blocked by Suzy. Suzy warns him to stay away, reminding him that Yinger is a princess of Dongyue. Jun Liai is unbothered, calmly stating that since she's his future wife, it's perfectly reasonable for him to visit. Suzy mocks him, pointing out that his father has not agreed to any marriage. Jun Liai simply smiles, confident that he will ask for her hand after the gathering, which will make them brothers. For now, Suzy coldly tells him to keep his distance to protect his sister's reputation, a condition Jun Liai agrees to out of respect for Yinger. Later in Femon Palace, Yinger awakens with a dizzy spell, wondering where she is. Her maid, Kaioyan, rushes in with a drink, explaining that she fell unconscious after drinking and the Crown Prince of Bailing carried her back. Yinger sits bolt upright in shock, demanding to know more. The tale gets worse as Kaioyan explains that she clung to him, tore his clothes, and refused to let go, forcing him to sit with her for nearly an hour. The realization of her drunken antics crashes down on her, and she wails in utter embarrassment, throwing herself under her blankets and ordering everyone out, vowing to hide for the next few days. Over in the Golden Sun Palace, a blonde man playfully teases Jun Liai about getting together with the little lass. Jun Liai ignores him, focused on his painting, even as his friend mentions another girl, Xuanyuan Rongfei, is also interested in him. Jun Liai's tone turns deadly serious as he warns his friend that while he can have any other woman, he will cripple him if he dares to touch Su Qingying. His friend is stunned by his possessiveness, before noticing the painting is of Yinger, accompanied by an incredibly sappy poem. As he reads the heartfelt words aloud, a furious Jun Liai throws an inkstone at his head for being so nosy. After his friend leaves, Jun Liai carefully rolls up the painting, calling for his subordinate Mo Xuan and instructing him to deliver it to Floating Clouds Palace. A sly smile plays on his lips as he reflects that Suzy only forbade him from seeing her, not from sending her gifts. Back at the Floating Clouds Palace, Yinger is stretching lazily as her maid serves her a meal. The maid reports that her wound is recovering well and will soon be healed. Just as Yinger picks up her chopsticks to eat, her attention is caught by the sudden clang of fighting outside her chambers. A commotion outside her chambers startles the princess, who learns from a guard that the Prince Regent Jun Liai's subordinate has been cornered by her own brother's men, sparking a fight. She internally scoffs at her royal brother's overprotective nature, pondering the difficult position she's in between the two most important men in her life. Decisively, she orders the man to be let in, cleverly bypassing her brother's command by pointing out he only banned Jun Liai himself, not his men. A miserable-looking man named Mo Xuan enters, clearly having had a rough time getting past the guards. He kneels and presents a scroll from his master, but the princess feels a pang of disappointment, having secretly hoped for gold bars. Unrolling it, she's stunned to find a beautiful portrait of herself, accompanied by a swoon-worthy love poem. A warm blush creeps onto her cheeks as she marvels at Jun Liai's hidden talents, admitting to herself that even after just half a day, she's already missing that devil. Vowing that a gift must be returned with sincerity, she calls Mo Xuan back and sits at her desk, a mischievous idea flashing in her mind. A wicked grin spreads across her face as she begins to draw with frantic energy, much to the confusion and pity of her attendant and Mo Xuan waiting outside. Elsewhere in a dark clinic, a woman named Su Qingying has a rude awakening as a lecherous man tries to assault her. With a furious roar, she drives a blade into his chest. As he begs for his life, she coldly informs him it's too late, decapitating him with a blast of raw power. Looking at the severed head with disgust, she obliterates the rest of his body, her mind consumed by a burning rage directed at the one she blames for her downfall, vowing to return the humiliation 100-fold. Back in the palace, the princess lets out a massive sneeze, wondering who could be cursing her. With a triumphant flourish, she declares her work finished. She presents Mo Xuan with a massive bundle containing 72 drawings, sternly instructing him to deliver them to Jun Liai and warning him not to peek. Mo Xuan accepts the hefty scroll and flees over the rooftops, looking utterly terrified by whatever he's carrying. At the Golden Sun Palace, Mo Xuan reports the princess's happiness before presenting the return gift. Jun Liai's curiosity is piqued as he takes the massive scroll and begins to unroll it. His face darkens as the title is revealed, The 72 Poses of Spring Palace, a collection of shockingly explicit drawings. He clenches his fist, muttering that she's getting too bold, yet a smirk plays on his lips as he tells Mo Xuan to assure the princess he will study her gift very carefully. The princess, meanwhile, is rolling on the floor in hysterics, imagining Jun Liai's utter embarrassment. Her laughter is cut short when Mo Xuan suddenly returns, cryptically handing her another scroll and telling her to see the Prince Regent's reply for herself. Annoyed at being left in suspense, she quickly unrolls the new scroll. Her face instantly turns beet red as she stares at a highly detailed, steamy drawing of her and Jun Liai in a bath together. Clenching her fists in fury, she realizes he has audaciously reversed the prank on her, and she roars his name in pure rage. A restless prince tosses and turns, his mind a storm of insomnia fueled by a single woman, Su Qingying. He sits up, utterly frustrated, questioning if he's been bewitched, as her image relentlessly haunts his waking thoughts and denies him sleep. His mind drifts to a recent conversation with his brother, recalling the news that the cunning and powerful Lan Xiniao has escaped. He'd been assured that a hunt was underway, recognizing her as a far greater threat than Lan Bo ever was. With the grand gathering of the four great nations approaching, he had ordered his men to be meticulous, scouring every clinic and corner of the imperial city for the injured fugitive, determined to leave no loopholes in their security. The discussion then turned to the dangerous entanglement between Jun Lai and Su Qingying, with his brother fretting over a potential alliance that would corner their Western Ming. Yet the prince remained confident, certain that Jun Lai was not so foolish and that the looming shadow of Su Zi was a problem far more immediate for their rival. They briefly spoke of Qi's heartbreak, a pain born from the betrayal of a trusted person, a wound only time could heal. But privately, the prince harbored deep suspicions about Jun Lai's true intentions, finding the man's motives increasingly opaque and difficult to read. The next day, Jun Lai correctly predicted that Yinger would not let his recent provocations slide. Sure enough, a servant arrived bearing a gift from her, an umbrella. He was momentarily baffled by the gift on a perfectly sunny day, before the true, audacious meaning dawned on him. It was her clever, indirect way of taunting him that he couldn't get hard. He couldn't help but smile at her boldness. Over the following days, the two engaged in a subtle war, exchanging gifts that onlookers mistook for lovers' sweet nothings, their deepening bond becoming a source of irritation for her brother. Soon, the gathering of the four nations began at Singing Cloud's Mountain, and Yinger reveled in her newfound freedom. Upon learning it was a grand hunting event, she immediately pleaded with her brother Qi to let her participate. He refused, citing the danger, but she was relentless, promising she would stay within the designated hunting zone and not go too far. He finally caved, unable to resist her pleas, but warned her that she would be punished if she broke her promise. A condition she gleefully accepted while mentally plotting to have all the fun she wanted. Suddenly, Jun Lai appeared, startling Qi. Yinger playfully grabbed Jun Lai, chiding him for teasing her while she was grounded. He simply pulled her into a tight embrace, whispering that he had missed her. She pouted, reminding him he had missed their agreed-upon meeting, but his simple reply that he missed her too melted her frustration. Their reunion was cut short by another woman, who scolded Jun Lai for his improper display of affection in public. Annoyed, Yinger told her own brother to leave them alone, claiming he was disrupting her date. Qi, feeling like an unwanted third wheel, could only watch from his horse as they continued their sweet exchange. His companion asked what he was looking at, prompting Qi to reflect on his past indifference towards her, admitting he only realized her importance after she had already given her heart to someone else, leaving him with no right to pursue her. When asked if he regretted it, he simply stated that she had found someone better. His companion scoffed at the notion of love, calling it a distraction for a ruler, and rode off in a huff. The hunt was about to begin, but not before the emperor launched into a long, tedious speech about the rules, causing Yinger to nearly fall asleep on her horse from sheer boredom. Noticing she was overheating, Junlai discreetly used his powers to send a cool breeze her way. Instantly refreshed, she realized it was his doing, and told him to stop. Losing all patience, she then boldly interrupted the emperor, loudly asking if his majesty wasn't thirsty. A stunned silence fell over the crowd. Another ruler burst into laughter, praising her guts for saying what everyone was thinking. Doubling down, Yinger pointed out that while he stood in the shade, the rest of them were being roasted by the sun and demanded they start the event immediately. The emperor, thoroughly embarrassed and displeased, had no choice but to concede. With a final blast from the horns, he declared the hunt officially open. The riders surged forward, galloping into the forest. Yinger urged her horse on, quickly pulling ahead of the pack with Junlai right beside her. Moments later, a rider spotted a deer, shouting for everyone to see who had the superior archery skills. Another man laughed, claiming the deer as his own, as he pulled back his bow and let an arrow fly straight and true. A playful rivalry takes a sharp turn as Su Qingying's arrow is intercepted midair, another shaft knocking it aside to strike a tree. She glances over with a competitive smirk at Jun Liai, before knocking another arrow and letting it fly with practiced ease. This time her aim is true, felling a deer with a single shot, leaving her companions completely baffled by her skill. She laughs triumphantly, feigning an apology for stealing the kill. Her eyes then catch a fat eagle circling overhead, and a hungry glint appears as she imagines it boiled with snow ginseng. Despite Jun Liai's urgent plea for her to stop, she ignores him, pulling back her bowstring. But just as she releases, another arrow, faster and more precise, shoots past hers, piercing the eagle and sending it plummeting from the sky. A furious Zhao Tianqi rides up, recognizing his prized bird, Wind Chaser, and demands to know what the Prince Regent of Northern Ling is doing. Jun Liai, with a calm smile, steps in, explaining he was merely helping his consort defend her kill since she wanted the fat eagle for herself. Su Qingying inwardly panics, realizing she's in trouble again with the stupid king whose fish she ate last time. Facing the enraged prince, she challenges him, asking if the eagle has his name branded on it and how he can prove ownership of a random bird. Zhao Tianqi splutters that everyone saw him release it, but she scoffs, suggesting it probably just flew off to find a mate. The crowd is struck silent by her audacity. She presses her advantage, questioning the logic of setting a pet free in the middle of a hunting ground, leaving Zhao Tianqi speechless as onlookers realize that Xuanyuan Liuachen has finally met his nemesis in arguments. Later, as the hunt winds down, a courtier notes to Xuanyuan Liuachen that he seems to be losing the competition again this year, to which the prince retorts he wouldn't if he spent less time in brothels. They decide it's getting late and time to head back, but quickly realize that Jun Liai and Su Qingying are not among the returning group. With the sun setting and the forest becoming more dangerous, Xuanyuan Liuachen is urged to send a search party for the two nobles. He agrees, understanding the gravity of the situation, and dispatches palace guards with strict orders not to cause a scene or alert the other nation's representatives. Meanwhile, deep in the woods, Su Qingying joyfully bags another kill, this time a wild boar. Asking Jun Liai if he thinks they'll win, he dryly remarks that her horse won't last much longer under the weight of all her prey. She's momentarily distracted by how handsome he is, feeling an urge to pounce on him. But he interrupts her reverie, his eyes filled with suspicion as he asks what secrets she's hiding, noting he's never heard of her hunting before. Just then, the sky darkens and a sudden downpour begins. Deciding they have enough for the day, they mount a single horse to head back. Jun Liai pulls her close, telling her they can share body heat against the cold, which makes her blush furiously as she feels anything but cold. Their quiet moment is shattered when an arrow flies from the shadows, an assassination attempt by Zhao Tianqi, who is determined not to let her leave alive. Jun Liai's expression turns to ice as he snarls that no one dares lay a finger on his woman. With a flick of his sword, he redirects the incoming arrow, sending it straight into an attacker's knee. Zhao Tianqi cries out in pain as his guards help him onto his horse to flee. But Su Qingying isn't done with him. She kicks up a discarded bow, knocks an arrow with cold fury, and fires a perfect shot that hits the escaping prince squarely in the back. She curses that the idiot is only good at running away and vows to settle the score later. Turning to check on Jun Liai, she finds him looking grim, stating his hatred for the smell of blood. Suddenly, he pulls her into a tight hug, his body tense, whispering that an ominous presence is near. He warns her these are trained assassins, far deadlier than Zhao Tianqi's men. She wonders if Xuanyuan Liuachen sent them, but he dismisses it, certain the other prince is worried for their safety. Just as he senses their arrival, a massive explosion rocks the ground beneath them. Su Qingying is stunned, wondering how gunpowder could exist in this era. When an assassin lunges through the smoke, Jun Liai shoves her out of harm's way, taking the slash meant for her. He holds her, frantically asking if she's hurt. She tearfully denies it, claiming sand just got in her eyes. A disembodied voice cuts through the rain, offering Lan Xiniao her life and promising to wait for her, causing Su Qingying's eyes to widen in shock and recognition. The crown prince of Eastern Yu scoffs, questioning if Su Qingying could possibly be the true leader of Moon Palace, remarking that she looks nothing like the legendary Yunling. Unfazed, Qingying waves a dismissive hand, stating she couldn't care less who Yunling is. Her only goal is to find the ancient moon zithern. Seating herself with the instrument, a grim determination settles over her. This is the first time in 2 lifetimes she's been so utterly cornered, and it would be a true embarrassment if she couldn't even play the required scores. The onlookers watch with skepticism, wondering if she actually intends to play the legendary weapon. Qingying closes her eyes, focusing her entire being, remembering the key to its power lies in willpower and the constant flow of Kai. She strums, and a terrifying energy explodes from the zithern, causing the very heavens to rumble with thunder and lightning. The prince and his companion are stunned by the sheer power radiating from the instrument, forcing them to question if she really is Yunling after all. Lan Xiniao, however, refuses to believe it, insisting that she knows Yinger better than anyone and this is impossible. A member of Moon Palace mockingly tells her the truth is right before her eyes, while the Prince of Eastern Yu wonders why this woman doesn't remember being Yunling. Qingying ignores them all, her fingers dancing across the strings as she unleashes a devastating sonic attack. Purple energy slashes through the assassins, cutting them down where they stand. Even Qingying is impressed, remarking on the zithern's incredible power. Lan Xiniao watches in disbelief as her men are slaughtered, realizing she is about to lose yet again. Driven by rage and desperation, she clenches her fist, pulls out a black explosive orb, and hurls it directly at Qingying. The prince acts in a flash, grabbing Qingying and leaping away from the blast, which engulfs the forest in a fiery explosion. Landing safely in his arms, Qingying glares into the flames, her patience finally gone. She declares that Lan Xiniao has a death wish and that she will send her to hell with a song called Ambush from 10 Sides. But before she can act, another explosion rips through the chaos. One of her companions tearfully reports that he has died. Her brother tries to pull her away, telling her it's too dangerous, but Qingying is consumed by grief. She shakes her head, her voice hollow, stating that he won't be coming back. She promised Junlai they would be together through everything, and now that he's dead, she must follow him. With a final, desperate look, she breaks free and leaps into the heart of the inferno. The prince screams her name and his men immediately move to chase after her. One of his subordinates urges caution, saying they can't rush in blindly and risk their own lives, but the prince furiously shoves him away, roaring that he can't just leave Qingying behind. He tries to follow, but Lan Xiniao blocks his path, her sword drawn. He coldly orders her to get lost. With tears streaming down her face, she asks him why he loves that wench so much, questioning what Qingying has that she doesn't after all these years of waiting. The prince is indifferent, asking how he could ever be expected to love someone so cruel. She screams in anguish, unable to comprehend why he can't return her love. He declares that Qingying is the best and nothing compares to her, but Lan Xiniao retorts that his love is one-sided, as Qingying only loves Junlai. He doesn't care, his love is enough, and all he wants is for her to be alive. He again orders her to move, but she refuses, bellowing that if she can't have what she wants, neither can anyone else. Calling herself a lunatic that he created, she channels her internal force and lunges at him. As their swords clash, the prince's eyes widen as he spots an assassin behind her. He shoves her aside, shouting a warning. But it's too late. The assassin's blade meant for her sinks into his own body. As another explosion rocks the battlefield, he catches her falling form. Critically injured, Lan Xiniao stares up at him, asking why he saved her. With her last breath, she confesses that she truly loves him. The prince holds her, begging her not to die, but she knows her wounds are fatal. She reveals everything, that her heart has been his since they first met, and that she was the one who replaced Su Qingying 5 years ago, deceiving him into thinking she was his savior. He tells her to stop, that he already knows, his own tears mixing with the rain. She shows him a hairpin, the first gift he ever gave her, which she has treasured all this time. She admits her jealousy of Qingying for winning his love and for meeting him first, and then, seeing his tears, she says she feels blessed to die in his arms. Her hand goes limp and falls away. The prince lets out a heart-wrenching scream, calling her name over and over. His subordinate Qi grabs his arm, telling him they have to leave before the place collapses. But the prince is lost in a sea of guilt, whispering that he is the one who harmed her. In a swift motion, he strikes Qi on the back of the neck, knocking him unconscious, before lifting Lan Xiniao's body and walking deeper into the flames, determined to face the end with her. 2 days have passed since the cataclysmic explosion on Singing Clouds Mountain, and a fragile ray of sunlight finally breaks through the gloomy sky. But for Suzy and the others, there is no relief, only the gnawing emptiness of loss, as there's still no sign of Jun Liai or Su Qingying. While Shangyu Jingheng has locked himself away in desolate grief, Suzy personally leads the search, her heart a cold stone in her chest. In a dark cave, a man named Yu Feng watches over an unconscious Suzy, his own face etched with worry. It's been 2 days since he found her and she still hasn't woken up. She murmurs in a troubled sleep, caught in a nightmare where she begs Lai not to jump, not to leave her. Suddenly her eyes fly open as she jolts upright, gasping for air. Her first frantic thought is of him, and she clutches Yufeng's arm, desperately asking where Lai is. Yufeng can only look away, explaining that the chaos was too great. He only managed to protect her. Suzi's world shatters at the implication. She refuses to believe it, insisting that a man as powerful as Jun Liai couldn't have died. He would never abandon her. A frantic energy seizes her, and she scrambles to her feet, vowing to find him herself, certain that he must be alive somewhere. Yufeng tries to stop her, reminding her that her injuries haven't recovered. But she shoves him aside. She runs out into the twilight forest, screaming Jun Liai's name, her voice cracking with desperation. Yufeng grabs her arm, warning her that it's too dangerous to go deeper. But she smacks his hand away with a furious command to get lost. He blocks her path, his expression resolute, stating that he won't let her continue. He looks down at his hand, a flicker of pain in his eyes as he murmurs that this is the first time she's ever struck him with such force, and it was all for Jun Liai. He scoops her into his arms and carries her back as she finally breaks down, her tears falling silently in the dim light. The next day dawns, and Suzy is already out again, her calls for Lai echoing through the desolate landscape. This becomes her new reality, searching tirelessly until she collapses from sheer exhaustion, only for Yufeng to find her and carry her back to safety. By the fourth day, her strength gives way to heartbreaking despair. She sobs, begging Jun Liai to stop hiding and promising she won't be mad. She reminds him of his promises, that they would grow old together, that he would take her as his wife, and collapses to her knees, accusing him of being selfish for stealing her heart only to leave. And just as she's consumed by grief, a thought strikes her. She fumbles in her robes and pulls out Jun Liai's brilliant jade pendant. A legend says it glows when he is near. As she holds it, the pendant suddenly leaps from her hand and flies off into the distance. Hope, sharp and piercing, ignites in her chest. She and Yufeng exchange a glance and immediately give chase. An hour later, the glowing pendant leads them to a figure lying motionless on the forest floor. It's Jun Liai. Yufeng rushes to his side, marveling at the sheer willpower it must have taken to survive a fall in 7 days without aid. He checks his pulse, his face growing grim as he finds Jun Liai's true Kai is in utter chaos, a life-threatening state. He explains to a terrified Suzy that his body is severely damaged, likely from the poison flaring up. She instructs him to handle the pulse while she takes care of the rest. 3 days later, Jun Liai remains unconscious. Suzy tenderly tries to spoon water into his mouth, her anxiety mounting with every passing moment. Yufeng tries to calm her, stating that falling from a cliff and injuring his viscera would naturally keep him unconscious, but he'll be fine. His calm demeanor infuriates her. She snaps that it's easy for him to talk when he isn't the one injured and angrily reminds him that she's not his leader. He insists he's been searching for her for months, offering an ancient zither as proof he couldn't be mistaken. Utterly fed up, Suzy shoves the instrument back at him, telling him to stop his annoying nagging. He remains placid, urging her to leave Jun Liai and return with him, as their organization avoids royal politics. But she cuts him off, ordering him to shut up and watch the grilling fish so it doesn't burn. Just then, a faint groan breaks the tension. Suzy spins around to see Jun Liai's eyes fluttering open. Tears of relief stream down her face as she rushes to his side, pouring out all her pent-up fear and love. She asks how he could abandon her, how he could break their promise to die together, crying that she hadn't dared to sleep for fear he'd disappear. She begs him to say something, anything. Jun Liai looks at her, his blue eyes filled with a placid, innocent confusion. He softly asks why she's crying in front of him, his next words a dagger to her heart. Who are you? A desperate cry hangs in the air as Su Qingying calls out to Lai, but the man she loves stares back with the vacant eyes of a stranger, blankly asking if Lai is his name. Her world shatters at his confusion. He truly doesn't recognize her. In a panic, she calls for Yufeng, who rushes over and checks Lai's pulse, finding it weak but otherwise strangely normal. He speculates that Lai must have suffered a head injury during their fall, resulting in memory loss. When Su Qingying anxiously asks about his recovery, Yufeng can only admit that he has no idea if it's permanent. Suddenly, Lai's entire demeanor shifts to that of a petulant child, whining that his uncle is pinching him too hard. Seeing his aggrieved face, Su Qingying's heart melts and her protective instincts flare. She furiously smacks Yufeng across the head, accusing him of bullying Lai now that he's vulnerable. Yufeng yelps in pain, protesting his innocence and demanding she let go. He insists he was only checking a pulse, but his words are lost as Lai points a finger at him and declares that Yufeng is his father. While Yufeng sputters in rage at the absurd accusation, Lai quickly hides behind Su Qingying, whimpering that he's scared. She immediately consoles him, turning her glare back on the baffled Yufeng and warning him that he must be tired of living. Internally, Yufeng seethes, realizing the despicable Jun Liai is faking his childishness just to make his life miserable. As if on cue, Lai sticks his tongue out cheekily before announcing to his sis that he's hungry. Su Qingying is completely won over, promising to grill him some fish right away. Yu Feng holds up their meager dinner of 2 fish, pointing out there isn't enough for 3 people. But Su Qingying simply snatches them from his hands. She orders him to go catch more fish and gather firewood, leaving him to stare out into the night, utterly defeated and alone. Later, Lai continues his act, telling Su Qingying that he's sleepy. She tells him to rest, but he complains that it's too cold and pleads for her to sleep with him. Su Qingying blushes, her mind racing with the impropriety of it all. But his childish pout is too much to resist, and she relents, pulling him into a comforting hug. The next morning, Zheng Liai's eyes snap open, his memory and cold demeanor fully restored. He sees Su Qingying beside him and remembers pushing her away from the explosion. A storm of anger and worry swirling within him as he calls her a stupid woman for following him into such danger. He gently moves her sleeping form off of him, only to be startled by a frustrating heat rising within him. As she stirs and wishes him a good morning, he grabs her, pounces, and declares that he wants to have her. Stunned by his sudden aggression, she resists, asking what he's doing. But he merely smirks, thinking this little vixen won't escape him. The fog in her mind clears as she realizes he remembers her now. A fact confirmed when he pulls her into a possessive embrace. Just as he warns her not to test his willpower, Yu Feng arrives with breakfast, shouting for Zheng Liai to release his leader. With a casual flick of his wrist, Zheng Liai sends a projectile flying that strikes Yu Feng, causing him to stumble and fall face first on a Zheng Liai's boot. Enraged by the contact, Zheng Liai kicks him away, demanding if he has a death wish. Su Qingying watches in horror at his sudden violence, quickly intervening and reminding him that Yu Feng saved his life. After settling the dispute, Zheng Liai turns on her, demanding to know why she followed him. She looks him dead in the eye, reminding him of their oath to face life and death together. She confesses her fear of losing him and her desire to fight by his side, not as someone to be protected, but as an equal. Visibly moved, he pulls her into his arms, telling his silly girl he loves her so much he would drag her with him even in death. She vows never to regret her decision, and they embrace tightly, a silent promise passing between them as a battered Yu Feng looks on. Lost and walking in circles, the group's hope begins to fade until Yinger declares there's one place they haven't searched. With sharp logic, she explains that every living thing needs water, and by following a stream upstream, they will find a way out of the dreaded forest. Her confident reasoning convinces the leader, who agrees to follow her plan. As they walk, Lai compliments Yinger on her impressive knowledge of the wilderness, a small smile playing on his lips. She tries to brush it off, claiming she merely read it in some books, but Lai's gaze sharpens, noting that she doesn't even blink when she tells a lie. Caught off guard, she stammers as he softly tells her he won't pry into her secrets, but he asks her not to lie to him. Seeing his sincerity, Yinger confesses that it's not that she doesn't want to tell him, but that she doesn't know how, pleading for more time. Lai gently reassures her, promising to wait for as long as she needs. Internally, she vows to tell him everything one day, just not yet. Elsewhere, a worried official learns that there is still no news of the 5th princess, and even the crown prince is frantically searching the base of a cliff for her. The official gives a grim order: continue the search, for he must see her dead or alive. A concerned woman brings him food, reminding him that he hasn't eaten in days, and that even Xuanyuan Liuaqin has dispatched his elite dragon shadow guardians to find King Ying. But he can only rub his weary head in despair. Back in the forest, the eerie silence of the path gives the leader a strange feeling. Yinger points out the complete absence of animals, a stark contrast to their journey before. She then detects an odd smell in the air. And when Lai asks what it is, she immediately identifies it as sulfur. She explains its pungent, harmful nature, deducing that a large deposit must be nearby for any life to remain at all. They press on and discover a massive mound of the yellow powder. The leader, Yu Feng, raises a hand to destroy the dangerous substance, but Yinger grabs him, furiously threatening to skin him alive if he dares to touch it. Confused, he reminds her that she said it was poisonous, but she clarifies that while it's toxic, it's also a priceless treasure. Intrigued, Lai asks what she'll use it for, and she cheekily calls it a secret weapon capable of turning the tides of a losing battle. She sternly warns Yu Feng not to get any ideas, and he quickly promises he would never dare go against her wishes. Their path soon leads them to a dead end, trapped between sheer, smooth cliff faces. As Yu Feng laments that they can't climb out unless they can fly, a spark of genius ignites in Yinger's eyes. She orders them to gather tough bamboos, announcing her audacious plan: they are going to fly out. Yu Feng scoffs at the idea, but she cuts him off, turning to Lai with a mischievous glint in her eye and telling him to strip. Before a stunned Lai can react, she's already tugging at his robes. Just then, Yu Feng returns and misinterprets the scene entirely, earning a swift kick from an exasperated Yinger who calls him a pervert and sends him off to get the bamb. She then proceeds to peel off some of Yu Feng's own outer robes, leaving both men speechless. while Yu Feng begrudgingly chops down bamboo. Yinger expertly lashes the poles together with strips of their clothing, constructing a large, winged frame. With a final knot, she declares the strange contraption finished. Lai correctly guesses it's a kite meant for flying, and she confirms it's a glider, a simple but powerful tool for their escape. Ignoring Yu Feng's worried protests that it will fall, she rallies them for takeoff, eager to see the shock on King Xuanyuan's face. On her count, they run together toward the cliff's edge and launch themselves into the open air, soaring into the sky. Lai is in awe, admitting he never believed humans could fly, but now sees the truth with his own eyes. He asks how she comes up with these wonders, and she casually mentions planes from her world that carry hundreds of people. His eyes widen at her words, the implication that she is from another world finally sinking in. As they glide over the imperial city, a crowd below points up, mistaking the glider for a giant bird with people on it. Yinger asks Lai if he's having fun, but his unenthusiastic reply that it's just different from his lightness skill makes her nervous. Spotting the palace below, she sees her royal brother by a pond and begins waving frantically, shouting his name. Down below, her brother hears her voice but dismisses it as a hallucination born from grief, until his attendant confirms hearing it too. A desperate hope surges through him as he whips his head around, anxiously searching the sky for his sister's return. A shout echoes from the sky, and below, Su Qingying's maids realize with a start that the voice belongs to their princess. Her royal brother Xuanyuan looks up in stunned disbelief, relieved to see she's alive, while her maid's ear sobs with joy before absurdly asking if the princess is now a ghost floating in the heavens. Annoyed, Qingying scolds her for cursing her the moment she's returned. Just as a commotion erupts below, an official announces the grand return of the fifth princess, accompanied by the prince regent of Northern Ling. The emperor snaps that he isn't blind and can see perfectly well, while another prince remarks to Xuanyuan that his sister certainly knows how to make an entrance. Qingying greets her grumpy brother with a cheerful smile, teasing that he's gained weight while she suffered and that he must compensate her for her troubles. This only sours Xuanyuan's mood further, as the other prince smirks, enjoying his misfortune. As they walk, Qingying spots her subordinate from the Moon Palace, Yu Feng, and subtly orders him to leave. She knows he wants to see her but tells him to wait until the gathering is over for his safety. Yu Feng understands completely. As a commoner, his presence would only be a burden to her in this royal court. With a nod of understanding, he leaps onto the roof and vanishes into the wind. The news of their return spreads like wildfire, drawing ambassadors from all over who wish to curry favor with the powerful Prince Regent, Jun Laiyi. That evening, while Qingying is devouring a feast, her brother cautiously asks her about the leader of the Moon Palace. She plays dumb, asking if he honestly believes she could be such a figure, reminding him they grew up together. Xuanyuan is left speechless by her carefree attitude, dropping the subject and simply warning her to be careful. He then delivers the crushing news. The gathering has ended and they will be returning home to Eastern Yu tomorrow. Qingying freezes, shocked and devastated at the thought of leaving Jun Lai so soon after finding him. Her brother frowns, thinking she's become completely muddle-headed over him. Later, soaking in her bath, Qingying stews in frustration over their impending separation, hating the idea of a long-distance relationship and imagining all the ways it could go wrong. She fumes that if she weren't a princess, she would just kidnap Lai and take him home with her. A sudden chuckle from behind the screen makes her heart stop. Lai asks where exactly she plans on taking him. She shrieks, calling him a pervert and demanding he leave her chambers at once. He steps out, completely unfazed, teasingly reminding her there's no part of her he hasn't seen and that she'll be his consort soon enough. Vexed, she retorts that she's not marrying him, but his expression turns deadly serious as he demands to know who else she would dare marry. Flustered, she points out he hasn't even properly asked for her hand from her father. He laughs, stepping closer and asking if she's that eager to marry him. Forgetting her modesty, she blurts out that she is. Overcome with emotion, he cups her face, confessing he's elated because he's given his entire heart to her and could never let her go. He leans in and kisses her deeply, only to bite her lip as a playful punishment for her words. He then reveals his plan. He will send a guard to protect her in secret while he returns to Northern Ling. Her face falls with disappointment, but he gently pats her head, explaining that he must go back to his own kingdom to formally ask her father for her hand in marriage. Her eyes widen with joyous surprise, as he admits he needs to act quickly before the other flies, circling her get any ideas. The next morning, Xuanyuan is utterly confused by his sister's radiant happiness, a stark contrast to her gloom from the night before. She beams, telling him she's just excited to see their father again, though secretly she's reliving Lai's promise in her mind. At the farewell ceremony, she and Lai exchange a silent, loving gaze across the grand hall. The event is soured, however, when an official announces that the Crown Prince of Southern Jiang has already left, citing illness. Xuanyuan clenches his fist, muttering that the wretched woman clearly hasn't had enough trouble yet. Amidst the clinking glasses of a royal banquet, a cold voice cuts through the chatter, interrupting the festivities. The fifth princess of Eastern Yu, Yinger, scans the room with an icy gaze, demanding to know the whereabouts of Zhao Tianqi, the crown prince of southern Jiang. An immediate silence falls over the hall as all eyes turn to her. She lets out a contemptuous scoff, sneering that the coward got away too quickly after his failed assassination attempt, and that he was truly asking for a death wish by ambushing her. Murmurs erupt through the crowd as they realize she was the one who shot Zhao Tianqi with an arrow, questioning her audacity to attack the prince of another nation. Her own brother, the Emperor of Eastern Yu, looks at her with concern, asking what happened. Before she can answer, the reigning monarch questions him directly, demanding to know why his sister injured a foreign prince. Yinger steps forward, her voice ringing with defiance, turning the question back on him and suggesting he should ask Zhao Tianqi why he came after them with a cotter of assassins. This revelation sends her brother into a fury, and he slams his fist on the table, enraged that Zhao Tianqi dared to trample on their dignity and lay a hand on his sister. From across the room, the Prince of Western Ming chimes in with contempt, stating that Zhao Tianqi had it coming and that Yinger would have been justified even if she had killed him. A calm, almost chilling smile spreads across Zhun Liu's face as he leans back, revealing that he has already dispatched his fastest men to hunt the prince down. Yinger is momentarily shocked, worried that he's stolen her revenge. As the emperor asks Zhun Liu if he actually killed him, Zhun Liu casually explains that he wouldn't go that far, but he did snap the tendons in his limbs and remove another part of his body just to appease some of his anger. The shocking brutality of his words plunges the hall into silence once more, but the Prince of Western Ming erupts in delight, declaring it a fitting punishment for the idiot and asking Yinger if she feels better now. A dark smirk plays on her lips as she agrees that Zhao Tianqi still got off easy. Her brother looks at her, a hint of hesitation in his eyes, and begins to ask if she thinks she was too cruel. She cuts him off instantly, declaring that she was born heartless and has no conscience. In her world, it is better to be the cruel one than to be the victim. Her brutal honesty impresses Zhun Liu, who thinks to himself what a good principle that is, proudly claiming her as his woman and vowing to turn the world upside down for her if he must. Yinger then asks her brother just how many assassins Zhao Tianqi brought, and a chill runs down his spine as he reveals there were 200 men prepared to die, shuddering at the thought of what might have happened without Zhun Liu's protection. She reassures him that it wasn't his fault, as enemies would always find a way to attack her. The tension is finally broken when the ruler raises his cup, wishing everyone a safe journey home and peace between the nations. The time for departure arrives, with carriages and horses lining the palace courtyard. As Zhun Liu tells a reluctant Yinger it's time to go, he privately muses how she can't seem to stay out of the spotlight. He promises her gently that they will meet again soon, playfully warning her that if she doesn't come for him, he'll make her regret it. She turns to leave, but as her carriage begins to pull away, she suddenly stops it, leaps out and runs back into Zhun Liu's arms. He smiles, asking if she's that reluctant to leave him, but she answers with a passionate kiss, right in front of the stunned onlookers. The kiss deepens as if they are the only two people in the world. When she finally pulls away, she warns him that he must come for her in Eastern Yu, threatening to hunt him down if he breaks his promise. Zhun Liu solemnly raises his hand, swearing an oath that she will be the only one for him. Satisfied, she smiles and promises to wait, before rejoining her brother in their carriage. As they ride away, Yinger sings with unrestrained joy, while Zhun Liu watches her go. Later, the Eastern Yu Emperor's companion remarks on what a hidden gem Yinger is, noting that Zhun Liu was the first to see her worth. The emperor scoffs, dismissing her as a shameless and despicable pebble before complaining about his other troublesome sister, Rongfei, who has run off with a known womanizer. At the city outskirts, the companion points out teacher King Ying's carriage, urging the emperor to see her off, but he refuses with a heavy heart, stating that he lost his right to be with her when he nearly caused her death and that Zhun Liu is better for her. Just then, Rongfei herself appears, grabbing his arm and desperately begging to know when she can see Shangyue and Jinghong again. The emperor firmly tells her the man is no good for her, but she declares that he is the only one she likes and refuses to give up. He warns her that a man like that will only hurt her, but she vows not to give up until the man himself tells her he doesn't love her. Defeated by her stubbornness, the emperor sighs and agrees to help her one last time, much to her delight. As Shangyue and Jinghong arrives, a hopeful young woman calls out his name, waving eagerly from a rooftop. But he remains completely unfazed, his companion noting that his little admirer is here. Shangyue and Jinghong coldly dismisses her as an annoying pest, bragging that he has plenty of prettier lovers and isn't interested in her sincerity. He questions his friend's monogamous mindset, declaring he'd only consider one woman if she were Su Qingying, but immediately follows up with the cutting remark that she isn't interested in him anyway. The admirer Rongfei breaks down in tears, convinced he's ignoring her on purpose to inflict pain. Her brother can only comfort her, his heart aching for his sister's unrequited love. Half a month later, the royal entourage is on its way home, and a weary Su Qingying peeks out from her carriage, complaining about the long journey. Her brother, the crown prince, reassures her that they've finally arrived. As they enter the city, they're greeted by a massive, cheering crowd welcoming the prince home. Thinking the adoration is for her too, Qingying throws open her curtains and waves enthusiastically, telling everyone they don't need to be so flashy. Her maid Zira tries to gently explain that the welcome is only for his highness, but it's too late. The moment the crowd sees Qingying, their cheers turn to venomous shouts, demanding the shameless princess get lost and questioning why the demon has returned. Vegetables and insults are hurled at her carriage, leaving Qingying utterly baffled and depressed. Her maid has to remind her of the tyrannical deeds of her past self, abusing her power, forcing handsome men to do her bidding, and even burning down a restaurant in a fit of rage. The revelation hits Qingying hard. She's inherited the life of a monster, and she grimly accepts that she'll have to do something to fix it. As they reach the gates, her brother tries to console her, but she meets his concern with surprising maturity. She admits she was willful and horrible in the past, understanding the people's hatred but vowing that those days are over. She is determined to become a good princess and make amends, a resolution that leaves her brother stunned by her sudden growth. Their arrival is announced in the main halls where they greet their royal father. But the reunion is immediately soured by the second princess, Su Maksu, who accuses Qingying of forgetting her manners. Her mother, the virtuous consort, quickly backs her up, passive-aggressively telling Qingying to maintain her composure no matter how angry she is. Qingying internally recognizes them as tough opponents, already trying to paint her as arrogant. The emperor's face darkens at their words, but before he can intervene, Qingying sweetly addresses her father, asking if laws aren't made by humans. She explains she was just so overjoyed to see him that she forgot her manners, a cheeky response that makes the emperor realize she's no longer the foolish girl she used to be. He laughs, gratified, telling her she's grown taller and prettier. Qingying playfully teases him, asking if he's indirectly praising himself, which only makes him happier. The other consorts and princesses watch with simmering resentment, realizing she now has her father's favor. One consort tries a new tactic, mentioning Qingying's betrothal to Prince Rui of Western Ming, a notoriously cruel jab since everyone knows he despises her. But Qingying calmly drops a bombshell. She's canceled the engagement. The court is thrown into chaos. The fourth princess mocks her, wondering how she'll ever get married now that she's been rejected, while another sneers that she would have committed suicide from the shame. Qingying's voice cuts through the noise like a whip, her eyes blazing. She clarifies with sharp precision that she was the one who did the canceling, not the other way around. Her sudden wit leaves her siblings speechless. Sumaksu tries to call her a liar, but Qingying turns the accusation back on her, asking why she sounds so eager to see her rejected. Just as the argument reaches a fever pitch, the emperor explodes with rage, roaring for everyone to shut up. He glares at his scheming family, demanding to know if they think he's dead to be finding fault with his children the very moment they've returned. An aggrieved princess tries to defend herself, but her royal father silences her with a furious roar. He bellows that her cancelled engagement means nothing, as he can still care for his own daughter, and with a threat to ground them all for their sarcasm, a tense silence falls over the court. But the tension breaks as Su Qingying, the fifth princess, masterfully plays the doting daughter, making her father chuckle. Her brother boasts that Yinger is no longer a fool, having brought great honor to their kingdom by winning the first prize at Western Ming. The emperor beams with pride, and Yinger, seizing the moment, challenges him to send someone to investigate her accomplishments if he doubts her. This only makes him laugh harder, declaring his absolute faith in his excellent daughter. From the sidelines, a consort and another princess watch with livid expressions, whispering that the fool has changed. The cordial consort Yan then approaches Yinger, complimenting her newfound maturity, just as the emperor notes her coming-of-age ceremony is near. This blatant favoritism ignites a fire of jealousy in the other princess, who fumes over how her father spoils Yinger even more now that she's smart. Consort Yan tries to assert control, offering to play matchmaker and suggesting the son of the Minister of Justice, inwardly musing with a malicious smile how fun it will be to see how Lai reacts to this news. But Yinger coldly withdraws her hand, telling the consort not to bother. When the consort persists, Yinger's patience snaps, addressing her formally as Consort Yan and questioning if she's so eager to marry her off the moment she's returned. She then lands a devastating blow, asking who gave a mere consort the right to use a princess's given name. Remembering that Consort Yan is the king's shrewdest favorite, Yinger doesn't back down, coolly labeling her as nothing more than her royal father's mistress. The crowd gasps at her audacity. But before anyone can react, Consort Yan puts on a tearful performance, apologizing for her mistake. Yinger, completely unimpressed, rolls her eyes and tells her to quit the act, accusing her of feigning being bullied and warning that she knows her true colors. The emperor watches, a flicker of amusement in his eyes, thinking how sharp and domineering she's become. Yinger then issues a chilling warning to everyone present: stay out of her way, or she will return any malicious favor 100-fold. With that, she sweetly excuses herself from her father and walks away with an air of absolute authority. Back in the sunny palace, her facade drops, and she immediately asks for Mokshuan, her mind consumed with worry for a man named Lai. Her heart aches as she admits she hasn't received a single letter, fearing something happened to him on his journey. Mokshuan tries to soothe her, estimating his master will arrive in another 5 days. But she only sighs, lamenting the pains of a long-distance relationship in this ancient era. Her maid Zir wisely suggests she get some rest. Meanwhile, in the snowy palace, rage erupts as Princess Zur smashes everything in sight. Her mother scolds her for her temper, but Zur is inconsolable, infuriated by how Yinger treated her and wishing she had died abroad. Her mother cautions her, recognizing that Yinger is no longer a simple fool and has become dangerously smart. Zur scoffs, insisting a fool is always a fool. But her mother warns her not to underestimate her opponent, reminding the petulant princess that Yinger wasn't even afraid of consort Yan, and still has the most powerful man in Eastern Yu backing her. Later that night at Sunny Palace, Yinger wakes from her nap famished. Her loyal maid Zir brings in a warm meal she had saved. Just as Yinger is about to take a bite, she slams her chopsticks down, her expression turning icy. She declares there is poison in the food. A terrified Zir can't believe it. Yinger pulls out a silver needle, testing the dishes one by one. The needle remains clean until she dips it into the soup, where it instantly turns a deadly black. Yinger calmly explains the insidious plot. The dishes are harmless alone but become a fatal poison when combined. She decides against telling her father, knowing she has no proof and wanting to keep the enemy in the dark. Instead, she orders Zir to quietly fetch safe food from the imperial kitchen. As her maid rushes off, the scene shifts to a quiet garden at night, where a lone figure is suddenly stopped by the approaching consort Yan. Consort Yan approaches the prince with feigned innocence, only for him to recoil in disgust, warning his father's concubine that meeting in the middle of the night will only cause trouble. He rejects her offer of pastries and tells her to watch her behavior, leaving her dumbfounded as he turns his back on her. As she watches him depart, her attendant suggests they proceed to see His Majesty. Meanwhile, the emperor muses over his daughters, noting Yinger's feisty personality, but his mood sours when consort Yan is announced. He coldly dismisses her and her pastries, claiming to be busy and having her escorted away. Back in the darkness of her own palace, consort Yan prays that the truly horrendous man in her life won't appear. But her plea goes unanswered as she's suddenly pulled into the arms of the second prince, Suhuation. He pins her against a wall, his voice a venomous whisper as he questions why she went behind his back to see another man, asking if he's not enough for her. Terrified, she can only beg for mercy, knowing this supposedly sickly prince is actually the cruelest man in the palace. His madness is on full display as he grabs a candle, seals her meridian point to muffle her screams, and torments her with the hot wax. After his cruel games, Suhuation reveals his true objective. He wants her to help him get close to his own gorgeous half-sister, Su Qingying. He smirks, dismissing her shock by saying it doesn't matter if they share a father. Seeing a desperate path to freedom, consort Yan quickly agrees to his twisted deal, her mind racing with the thought that this is her only way out. 1 month later, Princess Yinger sighs with boredom while playing Go, wondering why a certain Jun Live has forgotten all about her. Her father, the emperor, catches her distraction, and she cheekily admits she'd rather be swimming in the gold of the national treasury. Before she can properly convince him, consort Yan arrives, interrupting their game. Consort Yan presents plans for the upcoming Blossom Gala, giving the emperor an idea. He promises Yinger that if she wins first place, he'll grant any wish she desires, including a visit to the treasury. Yinger is ecstatic, making him swear on his word. Elsewhere, Suhuation's solitude is broken by a guard sent by the emperor. He furiously attacks the man, ordering him to get lost and internally cursing his father for never giving up after all these years. Back at the Go board, the emperor throws a tantrum after losing and shoos Yinger away. Seizing the opportunity, she slyly asks for his exit token to go play outside the palace. Seeing through her scheme, he relents and gives her his personal jade pendant, warning her not to cause any trouble. Yinger joyfully snatches the token, proclaiming her father the best. The news travels fast, and back at her palace, consort Yan learns from her attendant that the fifth princess has been given permission to leave. A new, dangerous plan begins to form in her mind as she sits up, her eyes glinting with newfound purpose. A sly princess sits in her chambers, delighted to hear that the fifth princess is finally going out, a plan already in motion to monitor her every move. She inquires about the crown prince, a dangerous obsession flickering in her eyes, but her attendant quickly reminds her that she is now the Majesty's concubine and should not be so careless. Annoyed by the truth, she dismisses him, her mind swirling with schemes. Meanwhile, in Sunny Palace, the rain pours down, mirroring Su Qingying's depressed mood as her plans for a stroll are ruined. Her maid Zir questions why she would risk going out, knowing how many people hate her. But Su Qingying simply sighs, claiming she's tired of being cooped up. She decides to sleep instead, coldly instructing Zir to chase away anyone looking for trouble without a shred of politeness. Far away in the wilderness borders of northern Ling, a man's journey is halted by the same torrential rain, his glider damaged and his patience wearing thin. He seethes with frustration, trapped for 2 days when he should have been meeting Yinger. His brooding is interrupted by the shouts of bandits ambushing a nearby carriage, their leaders sneering that there's nowhere to run. They cackle about their good luck, demanding valuables and any women from inside the carriage, where a veiled young miss watches with a contemptuous sneer, unimpressed by these fearless nothings. The stranded man's retainer asks if they should help, but he just scoffs, calling the bandits a bunch of maggots. With a casual flick of his fingers, he sends a single leaf whistling through the air, which slices through the bandits like a blade, dropping them in a bloody heap. He then turns and walks away, leaving carnage in his wake. The woman in the carriage is stunned to see her attackers dead, realizing with a grim smile that it was a powerful stranger who acted, not her own people. 2 days later, a spy reports to the scheming princess that Su Qingying has finally left her palace. The news is music to her ears, and she eagerly orders her servant to inform the second prince at once. Su Qingying is at a bustling tea house with Zir, who explains that the establishment belongs to the crown prince. As they prepare to leave, they overhear patrons gossiping about the spoiled princess daring to participate in the Blossom Gala. Intrigued, Su Qingying lingers to listen. The men mock her as a fool with no beauty or brains, while another noblewoman, Jiang Beibei, and her lackey Lai Yun join in the slander, proclaiming Su Qingying is an ugly nobody compared to the talented Miss Jiang. The entire tea house erupts in laughter as Zir fumes with rage. Su Qingying, however, remains perfectly calm. With a subtle, lightning-fast movement, she sends several projectiles flying through the air. Lai Yun screams as her knees buckle, forcing her to the ground in agony. She demands to know who ambushed her, and Jiang Beibei furiously orders the culprit to show themselves. Su Qingying steps forward with a mocking smile, expressing her gratitude that Lai Yun would bow to her. Enraged, Lai Yun accuses her of the attack and lunges forward, only to be sent sprawling by Su Qingying's swift kick. Jiang Beibei shrieks for her men to capture this woman, but Su Qingying merely smirks and challenges them to try. She then reveals the emperor's personal jade pendant, a symbol of absolute authority that freezes everyone in their tracks. A cold dread washes over Jiang Beibei as Su Qingying reveals her identity as the very person they were just mocking. Jiang Beibei refuses to believe it, scoffing that the real Su Qingying is hideously ugly and vowing to kowtow if it's true. When Zir defends her mistress, Jiang Beibei raises a hand to slap her, threatening to sell her to a brothel. But before the blow can land, her wrist is caught in an iron grip. Su Qingying's eyes burn with cold fury as she asks who gave her the right to lay a finger on her maid. The confrontation is swift and brutal as a furious woman shrieks in disbelief after being struck. But Su Qingying dares her to try anything further. One of the woman's cronies steps forward, pointing an accusatory finger and warning Su Qingying that she's dead for offending Marquis Jiang. Unfazed, Su Qingying smirks, coolly stating that she hit her because she was dissatisfied and challenges them to do something about it. She then casually informs them that if Jiang Beibei wants revenge, she can come find her at the palace, but warns them not to chicken out. The crony scoffs at this, mocking Su Qingying for thinking she's a real princess and threatening to make sure she can no longer live in Eastern Yu. In a dramatic display of fake terror, Su Qingying clutches her maid's ear, crying out that she's shivering in fear, and the two share a hug of mock fright, sparking laughter from the onlookers. Ignoring the commotion, Su Qingying calls for the shopkeeper, who quickly appears to ask how he can help. She presents a green jade pendant, which he instantly recognizes. The man bows deeply, respectfully greeting her as the fifth princess, a revelation that shocks her tormentors. Su Qingying confirms that this tea house belongs to her royal brother and immediately lays down the law, barring Jiang Beibei and her friends from the establishment forever. She then scolds the manager for allowing just anyone to enter and lower the tea house's standards. The furious girls accuse her of going overboard. But Su Qingying simply smiles, confirming that yes, she is bullying them and orders someone to chase these pesky flies out. The leader of the group concedes defeat for now, vowing that Su Qingying has won this time but that they will see who wins in the end. As the arrogant women turn to leave, Su Qingying subtly extends her foot, tripping the leader and sending the entire group tumbling down the stairs in a chaotic pile. Su Qingying mockingly comments that they don't have to scram so quickly, saluting them for their professional-looking fall. Zir giggles, remarking how hilarious it is that the once arrogant girls are now the talk of the town. Su Qingying teases her maid for picking up some bad habits, but Zir cheekily replies that she learned everything from the princess. The two decide to take a stroll outside. While wandering the noisy streets, a man's voice calls out her nickname, Yinger. she turns to see a smiling, silver-haired man whom she recognizes as her second royal brother, Su Huation. She and Zir properly greet the second prince, who gently offers her a lift back to the palace. Zir glances at her princess nervously, but Su Qingying politely declines, explaining they wanted to walk. With a sudden shift in tone, she icily informs him that only the crown prince can call her Yinger, and that he should address her as fifth royal sister, as they are not so close. The prince's gentle facade shatters, replaced by an ominous glare as he seethes at her audacity. He coldly tells his attendant to leave, and they depart in their carriage. Puzzled, Zir asks why she rejected him, and Su Qingying explains that she finds him shady and pretentious. Zir expresses her relief, confiding that the crown prince had also warned her to stay away from him, as he is quite wary of the second prince. Su Qingying files this information away, realizing Su Huation must be a formidable character to earn her brother's caution. Back at the Sunny Palace, a servant named Xian Tao from the clothing service delivers a dress for the upcoming Blossom Gala. After Xian Tao leaves, she smugly thinks to herself that the princess didn't realize a thing. Azir comments on how beautiful the dress is, but as Su Qingying inspects it, she suddenly tears the fabric with a sharp rip, revealing the shoddy material underneath to a shocked Zir. With cold resolve, Su Qingying orders Zir to find out who Xian Tao works for and to have her watched. She muses that someone is bored and eager to challenge her, which suits her just fine, as she was getting tired of palace life anyway. The next day, at the Grand Blossom Gala, Su Qingying greets her royal father, the king. She playfully chides him for being late, and he chuckles, saying no one would dare criticize the king. He reminds her of a promise she made, and she cheekily retorts that he should prepare the keys to the national treasury because she plans on moving in. As they walk towards the imperial garden, all the officials kneel in greeting. After the king tells them to rise, two of her royal sisters are seen whispering maliciously, commenting on how the fifth royal sister made everyone wait and lacked manners. Su Qingying overhears and cuts them down with a sharp remark, saying she smells jealousy and asks why they're being so nosy when even the king wasn't bothered. Her sharp retort immediately silences the entire venue. The banquet's fragile peace shatters when a voice accuses Su Qingying of being a eunuch, but she remains utterly unfazed, kicking her feet up onto the table with defiant laziness. She mockingly tells her second royal sister, Zuer, that she must be going deaf from shouting so loud. Her father, the emperor, chokes on his tea, sputtering in disbelief at his daughter's unbelievably rugged behavior. While the court officials stare in silent shock, as Zuer points an enraged finger, the emperor bellows for silence, questioning why there's a ruckus when Yinger was merely late. Zuer begrudgingly falls silent, vowing under her breath that King Ying will pay for this. Seizing the opportunity, she asks her father for permission to perform a dance for the Blossom Gala, a request he thoughtfully grants. As Zuer prepares, King Ying leans toward her royal brother, a sly smile playing on her lips as she tells him a good show is about to start. He looks puzzled, but she merely tells him it's a secret, leaving him with a growing sense of unease. Zuer begins to dance gracefully, though her performance is bland and uninspired. King Ying watches with rapt attention, whispering a countdown to her brother. Right on cue, Zuer's dress suddenly shreds and tears apart mid-spin, leaving her exposed and horrified. She shrieks for everyone to stop looking as her mother rushes to cover her, wailing her daughter's name. With perfect timing, King Ying innocently wonders aloud what kind of dance could shred one's clothes, prompting the royal mother to furiously accuse her of sabotage. The emperor, his face a mask of fury, commands silence, tired of the public embarrassment. Defeated, Zuer tearfully excuses herself and flees the hall. King Ying's brother immediately asks if this was her doing, and she coolly replies it was simply an eye for an eye. Her maid then whispers the truth. Zuer had tampered with King Ying's dress first, and this was merely karma delivered before she could be the one humiliated. The brother is stunned by the viciousness of it all, but King Ying simply asks if he's angry with her. He sighs, reassuring her that he isn't, only disappointed in himself for not protecting her sooner. Just then, the fourth sister, Su Mayan, steps forward, offering to liven up the boring feast with an ink dance painting, and the weary emperor agrees. King Ying exchanges a knowing glance with her maid Zir, who confirms their plan is in motion. Her brother senses they're scheming again, but King Ying just says it's a secret, prompting him to chuckle at their similar cheeky personalities. Su Mayan confidently wields her brush, creating a painting on a large screen, and presenting it to her father. The screen is turned and the audience gasps in shock, their faces blushing at the sight. The emperor, his voice dangerously low, asks if this is truly what she drew. Arrogantly, she confirms it is. King Ying loudly praises the superb painting, goading her brother into covering her eyes as he complains she's acting less like a proper lady. Proudly accepting the compliment, Su Mayan is caught completely off guard when King Ying's tone shifts. King Ying admits the painting is excellent but questions if displaying such an embarrassing piece is appropriate for a royal banquet. Playing the part of a shy, scandalized maiden, she continues, suggesting that while she understands personal preferences, erotic paintings should be enjoyed in private. Sumayan's face drains of color as she shrieks in denial. She stares in horror at her painting, which now clearly depicts an intimate embrace, and frantically tries to explain that she had drawn mountains and rivers. She falls to her knees, pleading that she's been framed, but the emperor's patience has run out. He slams his fist on the table, roaring about the shame she has brought upon the royal family before sentencing her to be grounded in her palace indefinitely. Later, her brother asks how she managed such a trick. King Ying cryptically tells him to look at the rice paper. Zir explains the full plot. Sumayan had made the erotic painting herself and ordered the maid to place it on the screen, but King Ying had a counterplan. The brother is confused, recalling the screen was blank. King Ying reveals the secret. The painting was made with a special powder, invisible until it touched water. When Sumayan used her wet sleeve to wipe ink, she unknowingly revealed the hidden image herself. King Ying grins, asking if she isn't brilliant. Her brother just chuckles, calling her full of herself. With her rivals disgraced, King Ying notes that no one else will dare perform, but she promises her brother she will win first place. She stands with unshakable confidence, announcing to her father that she will be the next performer. The night erupts in chaos at the side palace as a terrified Jiang Bebe bursts out, screaming for help. She stumbles and tackles a group of nobles, crying out that her second brother, Su Huatian, was the man inside. Princess Yinger is utterly shocked, questioning why her own stepbrother would be in her private palace. Her other brother quickly shields her eyes, telling her not to look at such a dirty scene, while her attendant whispers how lucky she was not to have returned moments earlier. Suddenly, the emperor appears, his face a mask of fury as he brutally kicks his son, Su Huatian, demanding to know what he was doing. Horrified to see his father, Su Huatian can barely speak before the emperor roars at him for his shameless and immoral actions. Su Huatian desperately tries to explain that he was framed and drugged, but his pleas are drowned out by the cries of Minister Jiang, who has just found his daughter Bebe, bleeding and seemingly driven mad. As her father cradles her, Yinger watches coldly, realizing Jiang Bebe must have followed her and brought this fate upon herself. Trembling with rage, Minister Jiang begs the emperor for justice for his now witless daughter. The emperor wastes no time, his judgment swift and merciless. He orders that from this day forward, Su Huatian is stripped of his title as second prince and will be kicked out of the palace, never to return. Panic grips Su Huatian as he pleads for mercy for his mother's sake. But the emperor is unmoved, summoning the Yulin guards to restrain the disgraced prince. As he's dragged away, the emperor assures Minister Jiang that he will do everything in his power to restore his daughter's sanity. Later, Yinger collapses, her body consumed by an intense heat, realizing with a curse that she's been drugged with an aphrodisiac for the third time. She calls out for Lai and he appears at her side, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to her feverish state. She lunges at him, mumbling that she's been drugged and needs his help. Pulling him into a desperate kiss, he tries to warn her that he can't guarantee what might happen if they continue, but she's far beyond reason, demanding he either help her or she'll take matters into her own hands. A smirk plays on Jun Liai's lips as he tells her she asked for this, abandoning his plan to wait for their wedding night. He pushes her down onto the bed, whispering for her to relax. He then playfully asks if she remembers the book of 72 positions she once gave him, much to her mortification. She insists it was a joke, but he replies with a grin that he took it very seriously. Realizing she's trapped herself, Yinger can only lament that she dug this hole herself and must now jump in. The next morning, she lies in bed completely drained, marveling at his inhuman stamina. Jun Liai, however, is full of energy, cheerfully offering her kanji. Furious, Yinger tells him to get lost and hurls a pillow at him. She asks what he's doing here, and he explains he couldn't wait any longer and had a glider built overnight just to reach her sooner. A touch, she pulls him close, admitting she missed him. His hands begin to wander and she yelps, thinking he's as sleazy as ever. He cheekily replies that if his wife is throwing herself at him, he can hardly sit idle, adding that the only reason a famous poised man was so chaste was because he was impotent. Before she can process his absurd logic, he leans in, suggesting they experience it all again. When she protests that she's hungry, he whispers that he'll just have to feed her until she's full. Outside, her maids gossip excitedly about the princess and the prince regent finally being together, already planning for a baby. But as one maid walks off to start making baby clothes, the other Mo Haiyan turns away, his expression hardening as an order from Jun Liai echoes in his mind to castrate Su Huatian. The prince jolts up from a nightmare, screaming that he refuses to be a eunuch. As a mysterious veiled woman watches him from a table, he trembles in a cold sweat, clutching himself in agony. He demands to know who she is, but she brushes his question aside, offering him a tantalizing deal. She can help him reclaim the throne that should have been his. He scoffs with disdain, questioning how a mere commoner could possibly help him. With a chilling smile, she whispers about the black magic of southern Xinjiang, causing him to freeze in his tracks. Her plan is simple and monstrous. Plant a poisonous centipede in the emperor's body, and the throne will be his for the taking as she pulls the writhing creature from her sleeve. The prince remains skeptical, pointing out the impossible task of breaching the heavily guarded palace. Smirking, she reminds him that it's his move now and he needs to prove he's capable of something. He presses again, needing to know why she would help him, and she finally reveals her people once served his mother, concubine Huey, whose dying wish was for him to rule. A flicker of hope ignites in his eyes as he recalls his mother's own skills in southern Xinjiang's black magic, and he accepts the vile proposal. She hands him the centipede in a small box, telling him to wait for her signal. Later that night, the prince makes his move, appearing like a phantom in Jai Yanner's bedchamber. She awakens in shock, silently cursing him for tormenting her even after his demotion. He leans in close, asking if her fear is a sign of a guilty conscience, then accuses her of celebrating his downfall. She tries to explain herself, but her words are met with a sharp slap across the face. He grabs her hair with brutal force, calling her useless trash as he drags her from the bed. Trembling on the floor, she begs him to spare her. He coldly agrees, but on one condition. With a dark command, he tells her not to make him repeat himself. He then pulls out the box and orders her to place the poisonous creature inside her body, opening it to reveal the horrifying centipede. With a wicked smile, he threatens that if she doesn't find a way to sleep with the emperor within a few days, the centipede will bite her, and her fate will be her own. He leaves her sobbing and in agony on the floor. But her despair quickly hardens into a cold, seething hatred. She summons her maids, ordering them to prepare her makeup and a bowl of lotus seed soup to personally deliver to His Majesty. A few days later in the Solar Palace, Su Qingying playfully shoves Jun Liai away, threatening him with castration if he doesn't give her a break from his advances. He teases that her energy just proves he needs to try harder. She complains that she hasn't left the bed in 3 days. And he finally relents, admitting he was wrong and telling her he plans to leave the palace. He explains that his proposal party has arrived, and he must return to his duties as Prince Regent. He kisses her sweetly, promising a grand proposal in just 2 more days, and she happily agrees to wait. He also mentions that her friends, Sister Feng and Yu Feng, have arrived from heaven on earth, delighting her. He slyly suggests that since they seem to get along well, she should consider playing matchmaker. An idea sparks in her mind, and she enthusiastically agrees to take charge of their union, much to his private amusement. Meanwhile, at an inn, Yu Feng suddenly sneezes. Sister Feng worries he's caught a cold and offers to get him ginger soup. But he quickly refuses and tries to escape to his room, leaving her to wonder why he's running away from her. Back at the palace, Su Qingying is in high spirits, happy to have her friends nearby. Feeling guilty for not having seen her father recently, she decides to pay him a visit, asking her maid to prepare some pastries. At the emperor's chambers, she slips past the guard, wanting to surprise him. She finds her father engrossed in his writing, and startles him when she asks what he's doing. He affectionately calls her a little brat, playfully scolding her for scaring him. A playful moment between father and daughter begins with a cheeky grin from Ye, earning her a light tap on the head as he calls her a little brat. Her attention is then captured by the scroll on his desk, and she eagerly asks what he's drawing. Her eyes widen as she sees the elegant woman depicted, immediately recognizing it must be her mother and commenting on her beauty. Her father confirms it, gently teasing that her mother was a virtuous and gentle woman, completely unlike Yinger, who spends her days jumping around like a monkey. Unfazed, Yinger retorts that being like a monkey just means she's fun and lively, questioning if he'd prefer she were a typical, boring, high-class lady. Her father can't help but smiles, admitting he can never win an argument with her. But the lighthearted mood quickly fades as he confesses the true depth of his sorrow, telling Yinger that he has missed her mother dearly, and if not for his duty to the people of Dongyue, he would have joined her and his other children long ago. The weight of his words silences her, and his next request chills her to the bone. He asks that if he can no longer hold on, she bury him in the imperial mausoleum in the pear garden, so he can finally be with her mother, who must be lonely after all these years. Tears well up in Yinger's eyes as she begs him to stop talking like that, her voice cracking with emotion. She reminds him that she's only just come to her senses and hasn't had the chance to be a proper daughter to him yet. He gently chides her for crying at her age, but quickly backtracks when he sees her distress, promising not to speak of it again before he's seized by a sudden harsh coughing fit. Panic surges through Yinger as she rushes to his side, calling out for the royal physician while urgently checking his pulse. She's immediately confused. His pulse is strange, feeling stable and strong even though it's obvious his body isn't functioning properly. Her father waves off her concern, claiming there's no need for a doctor and that it's simply a sign of old age. Through her tears, Yinger insists he's not old at all, but rather quite charming. Her flattery coaxes a small laugh out of him, but it's cut short by an even more violent coughing spell that leaves him pale as a sheet. Now truly alarmed, she tells him he must rest, firmly guiding him towards his bed. He looks at her with pride, remarking that his Yinger is all grown up now as she gently tucks him in. Once he's asleep, Yinger's gentle facade crumbles. She walks out of the room, her expression hardening as she closes the door behind her. She immediately summons Eunuch Lu, her voice low and dangerous as she demands to know how long her father has been coughing like this. As the eunuch worriedly explains it has only been a few days, a cold fury ignites in Yinger's eyes. She declares with chilling certainty that someone is targeting her father, and she vows that no matter who it is, she will not let them go.